can't go to the mini camps, and only the media goes, one day or something. But this is going to be the way of the future of the NFL to make your mandatory mini camp open to the public. It's another moneymaker. That's a lot of playing people on a plane, taking everybody over there, taking 90 guys over there for mini camp to Hawaii. That's got to be pretty expensive. And I know Hawaii's paying for
they called it Maui camp instead of mini camp. They called it Maui camp. No, it's very smart. I'm with you. I think there's a chance that some teams decide to have it elsewhere. Who cares? I mean, might as well make some money off of it and do it some way to spice it up, make it a little more interesting for everybody that's out there. We'll talk some Chiefs coming up in about 8 minutes or so. You guys, of course, can hit us up on the Jay Southland Tow Service text line, 913-586-7965. Video stream up and running, Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, X. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube so you don't miss any of the shows here on the station. You can check out Bink and his Washington State hat and everything else that's going on throughout the show today. You have a good Father's Day weekend and everything,
Leach, man. R.I.P. Mike Leach.
Oh, yeah. He's going to get in the Hall of Fame now with that.
I hope so.
Shift.
Yeah, he should. He deserves to.
Father's Day weekend. You were telling us you had an interesting weekend, Bink.
Yeah, it was a good weekend. It was Cody Gold garage sale.
Yeah, you were paying off one of the experiences.
Yeah, well, it was Zach and his dad, John. I mean, they bought it a couple years ago, had a good conversation on sports. We talked a lot of football, a lot of college football. Talked some Chiefs. We even mentioned some Royals because that game was really quick. That was that 4-0 game against the A's. So, of course, we talked a lot of Royals as well. So that was a lot of fun going down the center block.
Yeah, you said that's not what you told us, though. Drew's over there, and he knows. It wasn't just about what you were talking about. You said on Father's Day weekend, you ran into somebody.
Yeah, that's who you run into, right?
Yeah, who did you run into?
I just ran into, believe it or not, my ex-wife. It's like, hey, Jay, or whatever. And I was like, huh?
Father's Day weekend.
It's like, great.
This is
Thank you. This is awesome.
This is the lady that you had your daughter with?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. You'll be in this situation someday too, Drew, and I told you this.
Well, right. Dude, Bink, we're not going down this road
your
again.
ex-wife somewhere.
We're not going down this road.
Yeah, Drew is a little on edge today because he doesn't know.
To avoid divorce talk today.
He doesn't know where this show is going to go the next week and a half or so. Now, because last time you guys worked together on this many shows in a row, my understanding is it got a little interesting between you and Drew. So
see, that's not true, though. I've heard that it's nonsense. Because here's the thing. Everybody thinks I give Drew a hard time, which I do. But you guys do, too. Because Cody and Gold get after Drew. Because I hear your show. I know you get after him. And
never,
I was
actually.
talking to Zach and his dad. I was like, why am I always the one accused of, ripping on Drew? The text line does a good enough job at it when he talks Bengals and stuff, but you guys don't exactly.
Drew knows he sets himself up so often, though. He sets himself so often and leaves that door cracked open for people to do that.
The one that really, I think the text line really didn't like either was when we had the random question about what your favorite Disney movie was, and you said you hate Disney movies, basically.
I do.
And I think that rubs some people
I don't care. That's an honest reaction. You said, what do you think about Disney movies? I said, I think they suck. And, I told you exactly how I felt.
Yeah.
Text line didn't like it, whatever. I don't care. Do you like Disney, Alex?
Yeah, I don't mind at all, yeah.
Whatever.
What? Yeah.
I like The Rookie.
I know you do. That's why you said that was your favorite Disney movie.
I think yesterday.
I don't watch cartoons either. Drew wants me to watch cartoons. I don't watch cartoons. Beavis and Butthead's the last cartoon I watched.
There you go.
Yeah, thinking of The Rookie. I don't know. I think yesterday was the old opt-out decision for Rich Hill or whatever. Otherwise, they were about to have Dennis Quaid pitch for them at the big league level. Anyway, we'll get to that. We'll get to that in a little while. But yeah, let's start with where this Royals team is at. A winless homestand. They go 0-6. Losses to the Yankees, to the freaking Sacramento or just A's, whatever they're calling them, throughout the entire weekend. And in that, the Royals had a players-only meeting on Saturday, and it was led by Bobby Wood Jr., it sure sounds like, and we'll play some of his comments in a second. I don't know where you're at in players-only meetings to begin with. I want to start there, and then we'll go ahead and talk more on the hitting specifically. Players-only meetings, things, you're already in a bad spot the minute you even are discussing players-only meetings. Now, we all know, if you guys have been around Kansas City for a long time, we all know Raul Ibanez had the very famous players-only meeting that worked, I guess, if you want to give it credit.
Some guys are good at public speaking, right? Maybe some not so much.
The players-only meeting is interesting to me because you have it, and then if the next day you win, people are all like, well, see?
It worked.
And if they lose, we're like, well, that was a waste of time. Look, it's very evident that players-only meeting or whatever, that's not the problem. This is a team throughout the entire season that has not been able to hit from open day on. The starting pitching's been great. Starting pitching's coming back down to earth. Therefore, you're now also taxing your bullpen more because the starting pitchers aren't going into games as far as they were initially. But this baseball team having a players-only meeting, that tells you the panic, in my opinion, that already is existing inside the organization. We know from the outside the panic's been there for a while from fans. We all see the tweets and the text line and everything like that. But inside the organization, the minute players are having a players-only meeting, it reaches that level. And yeah, I don't think generally speaking that they work, but they've lost 6 straight series at home. And I'll reiterate what I said on Friday's show, Bink. I think when you have the expectation that this baseball team has had going into the year, and a baseball team that had an expectation to win this division, you cannot possibly sit here and be status quo.
No. You can't, and it's just like what Vern's always said, and he said it a lot in his post game yesterday. Winners just go and win, losers talk. Losers do their talking. Players only meeting, listen, it needed to be done. Something needed to be done, whether you want to call it a players only meeting or what. And it shouldn't have to come down to that. It should just be the guys looking at each other and talking to each other at their games going, because, they do it, they're in there alone anyway at that time. This could be done after any game. Like, hey, man, we need to step it up. But it's hard to step up and say something if you're struggling yourself. So that's the problem. Like the team leaders, like Bobby Witt Jr. is not having a great year toward this point. Right. Sal Perez definitely isn't either. And those are your 2 biggest voices to speak. So they would have to throw themselves under the bus a little bit too. Like, hey, I need to pick things up, which I'm sure they're doing. That. It's like Mike Moustakas. I'll never forget, like in 15, when he gets sent down. And Vern got married because of it. Remember, he came back up and hit 300 by June, so Vern ends up getting married. And he's married today because of Mike Moustakas. But he gets sent down. But he became more vocal when he became good. Like, that was always inside Mike Moustakas, that fire and team leader. And we got to see it, like him barking there at the steps there against Houston in the playoffs because he was hitting well. And you feel like you can speak out. The only guy I've seen really speak out and do team meetings that wasn't very good was Jason Hayward back with the Cubs when they were playing in the World Series. Like, he spoke to him during the day because he wasn't playing very well. But he spoke and they listened. So you very rarely hear success of a team with someone that's not performing themselves. But I like the old school days, man. The George Brett days. You go in, you take that bat, you smash a toilet, you show you're frustrated. Hey, that stuff works just as well as the players-only meeting. It shows your frustration. Like, hey, I'm not going to take this anymore.
You and I also know that this was the conversation even a little bit last week, going back to the Jazz Chisholm stuff, and that is the makeup of this team, the fire, or at least outward display of the fire. I'm not saying they don't have competitive guys. Bobby Witt Jr., I think, is one of the most competitive guys that are out there.
100%.
But in terms of just showing it, I think to a certain extent, this goes with your manager as well. I think a lot of times fans want to see that the players are just as ticked off as you, the fan, and that usually doesn't happen, right? They're not going to usually not publicly. They don't show that publicly as much as fans are willing, obviously, to show the frustration publicly. But I can promise you, they're frustrated. That's why the players only meeting happens. But that's fine. You can be frustrated all you want. The reality, though, of the situation is either A, which is what I think is the biggest issue, they don't have the right guys offensively on this roster currently to go and do it. And then you have the guys that just a year ago were having great years, and Salvador Perez, obviously Bobby Witt Jr. was second in MVP voting. They go out and trade for Jonathan India. All these guys that you really have to count on for a season to go well offensively, that hasn't been there whatsoever. And so you sit here and it doesn't mean we're going to play the blame game like everybody does. It's at the game everybody loves to play, and we'll do that at 11 o'clock and figure out, because people are texting in, it's Q's fault, or it's JJ's fault, or it's Bobby's fault, or whoever. So we'll break this up. I'm going to ask you guys at 11 o'clock basically to break up the 100% of the pie. And where the blame game goes, we'll get there.
But I used to be likes to fight guy, right? I want to see a baseball fight. I actually think it's needed for this team. Sticking up for your teammates. Because that stuff actually, to me, that stuff even works better than players-only meetings. Like when you stick up. Let's take the Royals. When they were 14 and 15, you just didn't mess with this team. Lorenzo Cain, what's he having anyway? It was 2014, and Tigers are trying to talk to him there on first base. He's like, no, I'm here to play and all that. Like, we can chat later. You know what I'm saying? No fraternization right now. I'm here to beat you. And that kind of set the tempo for it. Then in Chicago, Gerard Dyson, Lorenzo Cain, the Cain Holio incident, Krill Sale wanting to go get a piece of Giordano and stuff like that. But that was, his team was close. Giordano throwing at Machado, then a fight you knew was going to happen, and it did. And that's what I always liked about Giordano. He was willing to do it. He knew by throwing at Machado it was going to be a fight. and Machado was coming to the mound, but he did it anyway. And they liked the fight. And I remember Sal Perez getting into it with Tim Anderson a few years ago. It's like, where's that fire at? Like, you want to see that. That brings a team closer together. Well, you say, hey, just go all out and get drunk or whatever. Just go hang out as a team. Because they've tried that too. Other players have mentioned that. We just need to go out and get drunk or whatever and talk. Yeah, maybe so. Or just get in the fight. Just defend your players. Show that you care.
Here's what Bobby Wood Jr. had to say. This was after the game Saturday when the clubhouse was closed for an extra 20 minutes or so while the players were holding that meeting.
I think it was good. We needed to have that. Things aren't going the way that we want it to be, and so we have to talk about it. If you look at yourself in the mirror, you got to talk as a team. We're a family in here, and so families talk, and so that's what we did, and we got to just figure some things out.
Why was now the time?
Because keeps going on over and over again where it's like, oh, it's going to come, but no, it hasn't came. And so we have to figure something out. We have to change something. And so the time was now.
Did any one player spearhead this meeting or anything of that nature?
Yeah, it was kind of everyone. Everyone spoke their voice. And, yeah.
Offensively, talking about hoping it comes. What's the stretch been like for you individually and as a team?
Yeah, for me, it's been not good. And so I got to look at myself in the mirror and say, what do I need to do? And I just need to get better. It starts from me, and that's honestly something that when I'm going, things are going better. And so it's just got to get back to being myself. And so I'm not trying to put pressure on myself, but just really just trying to go out there, be comfortable and confident, and enjoy the game. And so that's what I want to get back to doing. And it's frustrating that I'm not doing what I am capable of doing and doing it very poorly, and so I just got to get back to be myself.
So that was Bobby Wood Jr. That was courtesy of FanDuel Sports Network after the game, speaking to some of the beat writers with following the players-only meeting. Look, I think Bink, at this point, today's a day off before they start this road trip and take on the Texas Rangers. Today seems like the perfect time if you were going to make in some sort of personnel change. Today would be that day.
Today would be the day.
Yeah, I mean, look, we know that truly in the lineup, that's an external move. That is going out and trading for somebody, although when you look at where this team is at, I think there's a recent conversation to be had on should they even be going out and buying, and also who's selling bats. I understand Rafael Devers got traded yesterday, but if anybody followed that story since opening day, he's been a pain in the ass for the Red Sox, upset about the Alex Bregman trade or signing and everything like that.
And that helps the chemistry. You know what I'm saying? Suarez, I think, would.
So I don't think a ton of teams are making trades to begin with, but what can you do now? And sometimes, it doesn't mean that it just cures all, but you cannot retain, in my opinion, the same philosophy, the same personnel on the hitting side of things. I'm talking about the hitting staff, and there's multiple guys, there's multiple names involved in that. When your team had the expectation they had, and then now they're dead last in home runs, it'd be one thing if that's all it was. Yeah. If you were just bad at home runs, because not like last year they had a ton of home runs, but we all know it's more than that. The team flat out is just not hitting in every key moment, and it's just single after single after single if you're lucky. There's no pop. Jack Caglione is making the adjustment from AAA to the big league, so it's too early, 12 games in, to say X is happening with him, but have not seen any of that power as well, which should concern some people, at least on the development side, not with Jack Caglione. But hey, nobody has any power right now, Bink. So I think this would be the day, and this would be the time to make a change with your hitting staff.
Time to do it. Get that just a second. What would you? Something Bobby said there about everybody speaking. All right. First of all, like players only meetings. Like you only want to hear from Bobby, Sal, maybe Michael Walker, Seth Lug, guys have been around. Like I don't want. You heard the Mark Canha spoke. I don't want to hear from a guy hitting.
He's a veteran in the league.
I don't care. The guy's hitting 242, doesn't have a home run. He's played like 39 games. I could give a rip about what Mark Canha says. Seriously, Bobby Witt needs to stand up, be the leader of the team, be the guy. Sal Perez, let Walker talk. Let Seth Lugo talk. If Cole Reagans wants to, it's fine. One thing I like is they're not finger pointing because the pitchers could be pointing the fingers to the hitters. I mean, that could happen. At least that part's not happening. Because I remember Chiefs seasons. There were seasons like Patrick Mahomes' first year. The offense could have pointed direct fingers at the defense. They just never did. And you know what? In return, really, when the defense carried the team the last couple of years, they were 15th in scoring points per game, they didn't really blame the offense, right? That's a cohesive team when you're not wanting to blame other side. So I do respect the fact that pitchers aren't doing that with the players. But do you really want to hear, like, if everybody spoke, like John Rave and Mark Canha? Like, no. Give me the leaders of the team. Let them do the speaking. And I don't want to hear from a Mark Canha. But as far as making changes, yeah, today's the day. You have to do anything. You can't just go status quo. Do I think it's all the hitting coach's fault? Absolutely
Of course not. Yeah,
It's
that's just the way. This is the way the business works, man.
I know it is. It's
results-based business, and they have made player adjustments.
And coaching changes sometimes work too. I mean, I'm not saying it here, but I'm saying in college football when you've seen it works for a short time, but it's got to be the right guy. What I'm saying is sometimes you get that initial buzz, but then it goes right back down. So you got to be careful with what you do.
Yeah, ultimately, they need more bats, and those are external options. I understand that, but we see this happen. It's happened a few times already this baseball season in other organizations. When you have a certain level of expectation and you don't get to that level, teams send off hitting coaches and other personnel all the time throughout a season because you say, hey, this is not acceptable. They already did that with certain players. Renfroe, DFA, Melendez, obviously option. They call up Rave and Lofton and obviously Cags, et cetera. They've made the internal
you think
switches.
Nick Lofton spoke?
I'm not sure, Bink. I'm not sure. I don't have as much of an issue as you do about who spoke. Clearly, Bobby Wood Jr. was one of the key members.
Mark Cannon told me this. I'm going to go,
but that goes back to the original thing that I don't think players-only meetings do a whole lot.
I don't either.
How much of if they make a staff change, how much is that actually going to, so I guess until you do it, you really don't know. But for what we've known, hitting for average, hitting-wise, they're not bad, but it's the runners and scoring. It's them executing when they have the best opportunity to do it. And I don't know if that's a...
Well, it's on the players, Drew, in my opinion.
I think it's more on... I think we all agree it's more on the players than anybody else.
If they're pitching them inside in situations, there's runners in scoring position, all of a sudden they start lighting up and throwing right inside at them, and they're not doing a damn thing about it, and they know that the Royals are going to sit there and take it, they're going to do it. They're going to continue to do it. So that's on the players. Hitting coaches can do one thing, but if they're sitting there and pitching you inside in crucial situations, it's not on the hitting coach in that situation. That is on the players to react. That's why I said I wouldn't mind them sticking up for themselves at some point. But yes, when you switch coaching staffs, you see it in college football. Sometimes you get that initial bump.
Yeah,
you
but
get that initial bump, but then it always comes back down.
Yeah, right.
No, to your point, there's a real. If they were to make a change with the hitting staff, you maybe works for a week or two, or it doesn't, and then in 2 weeks you're in the same spot. But I think the point is that you have to show this is also you don't make changes just for your fans. That's a terrible way to operate. However, you have to show that this is not acceptable.
Correct.
And I know they're still technically 2.5 out of a playoff spot. It's not like they're 10 back, but we all have been watching this team now.
With the extra wild card, everybody's in except the Rockies.
Which is why you think if they do something now, you can try to salvage before it's too late.
And that would be the argument to either go and buy or to just get a change, whether it's the whole new voice thing or whatever. Something has to change. You cannot just go status quo heading into the series against the Rangers. We'll talk more Royals baseball at 11 o'clock,
it's frustrating, though. 6 straight home series losses.
No, fans should be upset.
6 straight losses, but 6 straight series at home. That's the part, especially the 29 wins A's. 29 wins after this weekend. I mean, they're 8.5 back from the wild card, too. So, but that's a terrible baseball. They're 15 games out of 500. But didn't look like it against the Royals this weekend.
We'll talk more Royals at 11 o'clock, including, as we were trying to do there a little bit, players, Q, Piccolo, hitting coaches. Where does some of the blame lie? We'll play that out coming up at 11 o'clock. You guys can hit us up on the Jay Southland Tow Service text line 913-586-7965. Let's talk a little Chiefs football for a second, though. Rashee Rice, I think he was holding like a football camp maybe down in Texas. This time of the year, you see a lot of that going on. I think Worthy might have had one recently, too. And a local reporter was talking to Rashee Rice, and he was also asked about Travis Kelce coming back and how excited he is that he's back.
25-pound less Travis Kelce.
There you go.
He's dropped 25.
Good.
Roll.
Good. That should bode well for him in 2025. But Rashee Rice was talking about the wide receiver group. He said, quote, "We're going to be explosive this year. We're just excited to put on a show, to be honest. We know it's going to be a show. Only thing in the way right now is time. We're just waiting patiently." Now, this will not be the first time we've ever heard a Chiefs player in the offseason say we're about to put on a show. Or how about any player in the NFL say we're about to put on a show? However, this team was 15th in points per game a season ago.
2 straight years.
The last couple of seasons. And so we all know, despite winning 15 games, the offense was not at the level that people got accustomed to seeing.
And that's where coaching did matter.
Do you believe this offense is in a position to, quote, put on a show in 2025?
I think they can. I mean, you expect it on paper. Yeah, that's the way you go. Or if you go up to St. Joe, and I've told you, I've called it on the post game for years, the St. Joe Chiefs. That was the Chiefs I like, on social media, seeing the bombs to Worthy or Rice or, Hollywood Brown, seeing all that in training camp. That was great, man. Couldn't get enough of it. These long touches. Oh, man. And the Chiefs even talked about it, airing the football out more. Then, boom, reality hits. And then Hollywood Brown's out the first preseason game. Then the fourth game, Rice gets hurt. And then all of a sudden you're relying on a rookie who was supposed to just kind of, take the back burner, kind of learn his way behind, Brown and Rice. All of a sudden he's the guy. So when healthy, that can be a very explosive group that, certain of these guys need to be worried about their next contract because these are the type of years to put up big numbers. And then you're never going to be in a better situation with the quarterback like Mahomes and a head coach like Andy Reid to put up big numbers that could get you paid going forward. Like Hollywood Brown, he has nothing. I mean, he's getting on the dawn of 30 here in another year. So, I mean, it's put up or shut up time for Hollywood Brown. Like, he needs to do it to go get that contract. So, on paper, I like it. I think they're a little more deep than they've been in the past. Not much more deep. But you throw Jalen Rose in there and you hope he can do things. And clearly, Juju's going to be here. He's got that experience. But, man, you worry if two guys go down, Rice is going to miss some games. So, you are going to miss that. So, someone else has to step up. So
maybe.
You need to, maybe.
I mean, that's the big question.
I hope not. But you never know. If he does, that's when you need someone else to step up and be the guy. I do like the way Worthy progressed, though. Because beginning of the year, time and space, when you're on the sideline, whether to catch it in or out, he struggled with that. But, man, he got really, really dependable from the midpoint of the season through the postseason. He's the leading receiver. I loved what I saw. But, yeah, I would love to see the Chiefs air it out and move the ball downfield more because that's only going to help the running game. Like, there can be a more complete football team if they can start backing up the safeties by the willingness to throw deep. That's going to do nothing but help the running game.
Yeah, so I feel great about the receiver room. That's not my question with this offense. Yes, within that there are questions, meaning.
But I think he's right. Your question, I think he's right. They can't put up a show.
Yeah, I mean, I feel good about the wide receiver room, which would allow them to do that. Now, yeah, Rice, maybe he's suspended, maybe he's not. Maybe it's 2 games, maybe it's 4 games, maybe it's not. I don't know. But
which we just find out, man.
Worthy. I agree with you. We saw for 2 straight years this regime has been able to develop wide receivers throughout the season. Remember Rashee Rice's rookie year? It took a little bit later on, and then he was great. Xavier Worthy took on a much bigger role, had to, due to injury. We've seen that play out a couple times.
And he's looked great. Again, it's preseason videos and everything else, but he proved it last year.
I'll go back to what their original plan was last year, and then it got derailed because, Hollywood Brown gets hurt in preseason. Rashee Rice gets hurt in that Chargers game. Travis Kelce was then asked to be the guy again. And I think we have to remember that heading into the season, it sure looked like on a lot of the underneath stuff, in space, who does a great job in settling in zones. Yeah, Travis Kelce, but Rashee Rice, he's awesome at finding that space, kind of like Travis. He's learned from Travis, I think, on that. Right? And that's the role that they asked Rashee Rice to have last year prior to the injury. So if he is available right away, let's not forget how dominant he looked. So, yeah, I think Rice is the best receiver clearly on this team. We'll talk more about production stuff with him and Worthy.
He was on his way to a huge year last year.
He was going to have 1,400 yards. I really believe that. I think he was
a huge year for Rice.
I think he was going to have 1,400 yards. And if he's going to be on that kind of path again, it sounds like he's ahead of schedule on the knee injury that he suffered in that Chargers game. Well, then, this offense can get back to putting on a show. But the elephant in the room, so to speak, still is for this to happen, it has to mean that the offensive line, you feel good about on that left side. And whether that's Jalen Moore, whether that's Josh Simmons, the guard situation is still in flux.
Can be the dude.
And I know we're going to talk more about those particular players tomorrow because we're getting about a month away now from the deadline also to get a long-term deal done with Trey Smith. And so that plays a role into this too. But if they're going to be putting on a show, like there's a reason why it's tough to be a top 5 offensive football. Everything has to come together, and that includes your belief in the offensive line. As much as I might believe in the wide receiver room, I have to see it from the left tackle spot too.
I mean, I do believe in it, and it is better than we've seen in the past. I mean, clearly, but again, like last year, it was good, but then injuries happened. And then all of a sudden it wasn't. Without Rice and without Hollywood Brown, that was not the receiving group that they signed up for. That is not the receiving group that they had in St. Joe with this offense and doing things. They had to readjust. I give Andy Reid full credit for doing that because he essentially was one team in St. Joe, and he was a completely different team week 4 of the season. That's why I give credit to the coaching staff because they did make the adjustments. I know we talk as the players or coaches. In football, it goes down to a lot of coaching. It just does. You can argue all you want to it, but certain high schools have certain head coaches, and they always win. And the reason is it doesn't matter if the players are coming through. They're just a system, and they make adjustments, and they win. It's just the way it happens in high school football. But pros, too. Like Andy Reid made those adjustments with that team. But on paper, they were looking great. But, of course, if you don't have the time to throw the football, which you should, when you look at some of these accolades that these offensive linemen are getting, they should be good.
All right, we're just getting started here on a Monday. Bink is in for Cody. Up next, let's talk a little bit about what Drew's going to be sweating out this evening when it comes to the NBA Finals, plus an update on Cash Out Bro
Let's make
update.
fun of Drew.
No, I don't have any plans to do that in the next segment, at least. I will tell you something that Drew's going to disagree with me. I think you're going to disagree with me on, and it had to do with what people were watching over the weekend. That's next.
This is Cody and Gold, brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com. Tune in to hear Royals insider Josh Vernier every Wednesday at 12:30.
We need to nip this in the bud. We need to nip what in the bud?
On your home for Royals baseball, 96.5, The Fan.
At CertaPro Painters, we know that a happy place comes in many colors, like ones that inspire a sense of wonder, or a new flavor that makes life just a little bit sweeter, or one to celebrate those moments that lift you to new heights, at home or at work. We'll make your happy place your own. CertaPro Painters. That's painting happy. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Contractor license and registration information is available at CertaPro.com.
Hi, folks. Bob at Blue Springs Ford. Blayton, you look like you have something to say.
I do. It's our free lifetime powertrain warranty. That includes 24-hour, 7 days a week, every day of the year for 10 years, roadside assistance.
Well, that was a mouthful.
We're talking towing, fuel, oil, water delivery to you, lockout assistance, battery service, flat tire support, emergency assistance.
Folks, if you don't come see us today,
then you'll miss out on our free lifetime warranty.
I'm McCall with Lisa Mitsuber, and our hotline is open. Annie from Kansas City, what's on your mind?
I want a dealership that I can trust for a lifetime. Is that you?
We're Google's highest review rated and only locally owned Subaru retailer in Kansas City. That's a good start.
I just want a great deal. That's all.
How about every vehicle comes with a lifetime powertrain warranty?
What about guarantees?
A lifetime warranty should handle that. Fall in love with driving again at Lisa Mitsubaru.
You had a solid retirement dream. Sell your home in a few years, bank the equity, downsize, and travel. But with an unpredictable economy and the future feeling uncertain, you're wondering if that equity will still be there when you're ready. But what if you could bank that equity right now? With TrueHold, you could sell your home for its current value so you can access your equity today. You can bank the cash now and stay in the home you love with an easy standard lease. TrueHold even covers property taxes, insurance, and repairs. And since TrueHold hands over your equity in cash now, it's yours to do whatever you'd like. Don't let a shifting economy put your hard-earned equity at risk. Visit TrueHold.com and receive their competitive offer on your home in just 48 hours based on its best current value, not what's coming. Call 1-855-300-9393 or visit TrueHold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without moving. That's TrueHold.com.
Hello all, Steve here with Connolly Plumbing Solutions, your neighborhood plumber. It's springtime. Yay! This is when we start working in our yards. Be careful that your outside faucet didn't burst over the winter. Maybe you've discovered that it doesn't work very well. This month we are offering an outside faucet replacement special with access for only $3.99. So call Connolly Plumbing Solutions at 913-768-7676 or visit ConnollyPlumbingSolutions.com to schedule.
If you're looking for that new career path, have you thought about IT? Think about IT. It's needed in every single industry, whether it's sports, healthcare, construction, manufacturing, you name it, and Centric can help you get there.
No better time in the city either. The KC Tech Council reported that there were 3,000 jobs added in IT in March alone. 3,000.
We've told you about our friend Russ Mondry and his expertise in this field. Over 16 years at Centric. He's going to help you find that career path. So go to Centric.com.
At Straight Talk, we are all about no-brainers. Calling Grandma for her recipe, no-brainer. Streaming one more episode at 2 a.m., big no-brainer. Getting real unlimited data where you buy bananas, the ultimate no-brainer. Switch now and get a free Samsung Galaxy A16 5G or Moto G Power 5G 2025 with select plans. Straight Talk, real unlimited data. Available at Walmart and StraightTalk.com. Offer valid through 7/20/25. Taxes and fees apply. Requires in-store activation of single line gold unlimited plan or higher. For network management practices, visit StraightTalk.com/terms. Copyright 2025 Verizon.
Every morning, we rise and shine, make breakfast, and brush away the night's rest. These routines help us start the day off right. Nature-Made vitamins are a simple step in that daily care regimen. multivitamins with daily essentials, clinically studied probiotics for gut health support, magnesium to help relax the body. Nature Made is made to care for you every day. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone. I went through it a while back. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again, at work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text. Text BEACH to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast, absolutely free. Text BEACH to 42424. That's BEACH to 42424.
Products and statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or illness.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey, listen to this. All I needed was a new starter. Got a great deal on eBay. Did it myself.
Yeah, that's cool. But how about the soft purr of an upgraded exhaust when it fits just right?
For me, it's the little things, like these new windshield wipers from eBay I installed. From small fixes to big upgrades, eBay has all the parts you need at prices you'll love, guaranteed to fit every time. eBay, things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
This report is brought to you by Surfside Iced Tea and Vodka and Surfside Lemonade and Vodka. Surfside Iced Tea and Vodka and Surfside Lemonade and Vodka. Proud partner of the Kansas City Royals. Each can of Surfside is only 100 calories and the best part, 0 bubbles. Grab it at the K or ask for it at your favorite bars and liquor stores.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating and Cooling Studios.
Well, how fitting is it that Bink is filling in for Cody today? Because we had some news a week or so ago that we called you up, Bink, during What's Trending, that there were reports that something was going to happen again for the first time in a couple of years on July 4th.
Yeah.
We called you up. You gave us a little an instant reaction. It's now official, though.
It's official.
Joey Chestnut just tweeted it out. You just retweeted it, I saw.
I did.
He tweeted, "I'm thrilled to be returning to the Nathan's famous 4th of July hot dog eating contest."
Oh, it's a celebration for
He
Bink.
said
Well,
the
he needed to be
event
there.
means the world to me, and it does to Bink.
Well, it should, because the previous record's 73, right? And he did 83 against Kobayashi in that Netflix special. And it's not 58 hot dogs won last year. I mean, Joey could do that in his sleep. He does that within 5 minutes.
How can he go back to this,
Within 5
Bink?
minutes, he could break the record. He's the all-time champion. You don't have him playing. I mean,
How can he go back to this? You know, he partnered
Hang on
up
a
with a
second.
plant-based hot dog, and now he's back to the
Name, image, and
normal hot
likeness, man.
dogs.
You did not just say.
You take your money.
Hang on. You did not just say.
He did.
You
He
can't
did.
have the hot dog eating contest and Joey Chestnut not play.
You can't.
You said
It's
play.
Well, compete.
There you go. There you go.
I shouldn't have said play. Compete. Play, too. I mean,
He is not an athlete, Bink. He's
he's very much so. It was watered down last year. I watched it, but then I watched his YouTube thing he had.
This is the great line from his tweet. This is incredible. "I'm excited to be back on the Coney Island stage.
That's right.
Doing what I love. I live." He meant to say love. He said live, but I'm assuming he went for love. "Doing what I love to do, and celebrating the 4th of July with hot dogs in my hands."
That's right.
Shouldn't he have said in his mouth?
That man has been
I think he thought
this
about what he was
studio.
going to say.
That man has been in this studio with the Nathan's hot dog hats he gave us all.
I think Joey
He is
Chestnut
a
was.
legend.
He was other than the spelling of love. He thought that tweet out very much so in terms of how he phrased it.
Joey Jaws. I knew you'd be excited with that. Official
16-time
news.
champion, 16 mustard belts.
At what point are you going to hire your own production crew, Bink, and come out with the documentary yourself? You're going to narrate the documentary. on Joey Chestnut's career.
Maybe Todd Carrington do that. He's been doing documentaries.
Yeah, that's his thing. I can imagine there's just like the trailer, and it's Bink narrating. It's like, some people think it's Mahomes. Some people think it's Brady. Some people think it's Jordan. But it's really Joey Joss, the greatest athlete of all time. That would be Bink's thing.
If you're going to do anything and not have the best of the best do it, it's watered down. It just loses something. This is something on the 4th of July I look forward to, man. ESPN, you're watching Coney Island, it's the hot dog contest. It only lasts 10 minutes. If you're grossed out by it, just deal with it. It's 10 minutes. And you watch it, and then everybody talks about it all day. Ain't you see Joey? Then you shoot the fireworks. You do everything. I mean, it's a big part of the 4th. I'm glad it's
Couple weeks away. He'll be back, it sounds like, in the Nathan's hot dog
Vernon
eating
and I simulated
contest.
this one time in the press box.
You simulated eating hot dogs, as in you just ate hot dogs?
Yeah, the Royals were playing. They usually play on the 4th of July. They always play on the 4th of July, but there was the home Royals game. And
You've told this story. The hot dog fell on his pants.
No, it's a different time.
Oh. It left his stain on his
That was a
pants.
different time.
Okay.
Vern's pants were stained at a different time.
That's right. Okay. All right, let's talk about the NBA Finals. We got Game 5 tonight. Cash Out Bro is hanging on by a thread. That's because the Oilers are down 3-1 over in the Stanley Cup Finals. Remember, he needs the Oilers to win the Stanley Cup, and he needs the Thunder to win the NBA Finals.
No, 3-2.
3-2, sorry. Yeah, sorry, 3-2. But they're down a game. And so the Thunder, though, are in position also to maybe wrap this thing up pretty soon, which is good for him, but he needs the Oilers on the other side. Game 5 we'll get to. I know Drew's probably sweating this one out tonight. He's a Pacers fan, as we know.
Yeah.
But did you catch Paul Pierce talking about the NBA a little bit on his own podcast as well?
You know what city need a team? Kansas City. If Kansas City get a team, that crowd, something like that. Something like that.
Love basketball.
Yeah, what they like right there.
Love basketball.
Midwest love basketball.
They do.
I don't know why Kansas City don't have a team no more. Like you see how the Chiefs is. Go take it to K. Kansas, we the basketball. We the pros.
Every time I bring up the
Jayhawks, KU.
So that was.
Of course, Paul Pierce had to throw that.
So that was Paul Pierce. Look, I've told you the whole conversation about any other professional sports team coming to Kansas City should be on hold until we can figure out what the hell the Chiefs and Royals are doing on which side of the state line and where and everything like that. As much as I would love an NBA and NHL team, we can't even get this thing figured out yet for the two teams that have been here for forever. So. No, I don't like this. This conversation is not as fun as it once was because I just want to figure out where the Chiefs and Royals are.
Do you actually think so? To me, again, I have some bias. I'm a basketball fan. I think it would be
Drew, you're an everything fan.
It would be awesome.
You're a fan of life.
So I am. Paul Pierce, him saying people love basketball here. I think people do. But do you think? Because I think T-Mobile would be the spot. I think it's the perfect size for an NBA venue and everything. How well do you think that would do in comparison to hockey?
Hockey would be better long term. Long term, not initially. Long term.
I think honestly, I have some opinions on this because this is a college basketball town, and it's been that way. It's the College Basketball Hall of Fame's there. It's more of a college basketball scene, I think, than pro. And keep this in mind. I had Kings season tickets back in the day. I mean, I loved going there and seeing it. Yeah, I did. But let's face it. Sprint Center, T-Mobile Center, opened in 2007. That thing is almost 20 years old, man. We're getting on the cusp of that thing being 20 years old. It's going to need renovations. You think this was a big mess for the Royals and Chiefs, getting stadiums? That place is going to need an upgrade.
They would need millions and millions
and
in upgrades.
They have the 7-foot-high showers or 8-foot-high shower heads. It's built for an NBA team. I always thought the NHL, I'm with you, I thought the NHL would work in here better. But I'll say this, Kansas City should be more in the place to handle this. Because back in the day, when Sprint Center was first built, and you looked at these teams and you think, things have changed, man. I mean, the Royals have won a World Series. The Chiefs have won 3. I mean, it's been major sports. You've had the NFL draft in this town. You're about to have the World Cup in this town. This has become a centerpiece of sports landscape. But yet, it never filled up down at the T-Mobile Center / Sprint Center.
A lot of reasons for that.
There's a lot of reasons for it, but this town is more primed to have it now than it was back then. People have gotten used to winning, and the fans go out. Look at all the fans that went out to the K during this 6-game losing streak. I mean, that was nice fans. I understand everybody goes out to the Yankees games
people would
and stuff,
show up because it
but
would be a
people
thing
were going
to do.
to the A's games. They were filling the stands.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree that it's better positioned now necessarily. I get what you're saying. You're no doubt Kansas City is on the map more than it ever has been. I don't disagree with that. My point is, like, I don't think they're better positioned now because I'll stick with what I said 2 minutes ago. They have not been able to figure out still where the Royals and Chiefs are playing and the financial hurdles that exist with that. And you're right. I think T-Mobile Center would require upgrades. There's also the big problem. There's also the big problem of, the whole ownership group thing. Not to mention the NBA is going to go to Vegas and Seattle here first before they even consider another spot. And then we had Nate Taylor on the show, I think a week or so ago, and he was saying, based off of how things went down with the Kansas City Kings, he doesn't think we'll ever have another shot at one. I think long-term, as much as I would love NBA, imagine Mahomes sitting courtside while LeBron wouldn't be here at the time, but you get my point. Like, whoever the big star, SGA's playing, and LeBron is maybe the owner of a team in Vegas, and his team is coming to town. Whatever it would be, like, it'd be amazing. I think actually long-term NHL would be great, but we're wasting our time talking about, I actually think, any of these other sports leagues coming to Kansas City until over the next 5 years we figure out what the heck's happening with the Royals and Chiefs.
Yeah, there will be some of that, obviously, but just because they lost a team, I don't think it doesn't mean you can't get another one, because we've seen the Kansas City A's, but they got the Kansas City Royals. Atlanta's lost 2 NHL franchises, but yet people still talk about Atlanta maybe get another NHL team. We've seen a lot of towns lose teams to Rams.
Atlanta's a top 5, top 10
St. Louis
biggest
lost
city
the
in
Rams.
the
They lost the Cardinals as well. So they got another shot with that. Do I think Kansas City getting a shot with an NHL or NBA? I do, because I think the landscape has definitely changed for what Kansas City is. 2007, NFL draft in Kansas City would have been a pipe dream at that point. Having a World Cup in Kansas City would have been a pipe dream. They've had championship parades. They've had 4 championship parades since then, including MLS Sporting winning during that time. But the Royals had a big parade. The Chiefs have had a couple. And Union Station became this, the center of the NFL universe, which became with the NFL draft. I think the landscape has definitely changed in Kansas City. You become a world-class sports town now. Obviously, the airport. And Kathy Nelson can sell that now when she's trying to get events to Kansas City. Obviously, the airport helped out. Getting an NFL draft here was huge for this town. But
nobody's disputing that.
But getting the World Cup over towns like Denver and stuff, it put Kansas City on the sports map. And I think they're more acclimated to have it. Unfortunately, we can't get the stadiums done because, again, as I said, if you do get a franchise, that's a 20-year-old venue now. Only Garth Brooks has banners in that damn place.
I think, too,
which he does, by the way. There's a bunch of them.
Yeah.
That's it.
Real quick, regarding because the Kansas City Kings were a relocated franchise to KC, correct?
They split times, too, between Kansas City, Omaha. They were Kansas City, Omaha Kings, but they were just the Kansas City Kings for a while.
Because I think that's like to what you said, Gold, if they're going to go to Seattle and Vegas next in terms of adding teams, I think they would, if anybody, it would be a relocation to Kansas City because, they've already got the venue. I don't, because if you expand 2 teams, they get to 32. No other pro league is more than 32 teams. So the likelihood of them even expanding beyond 32 is unlikely, I would guess. But Memphis has been talked about as a spot that could relocate for a while, for a few years now.
The good news,
New
Drew,
Orleans,
is you don't have to sell it to
Pelicans.
somebody because Boots DiBiagio was the guy. They had to sell the team to him when the Sprint Center
I just think
first
that if
came out for NHL. But you don't have to do that now. The owner can move in free and clear.
Yeah, if Casey's going to get one, it'll be relocation. They've got the stadium. They've got the arena. It's in a good spot. They've got what they need from a baseline perspective, I guess. It's just a matter of, is the NBA actually going to commit to Kansas City over other places? And the answer is probably no.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think NHL would be the only one in the next decade, maybe. But so a lot of things have to get figured out. And then there's also the hurdle of course, those that operate T-Mobile Center are very happy with how busy the venue is with concerts. It's still one of the busiest venues that are out there. It
is, but Power and Light does struggle.
Yeah.
And I've seen it firsthand, like during the week. If they're not having a concert, and plenty of these arenas have NHL, NBA, and still have concerts as well. It can still be worked out. But as far as those businesses and stuff downtown, yeah, the concerts are one thing. But when there's no concerts, that is a ghost town, man.
Yep.
You couple that. You couple NBA basketball with MLB baseball downtown, and the vibe of downtown already is solid, obviously, in Kansas City, if you've been down there to Power and Light, but you add in another thing to do, I think there'd be some people, just in terms of it just being something to do, you're going to attract some people to to go to those
But
games
I think
anyway.
one of
They
these
don't even have to be big time
qualifiers is
fans.
they got to be good. Like you can't move somewhere and not be good.
Oh, that certainly helps.
You got to be good. Initially, you need that initial wave. The team has to be good.
Yeah, I don't even think it's the initial. The initial part's not the problem. People are going to go initially. That's why I think the issue would be 5 years into it when the team's not good. That's why the NHL to me has a better chance one day of being here and having more success. In the NBA,
and they've done better
people are
in
going to show
football towns.
up.
They have been.
I would be. I think in NBA, I'd be very concerned that we would be the Orlando Magic or Charlotte Hornets, completely irrelevant NBA franchise.
In fairness, the Magic are better now, but yes.
And someone would be like, well, look at the Thunder, what they're doing right now. That took a very special circumstance and having maybe one of the best general managers in the NBA.
That almost
to make
became
happen,
Kansas City.
Yeah. Anyway, so, all right. We'll get into the NBA Finals tonight a little bit later on the show. We obviously talked a little bit more about the NBA.
I want to see
Kansas
Drew
City.
cry.
What? I don't think I
want to see Oklahoma City hammerjack you, and then you come into work the next day.
That's not going to make me sad, though. Like
yes, it will.
I'm going to make me disappointed, but I don't think I've never been more mad at a game. I've never been so irritated at a game or heartbroken that I've cried.
Also, a lot of people in the text line are saying, I don't know, where you said they start from, that Cincinnati Royals.
That was Oscar Robertson time, the Cincinnati Royals.
Cincinnati Royals, yeah.
You want to see Drew cry tonight if the Pacers lose.
I've seen him with Burrow when he went down.
Well, that's true. Tears were shed. Tears were definitely shed. One thing, though, that I think you guys both are in agreement on, and I'm not, and that is what took place this weekend. The U.S. Open was this past weekend in Oakmont, there in Pennsylvania, at Oakmont, I should say. And I understand the ending of it ended up being exciting because you had J.J. Spaun walk it off with this unbelievable putt.
Want to cozy it up. Don't need to make it. 2 putts.
So J.J. Spaun wins it. There was also a rain delay mixed in. He was the only golfer, right, that was under par for the entire
And it was because
week.
of that putt, otherwise he'd have been even.
Yeah, so I told you guys know this. I'm a very casual golf fan. I watch the majors, and that is it. I understand the U.S. Open is different. They kind of pride themselves for whatever reason on being the toughest course. At some point, though, like trying way too hard to be the toughest tournament with the toughest course, it is not fun as a casual golf fan to see everybody struggle. I'm not saying I want the scores to be 20 under, 18 under, 17 under. No, that's also, to me, a bit of an extreme. But that was a snooze fest until the end, man. I was not locked in at all for the weekend. The leaderboard stunk. Honestly, if we're being real, those of you listening right now, on Friday, if I would have said J.J. Spaun, how many of you actually knew who the hell that was? It was just, I think it was a terrible weekend. I think it was a terrible weekend.
Great tournament with Rory this year.
Terrible weekend. Had no interest in watching.
I loved it. I love the challenge. I love seeing
golfers struggling is not fun to watch.
I love seeing the best of the best be challenged, and they were. And they were challenged in many different ways. And I like seeing the best of the best in those situations because it's not perfect. You know, that reminds a lot of people just going and playing golf. When they go play with their buddies, they get their foursome, they go out there and they have these struggles or whatever on different courses. That reminded you of like regular golf. That reminded people themselves when they went out there and played golf. You know, seeing the guys that are the best of the best actually struggle. You're like, that's golf, man. That is golf in a nutshell. And I do watch every tournament. I love watching it. And I like seeing the great players challenged. I do. I like seeing them make great shots. And you're like, man, that was a great shot. And just the mental toughness it takes to win the U.S. Open. To me, that's the one to win. Masters are right up there too, but to me, it's the U.S. Open, man. You win that course in those conditions when they're, basically tiger-proofing the course against you. We've seen it. We saw, -6 for Bryson winning. It was -10 when Wyndham Clark won 2 years ago. So there's been some scoring and whatever. But I'm okay with that. Then you mix in the conditions. It was like the British Open.
It's the worst major of all of them. It's the worst.
I thought it was exciting. I thought it was great drama to the end, man. Guys were way back, like McIntyre, make 9 strokes back, coming back and making a shot at it.
He went 3 under Bink over the weekend.
Yeah, and then 5 out of 6 holes, bogeys. For J.J. Spaun, who was out at 3 a.m. in the morning getting cough medicine for his daughter that was throwing up.
I think is amazing.
That stuff is real life, man. That stuff is Father's Day. 3 a.m. he's driving to Pittsburgh to a CVS because his kid's throwing up. To me, that's reality. What J.J. Spaun did was us. That is regular golfer going out there and winning. And I know he's better than that. Dude's a great story. bottom line, he's just a great story with his health and everything else going forward.
Yeah, like people are texting in. Those of you texting in are, admittedly, I told you I'm a casual golf fan. The diehard, someone said I'm a diehard. I know who he is. Oh, I'm not, again, Drew, I'm sure loved it.
I know
diehard
yes.
golf fans
I
know who these people were and loved it. I'm talking about. Usually major weekend. That's when the masses get the Masters. And this is when the casual fan get locked in. I just thought it was a boring weekend at the U.S. Open. I'm probably in the minority on that, but also those of you texting in saying you golf twice a week are not the people I'm talking about. I know you loved it. You would love it if it was like the worst golfers on the entire tour were competing. You guys were like diehard fans are going to love the major no matter what.
Correct. I think that it was. Excuse me. I think it was.
Get choked up. He's worried about tonight.
It was entertaining, I think, for the reason why Bink said it, mainly because I think watching them have to go through struggling situations, it's more of it turned into you just have to survive and make the least amount of mistakes. Where I think for one tournament a year, if this was a regular thing, it would get old. But I think for there to be one tournament a year where they're put up in the most challenging way, of course, that's extremely long for the par that it is. It's a par 70 for 7,300. That's a long distance for only a par 70. For them to be in that situation, the rough the way that it was, it made you hit fairways. It made you hit the right. You had to be precise and execute in every way. And I think
to be mentally tough, man.
For the pro, like for us, obviously, us playing it on like our regular golfers, it would be a miserable experience and it would be no fun. I think for them, they're so good at what they do that it makes that I think you respect Gold. It makes it look easy. Like at Augusta National, when Jordan Spieth shot 18 under, it looked easy. Where Augusta National never really looked easy like that until Spieth shot almost 20 under in it. This was challenging enough where it made the guys that can fire a 62, 63 be happy with a 70, a 71, and a 72. And I think it made it entertaining in a way that I guess was just a little bit different.
So you were locked in all day yesterday.
I was very entertained by the way that it ended.
Scheffler was back in it because all the scores, kind of.
So you watched all 6 hours yesterday.
I loved it. I thought it was great. I don't know why they switched.
You watched the entire
17.
You watched the whole day?
I watched it all. Yeah.
During the rain delay, I was more excited watching. It was more exciting checking Tiger Woods. The result I already knew.
And why didn't they show a previous Oakmont? Yeah. Why didn't they show a previous Oakmont during the time?
Because they wanted people to. They wanted to show some Tiger.
But that was a great deal. He was hurt. He was using that for a crutch, basically, the driver and everything. I like seeing people struggle, man. It was fun. And Scheffler was kind of, hanging in there, and he made a putt or two that he barely missed, but he was still kind of hanging around the situation. I just thought it was good drama. And now forever, it just changes this guy's life, man. You're like, man,
for him, it's I'm not saying, of course, for him, it's amazing.
Think about the ramifications in the golf if they win it. It's now 2025 U.S. Open champion. That carries forever.
Oh, no, yeah. I mean, whoever wins it should be thrilled, and it changes their entire life. Nobody's disputing that. For him individually.
But you think about that stuff when you're watching, like, man, we're going to see a first-time major champion here.
I think one of the cool things that JJ said afterwards was he was talking like Binky, like you said, he had to get up at 3 because his daughter was sick and everything like that. I had to run to CVS, but
I mean, who does that?
For him to start,
real, man.
For him to bogey 5 of the first 6 holes, and he said he was having lunch with Max Homa at one point, and there was a Tiger story where Tiger's like, it's a U.S. Open, it's always hard. You just have to stay in it. Don't think about it. Don't try to do too much, because if you stick to what you do, if you just stay in it, everybody around you is gonna come back to you. Like, it's just going to happen. That's the way that it goes.
Sam Burns it.
And the way that the course was, it was very, very difficult. Where if you missed 1 or 2 shots, you could blow up. Tyrrell Hatton had that in the last couple of holes, and Sam Burns and Adam Scott, of course, blew up really just in the back 9. They really folded. Unfortunate for them, but good for JJ Spawn. $4.8 million, I think.
Yeah,
it's the biggest
not a bad payday.
It's the biggest purse in major history.
3 majors done. It's hard to believe we have 3 of the majors done.
Middle of June.
The best major is the next.
That's
one.
Your favorite?
So that's a hot take. The Open. I love the Open Championship.
It's a big Tom Watson guy then.
Tom Watson was awesome. I loved watching.
He's won
Tom
5
Watson.
times.
He was tweeting about JJ Spawn yesterday. I did see that.
What do you think is best? I think the U.S. Open is definitely the toughest, obviously. The Masters
Gold doesn't like the US Open.
I don't like the U.S. Open. So Masters and then PGA Championship are my 2 favorites of the golf majors, I would say. What's 1-2 for you?
I think U.S. Open, or not U.S. Open, the Open, Augusta, U.S. Open, PGA. For me.
All right. I am U.S.
And it's not because
Open,
the accent thing either.
Masters,
It's not
PGA than the Open.
Okay. You like the Open?
I like them
worst?
all though. As far as those four, but I like
in terms of ranking them.
But I enjoy them all. I enjoy the majors.
The Open Champions.
I enjoy just regular tournaments too. I like the
Someone
players.
said I should check the scores of the 08 Tiger Woods U.S. Open. Yeah, but Tiger's compelling, so I don't care what the score is. That's
And
my
all these
Tiger,
scores-
somebody's that dominant,
Tiger's
Tiger
compelling,
proves
so that's my point. Tiger's a compelling person, so I would watch. Tiger could be
he was the Joey
5
Chestnut of the
over
time.
or 20 under. Either way, Tiger Woods would be entertaining, especially back in 2008 when he was right in the middle of it. Anyway, all right, up next, guys, let's talk some more Royals baseball. Everybody likes to play the blame game, so let's play it next.
This is Cody and Gold.
You will not decorate my balls, period. I will decorate my balls.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com. 96.5, The Fan.
Going out to eat just got a serious upgrade, Kansas City. 30 Hop is your new go-to. An American bar and kitchen with bold flavors, local taps, expansive patios, and an unbeatable happy hour. Now open in Lee Summit and just opened at Miriam's Grand Station. As the proud lunch partner of the Cody and Gold Show, 30 Hop truly has something for everyone. Stop in for lunch, stay for happy hour. 30hop.com. That's 30hop.com. Local beer, American Eats, big patio.
Honey, in case you can't tell from the recliner, summer is here, and our house desperately needs the experts at Powell Exteriors KC for siding, windows, entry doors, beautiful decks, patio covers, roofs, and more. Get ready for the heat at powellkc.com.
FanDuel is the best place to find all your favorite player props for the NBA Finals starting up this week. And now you can make the smarter play with new performance trends. If you want to check a player's consistency during the playoffs, or maybe they've been flirting with that potential triple-double, get the latest stats right inside the app and see who's heating up. And after the tip-off, you can combine live prop bets into a same-game parlay for a chance to win big. If you don't already have FanDuel, it's not too late to get on the action. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. So just visit FanDuel.com/Alex to join today. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued not withdrawable bonus bets which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
Hi there, I'm Charlie. And I'm Carter. Our dad is Rex with Rex Buys KC. If you're thinking about selling a home in Kansas City and don't know where to start, our dad can help. Sometimes life throws curveballs, like moving for a new job, dealing with a divorce, or inheriting a house you weren't expecting. Dad doesn't just make offers, he talks with people to help them understand all of their options. No pressure, and it doesn't cost anything to talk with his team. He's a local home buyer who really knows Kansas City. If selling to him is the right choice, he'll give you a fair cash offer, and you can close on your timeline even in as little as 7 days. He buys homes in any condition. No need for repairs, no fees, no surprises. Just an honest, easy process so you feel good about your decision. Want to talk to him? Call 816-330-6000 or go to rexbuyskc.com. Rex Buys KC, helping people make smart choices one home at a time.
Alex. Hello. We've been trying to track you down. I don't know if you've noticed that. Do you have any idea why?
Something to do with the radio thing.
Every month we're doing a giveaway. GiveMeTheVin.com.
Giveaway? What you giving away, man?
$25,000.
Alex Jackson of Pensacola, Florida is the latest winner of Give Me the Vin's Big Cash Giveaway.
Are you for real?
Every time that you sell a car to Give Me the Vin, you go into a drawing for that month. And dude, you won.
That's great, man. I'm having a baby boy in about 3 months. That's a lot of diapers, man.
Name him John Clay.
Okay.
No purchase necessary. For official rules, go to GiveMeTheVin.com.
Call Aspen Lawn and Pest Control. Our iconic blue trucks and expert team get it right the first time. Award-winning full-service lawn care and pest control since 1985. Call today for a free estimate. Visit aspenlawn.com.
I'm Piera Palazzolo, VP of Digital Marketing for the American Management Association, a company focused on the management training skills needed to enhance the careers of business professionals. We did our research when it came to the best companies for website development and chose AmericanEagle.com. And we couldn't be happier. AmericanEagle.com worked closely with us to understand the front and back end requirements needed to launch an e-commerce website that could handle the complexities of running thousands of seminars nationwide, our robust new website and improved SEO saw immediate increases in site traffic and web revenue. If you're in need of managerial effectiveness and success, visit our website at amanet.org. If you're in need of a website that provides an unparalleled consumer experience, I highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Transform your business today. Dial 877-WEBNOW1 for a free digital consultation with AmericanEagle.com.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone. I went through it a while back. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again, at work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text. Text BEACH to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast, absolutely free. Text BEACH to 42424. That's BEACH to 42424.
Products and statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or illness.
Tonight will be partly cloudy with a low of 69.
Weather brought to you by Staples. Have you heard? The Staples Easy button is back with even more easy. Press it for custom prints, shipping services, even passport photos. Staples. That was easy.
Have you watched Die Royal Decree? How about Chiefs Take Tuesday? Or Would You Rather Wednesday? Follow us on Instagram at TheFan965 for exclusive video content, giveaways, and behind-the-scenes action. 96.5 The Fan, KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2, Kansas City, in Odyssey Sports Station.
All right, here we go. 11 o'clock hour on Cody and Gold. Alex Gold, Drew Nixon producing the show. Jay Binkley is in for Cody this week and part of next week as well. Good to have you guys with us on a Monday. I struck a nerve with golf fans. That's all right. That's all right.
I guess so, you know.
I get it. We don't have to always agree on stuff. I've told you, I by no means claim to be some big golf guy, expert, or anything like that. I thoroughly enjoy watching the Masters and some of these other majors and give golf its props when warranted. I did not enjoy the U.S. Open. That's all. That's all. All right, we'll get back to that maybe now that I know that people are very passionate about it. Maybe we'll do that a little bit later on in the show. You guys can hit us up on the J Southland Tow Service text line, 913-586-7965. We'll get to the trash of the day in about 17 minutes or so, but let's get right back into the Royals. We led the show, of course, talking about this 0-6 homestand. They've lost 6 straight series at home. They're on an off day today before they begin a road trip to Texas. And what has to happen? What do you do at this point in time if you're the organization? But something that I think we all have done as sports fans in our life, and whether you're texting with your buddies, Bink, or you're on Twitter, or we get texts into the show, whatever, everybody loves to play the blame game. Everybody does it. We all do it as sports fans. Oh, it's this person's fault for something. So let's play the game a little bit here, because I've gotten 3 or 4 texts already on the show. It's Q's fault. Someone else texted the next text, and it was JJ Piccolo's fault. It was X player's fault, whatever, right? So if I break out the 100% of the pie here, where do you put the blame? And for me, I tried to break this down, and ultimately it lies on the players. I think for the most part, most reasonable fans understand that it is a production and results-based business, and the players are most responsible for that. I think we're on the same page there. So I went with 55% of the blame of where this offense is at, and I'm talking just the offense, by the way, is on the players. In fact, I almost went higher, because that is who has to perform. We know, you go through the lineup, we all know the names, right, that you were counting on. Salvi and Vinny and Bobby in India. Now, Vinny has played much, much better. He's been great since the month of May. But we know those guys overall have not lived up to what you needed them to be. And that's a big reason why you're in the spot you're in offensively. So I put 55% for the players. The next biggest chunk was coaching staff / hitting staff. I have a separate category for Q, by the way. But the hitting staff, Alex Zumwalt, et cetera, 25%. And I almost put that a little bit higher. I only have 100% to spread around, though. So I went 25% on the hitting, 55% players, 15% JJ Piccolo. He did assemble this roster. We all know the outfield and what they went into the regular season with. So he, of course, has to take a nice chunk of the blame for where this offense is at. And then I went 5% for Q. I just don't believe managers have big of an impact on the game as everybody likes to make it out to be. A year ago when the team was great, he was just lucky. This year, it's all his fault. So that's what I'm led to believe based on texts and tweets. So 5% on Q doesn't mean he's perfect. Of course not. Are we going to be frustrated at times with his decision? Absolutely. But he has been consistent with the analytical approach. You can say he wasn't consistent with Noah Cameron. We're going to talk about that in a second. But I think it is very clear under Matt Quatraro, they go off numbers. And if you want a manager that's going off feel and emotions and all that, that is not your guy. That's not who he's going to be, and that's not who he was, I guess, advertised to be. And he has been he has been as advertised, honestly, in my opinion. I put the blame at 5% on him with this offense. Where do you break it out? And you guys tell me on the text line if you were to break out the 100% out of players, Q, Piccolo, and hitting coaches.
I put players at 65% because I do believe, strong indicators how the players are performing. They're the ones up at the plate. They're the ones making the decision. They're the ones seeing, the baseball leave the pitcher's hand, where to hit it with guys in scoring position or not. So 65% players. I only gave Q 5%. Yes, I had a problem with the Cameron thing. Yes, I do. Yeah. But again, I think baseball is different than football because I think coaching does matter differently in football than baseball. It's like you look at the Royals in 15. It was set through 6 innings, right? I mean, you basically say the lineup. A lot of people could have done it, right? And then 7, 8, 9 was done. I mean, anybody could have done it. So I think there's more coaching involved in football than baseball there. Piccolo, 5%. I understand he's got constraints, man. He can only do what he can do.
Should I have another category of ownership? Should we have that mixed in there?
Well, you could. But Piccolo, he only does what he can do. And again, it's tougher. That's why Dayton Moore was so tough. Or would you just put it
as front office instead of just JJ?
Dayton Moore was the only small market guy since the explosion of television contracts to win a World Series. It's not easy to do. Dayton did. It is not a tough, easy job to do when you have different constraints. And I put hitting coaches 25%, obviously. I think
so you're at 20 as well.
So that 90% there between the actual players and the hitting coaches. It's more on the players, 65% on the players, in my opinion. But I do think you change the hitting coaches around, that could help. But I can't put a ton on the front office, especially JJ, because he's only doing what he can do.
In terms of the philosophy, I see a couple people texting
and his pitching staff is crazy good.
There's a couple people texting in about the philosophy. Whoever's telling Garcia to bunt. Is that Q making those decisions in that moment, or is it more of what they look at analytically in the philosophy from the hitting coaches?
I think in each circumstance is different, but sometimes we have to remember, especially with Q, they're never going to throw a player under the bus. So even if it was the player's decision, let's say in this hypothetical, to lay down the bunt, you're never going to, and nor should you. This is just, it's never a good idea. You're not going to hear Q come out and say, it was Michael's decision to do that, and you're never going to throw a player under the bus.
It's a big reason why people didn't like Ned in the beginning, because he would always take the blame for the players. And everybody thought it was on Ned when he was taking the blame for the players.
Someone says 55% of it is on Cody's songs. Someone did bring it up. We can keep track. Since Cody's JAC song, they've won maybe one game or not won a game. Actually, they haven't won a game. They're 0-6.
Yeah,
they're 0-6 since JAC. They're 0-6 since JAC.
I've seen Cody doing a song and get a home run that day. I've seen it work.
But then it has to.
Evidently, it's not working.
Same thing with the Q stuff. When it's good, you don't want to give credit. When it's bad, it's all his fault. Cody doesn't just get credit for the songs. When it's bad, it's got to be his fault too. Well, JAC 0-6, 0-6 since the song.
Someone says it's 100% on Q.
Okay, well that's just not realistic. Tell me, explain. Truly explain. Someone says no one is hitting. Direct reflection on Q's leadership. Again, I'm not saying he's not part of the equation. You cannot possibly truly think that 100% of the offensive lack of success this year is on Matt Quatraro. Can I ask you then, last year when they had success offensively, and it was average offense, nobody's saying they were world beaters, but they were hitting in big spots. What was that? Then 100%. He was 100% responsible for last season. Then is that because if you're saying it's 100% on him now, then last year must have been 100% on him.
Are you going to give credit to this pitching staff being as good as it's been this season, even with Reagan's being hurt and stuff, and Lugo having his issues, and Bubic?
Yeah, Q has no reason that the pitching staff is as good
forever,
as it is.
The Royals couldn't develop homegrown pitchers. Well, Bubic is an example of developing somebody.
Yeah,
the pitching staff's been great. Noah Cameron, this pitching staff's been great.
You can have a big chunk towards Q if you want. I disagree. No, you can't say 100% though. We can go through and have a conversation about the things that you may disagree with. But if you're not, I can't take it all that seriously. If you're trying to say 100% of the pie is on Q here, that just doesn't make any sense to me. That's all.
I just don't. I just look at MLB managers differently.
In terms of how they affect the game?
Remember when Joe Torre was racking up all the World Series? Do you think Joe Torre actually made the biggest difference for the Yankees team, or do you think it was Jeter and the Seavers and Bernie Williams and those guys? Of course, it was the players and not Torre.
You're right. I mean,
he just filled his lineup card and go.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, Matt Quatrero needs to hit a couple more home runs for this team.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's right. Why does he put on the gloves, and grab a bat? I think it's...
But his pitching staff has been crazy good. It was not from whose side on that.
I wonder if is our standpoint, because I'm with you, I think the players are there. Is our standpoint from the solely, because to me a lot of it solely falls into the reason I would put more percent on the players than anybody else in a significant amount. I'm more leaning towards Bink's side of things, or maybe even saying 70% of the players and less hitting coaches. It's just because
I have the majority of the pie on the players too.
They're able to hit, but it's just those. It's like the. I don't want to say they have a lack of clutchness. I don't because I don't think that's fully true. It's just in certain moments where they have to take advantage, they haven't been able to take advantage for whatever reason that is. I don't know if it's a philosophy thing. I don't know if it's something that they decide on in terms of how they need to approach the at-bats or what, or if they're just simply not coming through. But they're doing a decent job of getting on base. It's just that we've talked about it before.
Well, there's only two
them
pitching
driving in the runs when
better
they need
ERAs in the American League besides the starters. Only two teams better. That's crazy how good they are on what you should be able to win on, and that's pitching. You would think the other stuff would kind of come into gear, but being this good at pitching,
that's the only reason why there's still only 2.5 or whatever it is out of a playoff spot. Otherwise, we'd be discussing them.
And that's dealing with injuries and calling up guys like Noah Cameron. They're pitching crazy, or Chris Bubich pitching the way he's doing.
Yeah, someone said they would put 85% on the players, 5% on Q and JJ, and hitting coaches. So 5-5-5 across the board is how they would break it out. Yeah, I mean that's actually probably a fair way to do it. No doubt, I think most people that are reasonable understand that this is a player's issue first and foremost, but they have made the player changes. So now that's why we started the show with, I don't know how you just keep your hitting staff intact and say, all right, we're just going to keep rolling this thing out there. That's why I think a change has to happen there. And then, yes, we can talk more about it, over the next couple of weeks about where they're at in the standings as it relates to going out and making trades. I know, Vern, I was listening this morning talking with Fesco and Dusty, and he was saying that they need to, I think the phrase he used was, they need to drop the green flag now and go and make trades. I would truly, for who? Who is trading? And if you will cite Rafael Devers getting traded, I would push back and say that caught everybody off guard. That was also a player that was causing problems within the organization early this season because he wasn't happy that they wanted Alex Bregman, who's a million times better third baseman than Rafael Devers, to play another position, and he gave him a hard time for it. So I don't think we can just say now that Devers is traded, everybody's open for business. Maybe I'm up. Maybe that opens the floodgates and teams do it. A majority. Look at the AL standings. There's 7 teams that are within 3 games of each other at least, if not more. And so I don't know who's really making the trade. You should be on the phones, and I believe they have obviously reached out to people. But I don't know who you're going to add to the lineup right this second. I think the extra wild
card makes everybody think they're in it because Eugenio Suarez is a guy people are talking about. With the Diamondbacks, you could go out and trade them, but they're 3.5 games back from the wild card. They're not having a great season in Arizona, but because this wild card is the way it is, you have to make your decisions as front office. Are we actually good enough to compete, or you don't want to throw the towel in because your fans are going, what are you doing? You're only 3.5 back from wild card. What are you doing throwing it in? So all these teams, unless your name's the White Sox, the A's, the Orioles, or the Rockies, all these other teams, they still think they have a shot, and that's the problem. But I will say this. As I said, there's 2 teams in the American League, despite the injuries. 2 teams with better ERAs as far as starters. Only 3 teams in the American League have a better ERA from a relief staff like the Royals have. I'm a big fan of windows in sports. Like, you have to cash in when that window's there.
Sure.
Like, there is no guarantee this pitching staff's going to be this good in the future. I doubt it is. I seriously doubt the Royals.
It's already starting to, I would argue.
It's eroding to some extent, but it's still right up there as far as the American League. There's only 2 teams starters-wise better with ERAs, and only 3 teams with relief pitching better ERAs. But it's the window, man, and you have to cash in. If you have this kind of quality of pitching, you have to put the players around. That's why I'm all for the Royals making moves, because you don't want to waste this window. You don't want to be the 49ers that paid Brock Purdy last pick in the NFL draft money, and you make it to the Super Bowl and you could pay everybody else. To all of a sudden, now you have to pay them. Now how are you going to pay everybody else? That's a real problem. Again, sports windows. Can you knock it down? Can you kick it in? The Royals saw that in 15. Dayton Moore said, you know what? I'm going to get rid of 5 lefties, and I'm going out and getting Zobrist, and I'm getting Cueto. I'm doing what I can. I'm pushing all in. Billy Bean did it the year before with the A's. Didn't work out for him, but he still pushed all in. Dayton Moore did the same thing. He pushed all in, and he got it. You don't want to waste this pitching staff. Getting pitchers is the hardest thing to do in baseball.
Right.
That is the toughest thing. The Royals have the toughest thing already done. That's the frustrating part about it, is the tough thing's already done.
Yeah, I think the only thing. So the only thing with the 49ers analogy, I would argue, is they were going to NFC title games. They were losing in Super Bowls. They were that close, and you're like, go make a move to finish this roster off. That the Royals aren't even. I'm with you that I would not mind them, obviously, still, even at this moment, as bad as things look. They're only 2.5, 3 out. I would like them to go and trade for somebody. I would argue I don't know who that player is that is truly available. But I would also say, to me, they're not just a bat away. That's the problem. That's how bad things are with this offense.
Get one run, who cares?
That's my only pushback on that. I hear you. Like if they were in the, let's say they were in this exact same team was performing similar to last year. Then you can and you make an argument they're a bat away or this away. They're more than just a single bat in the lineup away. They could go and add whoever, Bink, Eugenio Suarez.
He's got 3 grand slams this year. That's the guy that hits in the club. That's incredible,
and he helps. There's no doubt. But I don't think Suarez just all of a sudden this offense is just going. That doesn't mean you don't make a move. I would argue they're not one move away. That's how bad it's
5
been.
runs, man. 4 to 5 runs with this pitching staff. That's good enough to win.
Don't you think in order to get where you're talking about going, though, Bink, are you what are you going to have to sacrifice to try to make it work this year? Are you risking, if you're saying, okay, we have to take advantage of the pitching staff because we don't know what they're going to be.
It's going to have to be a run-up player. It's not going to have to be a long-term.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying if you go all in, do you risk, or if it works, obviously you're geniuses, but if it doesn't, you could really have problems going forward if it doesn't, because you're sacrificing whether it's payroll, whether it's prospects, whatever the case is, who just aren't quite ready yet.
I think a lot of fans are split on this. There's some fans that say, they should clearly be sellers. There's other that think, hey, go and try to get this thing right. You have time, and people are split on that. I still think the whole selling part of it, to me, if you want to be buyers, you start making that decision now. If you want to be sellers, that sorts itself out in 3 weeks. There's a difference for me. Buyer, you make that determination now. Are we really going to go and try to improve this thing? Start making the effort to get those conversations going now. But if you're team sell, that's fine, and that might be where they end up. They just don't have to make that decision today I said it on Friday, same thing, now June 16th.
I think your decisions are much different if this pitching staff is sitting in the middle of baseball, 15th or 16th. They're sitting there. But when you're sitting there and only 2 teams in the American League have a better starting ERA, only 3 teams have better relief, you're like, okay, something's working here. You don't want to waste this window. You just have to understand what your window is. And you say, all right, this pitching, can we see this pitching being this good next year and the year after? Maybe not, man. Maybe Bubic isn't good next year.
Lugo's gone.
Maybe Cameron doesn't.
Lorenzen's gone.
Exactly. So you got to strike when the window's open. And right now, this pitching staff's going to be just about as good as you can get with the Kansas City Royals as far as the pitching staff is concerned. That's why you got to consider yourself having a chance, because they're so good.
We'll get to trash of the day in just a second, but I know you were texting with me last night, and fans are definitely I don't want to say stuck on, but certainly it's been a talking point. The Noah Cameron, one start he's pulled after 80-something pitches, another one he gets to go 100 pitches. You're upset about this.
Here's the one thing about it. It's one thing for fans, to hit Twitter or whatever and say, hey, why is he pulling Noah Cameron? Because there's certainly a lot of that. But what kind of message is that sending the guys in the clubhouse? These are the same guys that had a players-only meeting the night before. So they have a players-only meeting. Hey, guys, we got to turn this around, stop winning. Then you have a pitcher like Noah Cameron come out there, have 7 strikeouts in a limited time pitching, on a roll, rocking. You need to win a game. That was a winnable game. You got to salvage something at home, and you have a pitcher that you took out that threw 102 pitches against the Yankees, the performance before, and he had 83. That's the part you have to understand. All right, these guys just had a players-only meeting. That means they're serious. They're serious about winning. So it's not just the fan, in row 10 complaining about Noah Cameron coming out. It's the guys in that clubhouse. It's the guys in that dahlia saying, what are we pulling him for, man? We have a chance to win a game here. We just did that big speech last night, and we're pulling a guy on a roll? Why are we doing this? So forget about the fans. Think about the players.
Yeah, I know I'm going to be in the minority on this. This is just how they're going to operate as an organization. that is not just a Matt Quatraro.
I understand that, but why go 102 pitches and then just 83?
Yeah.
That part doesn't make any sense. I understand if you say 80 pitches
Yeah.
is the limit. No, and against the Yankees, you pull him out after 80, that's the limit. But when he goes 102 and then he goes to 83, that's where you have your questions.
I would simplest way to answer that, I would say, because baseball's not the same every single night. There's so many different factors that go into it. It is not as simple as just saying by a strict pitch count, 85 versus 100. And it is never as simple as that. This organization, this is where I think the Q stuff gets a little interesting. The decisions, whether it's lineups, whether it's pulling a pitcher early, I think we should all recognize in 2025, especially literally in the last probably 5 to 10 years of baseball, front offices are way more involved with these decisions than people realize.
Oh,
and you know this,
100% think that wasn't on him.
That's what I'm saying. Is like
100%
I think people have to recognize this is an organizational type of decision, and you may not like it. That's how they operate. I'm just telling you, they are going to operate this regime. Matt Quatraro obviously included in that. They're going to operate off of analytics, and so if they are looking at the quote unquote odds of something being in their favor, they are going to go with the numbers more. Now, you can disagree with the philosophy, but if you're asking me why one day it's 100 pitches and why another day it's 85, it is because in that circumstance, whether it's a right-handed batter and Jacob Wilson coming up to the plate or a number 9 hitter coming up to the plate, the odds are going to look different, even if somebody's at 100 or 85. The argument and the issue, I think, true, if fans are upset with it, that means your issue with him, and this is fair, would be you want him to manage more off of feel and basically the vibes, and that's not how they are ever going to operate.
That.
And it means it's going to set yourself up for situations where it can backfire, and that's what happened, right?
Yeah.
If the player goes out and performs when they pull him, then nobody's having this conversation.
I understand that, but you let him go 102 against a much better hitting team in Aaron Judge and New York Yankees than against the freaking Sacramento A's.
But that's not the odds. Are not strictly basing it. It's not as simple as that.
But you have to look at the big picture, though. You're saying this team had a players-only meeting the night before.
Yeah,
this
cares,
team
honestly.
is desperate for a win where they have freaking Mark Canha speak. We're not pulling Noah Cameron. We're letting him go another inning. We're letting him go more.
You're acting like the players think John Schreiber sucks, though. I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's fair to say that the players are upset.
I guarantee you, if you did anonymously with these players, how many of them were thrilled that Cameron got pulled from that game? I bet it's very, very minimal because they wanted to win that damn game. And they see Cameron
Those players
pulled,
probably also believe that John Schreiber can help them win a baseball game.
But still, though, seeing Cameron pulled from that game probably pissed them off.
Wait, Bink. I'm trying to understand what you're saying. You're saying is things are so bad right now that you regardless of the way that they have done things, if it's analytics, let's say the analytics say that you need to pull him now. Disregard the analytics and go off of this guy's dealing right now, and we need to win a game, and we're going to try to, and I'm going to roll with this guy.
Look who he's playing, a 28-win team. This is not the New York Yankees. This is, Oakland, Sacramento, Vegas, whatever you want to call them, A's. You just had a players-only meeting. This team is desperate to get a win. But his homestand was going to be a losing one 6 straight. There's a chance to win the game. I'm not saying go the complete game, which they used to do, but just another inning, man.
What you're saying is not crazy. I'm just telling you, though, that what you're once again, if you mention players-only meetings, that means we're talking about the vibes and the feels again. And that's not how this regime is going to operate. We can disagree on it, but I'm just saying, like, if you're asking why it happened this time or this time, why didn't they factor in the players only meeting? Matt Quatraro and this current JJ Picoult, this front office, they are not going to go off of the feels and the vibes. And you can make an argument that they should more. That's fine if that's your point. But that's not how they're operating. They've been consistent.
In that timing, in that situation, yes.
They didn't do that last year.
Okay, in certain situations, I get it. Analytics, I get it. You don't want to burn the guy's arm out, I get it. But certain situations dictated this team needed to find a way to win a damn game. And they had somebody out there just absolutely dealing, throwing 7 strikeouts in 5 innings pitched. And you're pulling him out after 83 pitches. I'm just saying, it's one thing. You don't have to worry about the fans, or you don't have to worry about us talking about the game the night before. It's the dudes in the clubhouse, the dudes that stood up and had a meeting the night before about doing everything we can to win a game. And then you have someone out there like Noah Cameron taking that to heart, saying, all right, here's 7 strikeouts in 5 innings. Oh, you're pulled from the game.
So then John Schreiber wasn't in that same meeting? He wasn't also trying to go and win baseball games?
Even he would probably say Noah Cameron should have pitched another inning.
Yeah, I just, if your take is that they should rely on analytics less, then that's a fine point, but that's not how this regime, then you're asking for a completely different regime. That's not where they're at as an organization right now. Yeah. And last year, by the way, they operate, I just want to point out real quick,
at this point,
they operated the same way last year.
They needed that win.
And last year, they operated the same way.
Yep.
That's all.
But they didn't have players-only meetings either.
Yeah, I think we're acting like the players-only meeting is a much bigger deal than what it is.
But I'm just saying it just shows you kind of where they're at. Like,
Yeah.
hey, we're done. We got to find a way to win. Let's go out. Let's scratch out. Let's do what we can. Well, Noah Cameron did his job and didn't get a chance to go any further.
All right, up next, we'll get to the trash of the day a little bit later. Good stuff there. I want to talk about the Chiefs, though, being with the Chiefs Red Half Hour, what Rashee Rice said down in Texas and what his numbers could look like. And I haven't talked to you in a bit about the stadium situation. We know the governor signed officially that stadium bill over the weekend. So now what with about 2 weeks to go till the end of the month? That's coming up right here on Cody and Gold.
Watch Cody and Gold on YouTube by subscribing to the 96.5 YouTube channel. Cody and Gold is brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
FanDuel is giving you even more reasons to love home runs every Tuesday during the MLB season, because with Dinger Tuesday, all FanDuel customers get a home run profit boost. That means when you bet on moonshots, you can take your winnings to new heights. So whether it's a big blast or an Oppo Taco, FanDuel is your home for betting home runs. Just visit FanDuel.com/Alex and gear up to go yard all season long. That's FanDuel.com/Alex to claim your Dinger Tuesday profit boost. Make every moment more with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. 21 and present in Kansas. Opt-in required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting up is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
Don't let clogged drains slow you down. Call Hamilton Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Rooter today for our $79 mainline drain cleaning special. The pros at Hamilton will inspect your drains with video camera technology to pinpoint exactly what is needed to clear those clogs and help prevent expensive drain repairs. The expert technicians at Hamilton are ready 7 days a week to solve your problem the right way, the first time. Over 40 years experience and more than 8,000 five-star reviews ensures your peace of mind. Visit callhamilton.com for details, terms, and conditions. License number 2025-11121.
One of my favorite things to do at Hy-Vee is saving money on gas. And this weekend, I'm in luck. This Saturday, June 21st and Sunday, June 22nd, earn a 30-cent per gallon fuel discount with every $60 grocery purchase at Hy-Vee. And Hy-Vee isn't just saving us money at the pump. They're lowering prices in every department. And on top of that, you can save on fuel as well. So this weekend, stock up for summer and stack up those fuel savings this weekend only at Hy-Vee.
Nothing tastes better than sweet summer corn or a juicy ripe watermelon. Indulge yourself in the fresh taste of summer this Thursday through Sunday at Hy-Vee. We're rolling back prices on your favorite produce like sweet corn, 4 for $1, avocados just 69 cents, seedless grapes 99 cents a pound, candy cantaloupe $1.99, and russet potato 5-pound bags just $1.48. Stock up on all the juicy deals during the mega produce sale this Thursday through Sunday only at Hy-Vee.
It's funny how one little light can stall out your entire day. I was already running behind, and now this, the check engine light. So I reached out to my go-to problem solver. Dad, check engine light. What do? He didn't miss a beat. Take it to Telly, he said. So I did. When I got there, they didn't just fix my car. They fixed my day. They were quick, clear, and took care of everything. Next time my car glitches out, I'm heading for Telly. Don't let that little light be game over. Take it to Telly.
Exercising and being outside are two things I love doing almost every day. I can't imagine joint pain slowing me down. The good news is, if you do have joint pain, I've got the answer for you. QC Kinetics has over 50,000 satisfied patients in less than a decade, and everyone is getting results with no drugs, no surgery, and no downtime at all. QC Kinetics has been on the cutting edge of regenerative medicine. They use natural treatments that harness your body's own healing power. Regenerative medicine used to be an alternative, and now it's mainstream. So if you love being outside and working out as much as I do, or you just love to play golf or tennis or doing everyday activities and you don't want to live with that joint pain any longer, call my friends over at QC Kinetics. Don't let sore knees or elbows or shoulders or a back keep you from doing the things you love. Call QC Kinetics today, 816-412-6299, 816-412-6299. Off 435 in State Line and in Gladstone. It's QC Kinetics.
Our daughter Jessie loves playing detective.
A clue.
But since we discovered she has sensitive skin, we've been playing detective too.
We thought the problem was our puppy.
But it was actually our old detergent.
Aha.
So we switched to Tide Free and Gentle. Tide Free and Gentle provides an excellent Tide clean, and it doesn't leave behind irritating residues like dyes or perfumes, so it's gentle on your skin.
Case closed.
If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Free and Gentle.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-707-6152. 800-707-6152. 800-707-6152.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy and founder of Wesley Financial Group, and I want to set the record straight. I am not an attorney. I've never wanted to be an attorney, and the truth is I really don't even like attorneys. If I sound like an attorney or if I look like an attorney, I'll apologize. But what I've learned in my 15 years in the timeshare cancellation business is you don't need to be an attorney to get folks out of their timeshare. At Wesley, we've helped over 40,000 families cancel their timeshare without me being an attorney. And I want to share with you how we do it. Just give my office a call, and you will not talk to an attorney. And I guarantee if we take you as a client, we'll get you out of your timeshare, or you'll pay nothing.
Call now for your free timeshare exit info kit. 800-761-0000. 800-761-0000. 800-761-0000.
Royals coverage sponsored by Renner Garage Door, forward and back, RENNER.
Almost Andy Reid here. Renner Garage Door has proudly served KC for nearly 70 years. Get your free estimate today. RENNER, forward and back.
RENNER. RENNER.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. Welcome in to the Chiefs Red Half Hour. Every day at 11:30 with Cody and Gold on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
All right, it is the Chiefs Red Half Hour. Alex Gold, Drew Nixon, Jay Binkley with you here on a Monday. It's the Chiefs Red Half Hour brought to you by All Weather Decks, Kansas City's most respected deck builder.
Can we take a timeout real quick, guys?
Yeah, let's do it.
Can we just take a minute here and just realize the NFL's closed, man?
Yeah.
We're wrapping up mandatory minicamp this week. Then it's nobody get in trouble. Let's get to St. Joe. Just a month, man. A little over a month. Be out there practicing football, looking forward to the season. Football, man. Football is right upon us. We got college football coming up at the end of August. Then we have the National Football League. We get the Thanksgiving game. We get the Christmas game. We got glorious football.
You're looking ahead to Christmas. Already looking ahead to Christmas.
Glorious football right in front of us, man. Yes, we want our baseball team to be good. That's great. But, man, we have football, and I can just smell it.
You're going to be salivating at the mouth a month from now.
I can smell the fresh-cut grass when I come in the building, and I think of glorious football right upon us, man. Right here. It's right there, Alex. Touch it. Drew, it's right there, buddy. That's all.
I'll get excited once training camp starts.
Yeah, I'm really excited.
Should that be the social media clip right there today? Should that be it?
I mean,
Should that be
go
the social
for
media
it.
Hey,
clip?
man,
I mean,
I've already gone and got my magazines. I know it's outdated and old school, and Drew still does it because I know he does.
That's
but
right.
I still go to Barnes & Noble, get all the football mags, College Pro, you name it. I still do that. I know I can look on my phone, you look in the internet, but there's one thing to have that fresh copy in your hands, man. It's like having that nice copy of Phil Still, like in your hands, or the Lindy's College Football Guide. There's just something about glorious football. And you get to this time of year, man, and it really kicks in, man. It's like, we're almost there. Go ahead. I digress. I'm just excited.
I'm excited for the season. It's just I got to wait till training camp to get there because, as you mentioned, all the things that have to happen before we even get to the first NFL game of the season. Got a month in St. Joe before we even get there. Got a month till we're in St. Joe.
You have fun up there. You do the snow cones and Chris Jones.
Yeah.
I almost wanted to ask you if you were doing okay, Bink. After you said this.
It's right there, Alex. Touch it. Drew. I didn't mean that.
Well, that's going to be a drop.
Yeah, that will be. As soon as I said it, I knew it would be.
Yeah. No, look, I'm excited, Bink. We'll get there, man. We'll get there. There's a lot of things that have to happen till then. But I'll be excited by the time we get to that point in time.
I mean, we're almost there, man. You and Cody every day sitting there in that tent, just right there.
Yeah.
Jones coming over to practice, and whoever he brings with you to interview.
I'm going to try to get Drew to come up a few times this year. Drew has not been to training camp.
I think I've been here.
We have our football meetings. Meetings coming up, and one of the things is going to be having Drew come up for one or two of those.
Drew needs to. It would open his eyes because deep down I think he is a Chiefs fan. He won't admit it on the air.
Well, I told him he needs to watch.
Deep down, he's a Chiefs fan.
Alex and Cody insist on me coming to training camp because they want me to see what a championship training camp is.
That's what I told him. I said he needs to see what a championship caliber training camp is like, unlike his Cincinnati Bengals crap. They don't know what it takes.
They
have to walk across the damn street, like a real street with cars going on to get to practice.
Still do, yes, currently.
Which is insane that you have an NFL team walking across a busy street.
Yeah, that is.
It might also correlate into why they
never win.
Why their star defensive lineman is still not signed yet.
Oh, but they're talking now. They're talking.
Thank goodness.
Trey Hendrickson. Yes.
They're talking.
They have resumed contract talks.
right.
All right, let's talk about those Chiefs, though, that have Bink already excited on June 16th for the start of this season. We mentioned earlier in the show, Rashee Rice down in Texas was at a football camp. He mentioned how, hey, look, this is a team that is waiting to put on a show on offense, and a wide receiver room waiting to put on a show on offense. We talked about it from a team perspective, but let's hone in on Rashee Rice in particular and really the wide receiver room as a whole, because I think based on everything we've heard, he's ahead of schedule on the injury front. He's in great shape throughout his recovery process.
Best shape of his life.
That kind of stuff, right? And I believe it. We have seen Mac's been taking some video and photos from going out to OTAs and stuff, and so make sure you guys are checking out Mac's social feeds for that. But as much as it was great to see Worthy come on late, and then I know people have the lasting image of the numbers he put up in the Super Bowl, I feel like people are talking himself into, I know Cody has to a certain extent, that Worthy can have a better season or just as good of a season as Rashee Rice, and that would be amazing for the Chiefs. But I think Rice, if you believe Rice is going to be anywhere near what he was prior to injury.
If you say no suspension, yes.
I think Rice is going to have more yards than Xavier Worthy, unless Rice is suspended for 3, 4, 5, 6 games. Otherwise, even if he played one less game, I think he's going to have more yards than Xavier Worthy. He, to me, is clearly the number one wide receiver for this football team.
Rice is an alpha dog, man. There's nothing about it. This whole kid's career, man, it's give him the ball. When he was at SMU that last year before the Chiefs trade, he had 97 catches. The closest to him was like 55 or something on the team. I mean, he was far and away their dude. I mean, he's used to being the dude, and he was on his roll doing it this year until that injury in the Chargers game. But, yes, he was that kind of guy. They took a dart pick. And they went Rice because Veach, hadn't had an opportunity to go get a couple receivers. I wish he would, but he hasn't. But Rice finished behind Puka as far as catches and yards. No other rookies had more than Rice. Like his rookie year, last year was going to be a breakout year for Rice. But his rookie year, he was only behind Puka in catches and yards. That's it. That's the list. Rashee Rice is ready to break out if he plays all the games.
Do you think, let's put the suspension thing aside for a second because nobody really knows how that's going to play out. The way it's trending, it feels like it's not going to happen because the court situation hasn't gotten settled. So that might be another year from now before you have to worry about that. But just knowing he's coming off an injury, knowing how he looked, do you think it's crazy to think he's a 1,250-plus yard receiver this season? I don't.
I don't think it's crazy at all. I think he was well on his way last year. I mean, the dude knows this offense. He's trusted with the quarterback. He runs great routes. He's great yards after catch, something the Chiefs really love. Like, he's like the perfect fit for what they do. Like, he really is. Like, that is like the perfect piece for what the Chiefs are. And like you said, he's kind of taken over a lot of those Kelsey intermediate type catches as well.
That's what it was.
He's like the perfect fit for what this offense is. That's why I think he'll excel so much.
Yeah, I mean, that was the thing that still, I think, really took the offense last year down the path that it ended up, is that they all of a sudden had to ask Kelsey to be that dude again in that role. And at this point in time in his career, that's a big ask. And then you already were without Hollywood Brown from preseason. And so if they go into the season and they actually, in week 1 against the Chargers, you tell me that they have everybody, Kelsey healthy, Worthy, Rice, Brown healthy, and there's no suspension, and they go into week 1 taking on the Chargers in Brazil with that room, that you mentioned being excited, that's what I would be excited to see. We haven't seen it. We have never seen Rice, Worthy, Brown, and Kelsey on the field at the same time in a regular season football game.
Let me ask you and Drew this question. So Kelsey is number 2 all time in 90-plus catch seasons.
Okay.
The only one with one more was Larry Fitzgerald with getting 90 catches. But Kelsey's got them all in a row because he had 97 last year. Can he tie? Will he get over 90 this year? Will we put him in the same echelon as Fitzgerald as the only humans ever to have 9 years of 90 catches? Can he get to that point?
We were having a conversation, I don't know, 3 weeks ago maybe, just about the production expectation for Kelsey. What do the targets look like? So if you're saying 90 catches,
he has lost 25 pounds.
How many? Yeah, that's great. That's great. And I think he's setting up for this to be his final year in the NFL. Last year, 133 targets. The year before, 121, then 152. Last year, on 133 targets, 97 catches. I think we see the targets dip down this year. I've been saying that I think the targets are actually going to be the lowest they've been since his 3rd year in the league, or 4th year in the league. I think the targets are going to dip down to $120.
I think Rice takes a lot of those.
Like $115 or so, $120. And if you're only getting $115, you're right. I mean, that puts you like 88 to 92 catch range, and you're right on it.
It'd be 9 straight years of 90-plus catches.
And if he's close late, we know they'll help him get there. Like,
I know it gets Chargers, though. He stopped the streak to 1,000 yards.
That's fair. That's true. It depends, I think, what's clinched or not. That's fair. That's a good point. Yeah, he obviously chose the team over an individual stat. That's fair. I forgot about that. That's true.
I would guess no.
Man, that's a lot to ask. 90-plus catches. He's just consistently done it 8 straight years.
Last year was 97 catches, 823 yards.
But like yards after catch and all that was way down. It's like the last in the league.
Yak was way down. Yards per target was down. All of it. So I think this particular season, I have him in that 750 to 900 range, 800 to 900 range in terms of yardage, and that's on like an 85 to 90 catch range.
He's also a byproduct of the offensive line, like limited time to throw it, so he's a byproduct of that as well.
I think if Travis gets to 90 catches, if he gets more than 90 catches, then they're the exact same offense as they were last year.
So you think it's better if he has like 80 or 75? That'd be a low. The career low is, by the way, receptions would be his 2nd year in the league. I don't even count that one, really.
I think the offense is more likely to be top 3. If you were to tell me right now, if I were to just guess, like if Travis Kelce if you said the offense is top 3, I think Travis Kelce has less than 90 catches.
See, to be top 3, I think it means everything came together. It means Rice is blowing up, Worthy's blowing up, and Kelce has a 900-yard season, which means if he's going to get to 900 yards, and I think he has that catch range of 85 to 90 or so. Because that's only, like, if you're just saying they improve and they're a top 10 offense, then I hear you. But if they're like, to be top 3, I mean, I think it would require Travis Kelce.
So I said 8, it's 7. Larry has the record 8, Travis is number 2 at 7, and Keenan Allen was 6.
So he can tie the record, you're saying, at 8.
He can tie Fitzgerald, but his are all consecutive.
Yeah, and you're right on the accomplishment thing. I think at this point he's shown it with his actions and fairness that if this is his last year, it's all about just winning a championship again. It doesn't really matter if he ends up with 800 yards or 1,000 yards.
Most consecutive, he's already got the record because that was Torrey Holt that was 2nd. He's already the most consecutive 90-plus catches ever. It's just if you want to go total seasons, it would be one more to tie Fitzgerald.
So it's been a bit since you and I talked about the stadiums, just you and I together on this. We've obviously been talking about plenty on the show, but the last time you and I were discussing stadiums, they hadn't even had the special session yet. It hadn't really got to this point where now we're a few weeks away from the end of the month, which is the Star bonds will expire. They could extend them, though, right? We know that's a possibility on the Kansas side. Missouri Governor Mike Kehoe signed the stadium bill this past weekend. That was expected. That wasn't a surprise. He was the one that wanted it to happen.
That was a given.
So that's not shocking by any means, but it makes it official, right? And so now the information is kind of out there in terms of what each state is willing to provide or the funding up to. Where do you think this goes now? I've given my opinion on this quite a bit. I think that by the end of the month, we'll at least have some direction of where the teams are going. I don't think we're going to necessarily know where both exactly are going because the Chiefs, if they stay with a renovated Arrowhead, they're going to need a Jackson County public vote, maybe as soon as November to make that happen.
It will take a local vote for that.
Yeah.
And I think it will happen. I think it would have happened with the Chiefs if they were separate as far as last election. I think it goes a little bit different. I think the Chiefs stay. The Royals, unfortunately, I can see them over in Kansas. Or I think things end up, Alex, to be honest with you. I think the Royals end up in Kansas. I think the Chiefs stay where they're at.
And what is that because you think the Chiefs can handle a public vote and the Royals just would?
I think the Chiefs can. And I think I think people got a real good learning experience about the whole thing because there's a lot of people. I remember sitting here with Bob that day, the vote and everything going on because they just got their property taxes raised and everything else, and everybody was against anything of spending money. And when they saw the reality that all of a sudden these teams could move, I don't think they're so worried about them moving to a different state, to a different location, but just to move across the border. When they actually saw it being a reality, I think that sunk into a lot of people like, wow, they're serious. We could actually lose these teams.
That's my thought on if the Royals had, let's say, if the Royals make a decision to go to Kansas and then the Chiefs are then pushing for a renovated Arrowhead, let's just say, and they go to a public vote. I'm with you that I think some, I don't know if it's enough, some voters would think what you're thinking, which is, well, we already lost the Royals to Kansas, can't lose the Chiefs. I think that works for some. Is it enough to make up? I guess you would need an 8% swing, right, on the vote. They won by 16% on the other side.
I just think people view the two franchises differently. I do.
Yeah, but is it a Bink?
I think with the Chiefs constantly in the Super Bowl, 3 of them here with Mahomes, I think it's just different.
If they were separate, do you think that people would have been okay with the upgrades just being the parking? And then all the suites, which a lot of people who are voting are not even going to be in?
Oh, I think they still really like the tailgating, which won't change. I think they enjoy that. And fixing up the stadium to some extent. I know the Chiefs want the whole ballpark village type thing, too. I know they've been enamored with SoFi.
That doesn't come with the renovation.
Oh, I know. It doesn't. So that's a big concern there because you're not going to get all that or the hotel outside the stadium.
You think they'd be okay with it as long as they just get to say we were keeping the Chiefs in Missouri?
Well, they'd still have a baseball team. That's one way I think they'd look at it. They'd still have the Cardinals, but they'd lose the NFL. If the Chiefs lost, this state would not have an NFL team, which is crazy. The population difference between Missouri and Kansas and then not have an NFL team in your state, like that's insane. Like I'm shocked the vote was the way it was, even in Missouri, even though it did pass. I'm surprised it wasn't more overwhelming. Like you do not want to lose a professional team.
You're talking about the vote in the Missouri Senate or House?
States and counties fight for NFL franchises to move their state. This is a major thing to have a team, especially a good team playing in your state. You would think they would, no holds barred, let's keep the team in the state. So I'm a little bit surprised it even went that. I'm glad that cooler heads prevailed and they are getting the funding to do it. I think the Lamar's dream, I think he liked being in Missouri. I think he liked being where he's at. Now, do I think the franchise putting the dome out there and stuff like that? I know there's a talk about doing that. Can you lure the Super Bowl and things to Kansas City? Can you have your ballpark village? All that would come with the new stadium. There's no question about it. But I do think there'd be a strong push for them to stay where they're at. I think that when it all comes down and shakes out, I think the Chiefs stay and the Royals leave. But to Kansas.
Yeah. No, that's always been the thing. I know before we get a million texts on it, of course, there's clear economic issues if one team leaves.
But I think the reality, I don't think people believed in the reality. Yeah. I think they just took it for granted these teams are always going to stay there, that they're going to get their 1% earnings tax on everything that happened at those stadiums, which Luke Combs, whenever he comes to sing, that's 1%. Yeah. Where are you coming up with that money? Like, I never heard anybody make that argument. I heard all these arguments, but I never heard about the 1%. Because Mahomes, they pay 1% of their salary for that day. In Yankees, when they come to town, Aaron Judge, all that, 1% of his salary goes to Kansas City, Missouri, and Jackson County. Like, never did I hear where they're going to recoup that money. Because that is money leaving that county.
No, there's massive economic impact if one or both of the teams leave the state of Missouri. No, I think that's very, very clear. But going back to what you were saying 40 seconds ago or whatever, I was just going to say that, yeah.
You might just end up with the Cardinals and the Blues.
Yeah.
Seriously. Because even the MLS team plays in Kansas.
Mm-hmm.
I think St. Louis has one, so.
Do you think we know by next month?
I hope so. I'm glad gambling passed.
They delayed that as long as possible.
Do we know when that's actually happening? Because people have texted about it.
December 1, potentially a few weeks before that, but December 1. December 1st.
So we don't have to drive to Kansas?
For those in Missouri, no.
We drive to work.
So maybe by Chiefs playoff time.
No, by week December 1. What is that? Week 14 of the NFL season.
It'd be right in time for the college football playoffs and everything.
Oh yeah,
but you won't
Not
have
that
it during.
It matters to you, but
you won't have it during the baseball season.
It's tough. You will be able to bet though in Arrowhead. It sounds like if that stays true, then December 1. Live betting in Arrowhead.
Be pretty popular. But I know that whole allure of having, the hotels and the, all the things and the shops and the restaurants. That's alluring. I'm just shocked that's never worked out where it is, being on 435 and I-70. Like, I know it hasn't. It's
that's
not,
a much bigger conversation. Like that area is obviously not growing.
I'm just shocked. I'm just shocked
that
area didn't develop because we've seen all these other areas develop like crazy.
Yeah, that's why for those, like somebody texted, why wouldn't they just build the Dome Stadium on the old Kauffman site? It's the very reason you just presented there, because they're not going to have the new development in that particular spot. But like most people, I'm ready for them to make their decision and be done with this thing.
Oh, 100% ready for this.
Just be done with it.
Let's move on.
And move forward, right? This has been
like the Bills are like, we're putting it in. Come hell or high water, we're building a new stadium, and they did.
Yeah. I think the people are clearly very, very passionate about it. And, if you're on the Missouri side, you don't want to lose a team. If you're on the Kansas side, you're excited about maybe the potential of getting one of these teams. I'll say it for the millionth time on this show. Growing up on the Kansas side, I've gone to Missouri for sporting events my entire life. I don't care if I have to continue to do that. Would it be nice to have one of the teams?
Like, it became a reality check, don't you think, for a lot of people? Like, they're serious. They can move.
Maybe, but there's some people that don't.
They're not going to move, and then all of a sudden they're going to, and it's like, whoa.
There's a lot of reasons why the vote failed last April. Some of it was, what you said. But there's also a ton of people out there that still will no matter what, will say, hey, they don't want to use public money for stadiums. We know the reality of the system that we have in the United States with stadiums is that that's how this thing gets done. And if you're not willing to go that method for financing, unfortunately, teams leave. We've seen it time and time again. We're fortunate that we have a state line. So while you might be upset if a team leaves Missouri and it's an impact to your municipality there, and it's not a good thing in that regard, they're not leaving for a completely different region. That's the fortunate thing we have here. We're not talking about KC Mo and then they're leaving for Portland, you know what I mean? That's not what we're talking about here, thank goodness. If, in fact, they even leave at all. But I'm kind of with you. I think one leaves, one stays.
Yeah, I'm on that board with the Chiefs staying and the Royals leaving. But that Ballpark Village may work. Be a stretch, but I know they want that.
The original idea for the Royals was a downtown stadium.
I mean for the Chiefs, as far as having the Ballpark Village and everything around it.
Yeah. It's weird I can't call it a Ballpark Village when we're talking football. It's throwing me off. I think Ballpark Village, I think Royals.
Well, you can definitely
Ballpark Village. I can't call a Ballpark Village for the Chiefs. It's throwing me off anytime we say that.
You still have a lot of stuff out there with that space.
Would you rather them build a dome or rather them have Arrowhead renovated?
I'm outdoor guy, so I understand.
I think you're the majority.
And getting the Super Bowl and stuff. I'd rather see it outside.
Yeah, a retractable would be the way I would go. To me, best of both worlds. But I totally understand.
And you can have all of it if you have a retractable roof. Like a dome doesn't.
Different cost, I think, is probably part of the problem.
I mean,
that's why the Bills did. That's why the Bills didn't do it, because they went cheap on it because they get a ton of snow out there. They even had games canceled because of snow. Not doing it at a dome.
I'm just thinking, like,
it's
from in the comp to Indianapolis in terms of Super Bowl, Final Fours, everything. They have a retractable roof, and it's never been an issue. So, plus it looks cooler than just a regular dome.
A lot of these places with retractable roofs, though, they don't even open them up. It's ridiculous. There's a lot of these places, they end up keeping the roof closed anyway. They don't open it up as much.
The translucent roofs, where in LA or whatever, it's still open air on the outside.
It's not retractable, but I still think Minnesota. If you were asking me just to model off of any stadium, the Viking Stadium with the way that the sunlight comes in during a day game and it doesn't look like it's an indoor stadium is amazing. Yeah, I've been to Allegiant as well, but I think the way the light comes in at the Vikings. What is that? U.S. Bank Stadium, I think it's called.
I like the way they can roll turf in or the grass, and they play both surfaces.
All right, up next, guys, let's get to what's trending. Then we'll get right back into the Royals and a winless homestand, plus what should take place today on an off day. That's coming up right here on Cody and Gold.
This is Cody and Gold on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
You want that dream deck for summer? Let All Weather Decks build your dream deck for you because they've got the right deck at the right price. With lumber prices expected to go up here soon in Kansas City, lock in that project now so you can save yourself in the future. You can schedule a free estimate by going to allweatherdecks.net or giving them a call, 913-206-1974. Check out their work online at allweatherdecks.net, and trust me, your dream deck is around the corner thanks to All Weather Decks. That's 913-206-1974.
It's the spring sales event at Rob Sight Ford, and I'm here with the man himself, Rob Sight. Rob, you already stole the spotlight. Now what are you trying to take?
Just your attention, Kevin, and maybe a few trade-ins. Now, we've got up to $14,000 off new Fords with employee pricing, plus our own dealer discount.
$14,000. That's hotter than your Sunday barbecue.
Exactly. And unlike your burgers, these deals won't dry out. We've got hard-to-find inventory, huge trade-in values, and our non-commissioned sales team makes everything so easy.
No pressure, just real help. Even I'll admit it, it's the best place in Kansas City to buy a car, and I don't hand out compliments lightly, or seconds.
That's a fact. And don't forget, we're Kansas City's top-rated Ford dealer on Google. 4.8 stars, nearly 3,000 reviews, and 0 grill marks.
All right, Rob, I'll give it to you, man. You're cooking up some real value over there.
Come see us at 135th and State Line or visit robsight.com. But hurry, these deals are sizzling and inventory's moving fast.
And tell him Rob sent you. No guarantees, but he might throw in a hot dog.
The NBA season is coming to a close, and FanDuel is the best place to find all your favorite player props for the NBA Finals starting up this week. And now you can make the smarter play with new performance trends. If you want to check a player's consistency throughout these playoffs, or maybe they've been flirting with that potential triple-double, well, you can get the latest stats right there inside the app, and you can see who's heating up. And after the tip-off, you can combine live prop bets into a same-game parlay for a chance to win big. So if you don't already have FanDuel, you can still get in on the NBA action. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Just visit FanDuel.com/KFNZ. Use my promo code to join today. Make every moment more this NBA Finals with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook app. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued. Non-withdrawable bonus bet. Retires 7 days in receipt. Returns supply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas. Under Kansas Park Casino, LLC. Gambling problem. Get them at your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit kansasgamblinghelp.com.
Our daughter Jessie loves playing detective.
A clue.
But since we discovered she has sensitive skin, we've been playing detective too.
We thought the problem was our puppy.
But it was actually our old detergent.
Aha.
So we switched to Tide Free and Gentle. Tide Free and Gentle provides an excellent Tide clean, and it doesn't leave behind irritating residues like dyes or perfumes, so it's gentle on your skin.
Case closed.
If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Free and Gentle.
I'm a call with Lisa Mitsuber, and our hotline is open. Annie from Kansas City, what's on your mind?
I want a dealership that I can trust for a lifetime. Is that you?
We're Google's highest review rated and only locally owned Subaru retailer in Kansas City. That's a good start.
I just want a great deal. That's all.
How about every vehicle comes with a lifetime powertrain warranty?
What about guarantees?
A lifetime warranty should handle that. Fall in love with driving again at Lisa Mitsubaru.
Hi, folks. Bob at Blue Springs Ford. Layton, you look like you have something to say.
I do. It's our free lifetime powertrain warranty. That includes 24-hour, 7 days a week, every day of the year for 10 years, roadside assistance.
Well, that was a mouthful.
We're talking towing, fuel, oil, water delivery to you, lockout assistance, battery service, flat tire support, emergency assistance.
Folks, if you don't come see us today,
then you'll miss out on our free lifetime warranty.
The best moments in life weren't meant to sit in a box, gathering dust in the attic, or stuck on outdated tapes. They're meant to be seen, heard, and shared again and again. That's why Legacy Box exists, to help you preserve and relive your family's history. Imagine being able to text a video of your grandparents to your kids, or share a childhood memory with your siblings in seconds. Legacy Box makes it that easy. Just fill your Legacy Box with all your analog media. Send it to our headquarters in Tennessee, where we digitize everything by hand. And in just a few weeks, we'll send back your originals, digitized, preserved, and stored in the cloud, so you can easily stream, download, and share your memories anytime, anywhere. Join the millions of families that have trusted Legacy Box. Go to legacybox.com/value for 50% off. That's legacybox.com/value for 50% off.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy and founder of Wesley Financial Group. And I want to set the record straight. I am not an attorney. I've never wanted to be an attorney. And the truth is, I really don't even like attorneys. If I sound like an attorney or if I look like an attorney, I'll apologize. But what I've learned in my 15 years in the timeshare cancellation business is you don't need to be an attorney to get folks out of their timeshare. At Wesley, we've helped over 40,000 families cancel their timeshare without me being an attorney. And I want to share with you how we do it. Just give my office a call, and you will not talk to an attorney. And I guarantee if we take you as a client, we'll get you out of your timeshare, or you'll pay nothing.
Call now for your free timeshare exit info kit. 800-761-0000. 800-761-0000. 800-761-0000.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you can watch every show, plus video clips and shorts, all right from your phone, desktop, or tablet. The Fan's YouTube channel at 965 The Fan. KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2, Kansas City. An Odyssey sports station. What's trending?
What's Trending is presented by Baker University, where graduates earn higher salaries and land jobs faster than any other university in Kansas. Apply today at bakeru.edu. Well, the Royals had a winless homestand. We're going to talk more about it after What's Trending, but 0-6 in games against the Yankees and the A's that don't even really have a home. It was an embarrassing homestand. Off day today before they head down to Texas to take on the Rangers. If you were just curious where the Royals currently sit, they are now 34-38, losing 6 in a row, obviously. They are 3 games back of the final wild card spot. But the teams in front of them, well, there's the Guardians, there's the Rangers, there's the Red Sox, there's the Twins, before you get to the Mariners, who occupy the final wild card spot. Weirdly enough, though, in the division, everybody in the AL Central is on a losing streak. The Tigers have lost 2 in a row. The Twins have lost 4 in a row. The Guardians have lost 3 in a row. The Royals, 6 in a row. The White Sox have lost 5 in a row. So the entire division is in a funk. None
2
bigger
games
than the
out
Royals.
from
So.
second place in the division. And, the schedule doesn't lighten up. You get the Padres on the horizon, the Dodgers.
Yep.
So,
yeah.
And Ohtani, he's pitching tonight.
Yes,
so.
I'm excited about that to see Ohtani pitching again.
J.J. Spawn wins the U.S. Open. I thought it was fantastic, man. Down to the stretch, this guy bogeys 5 of his first 6. Great story, 3 a.m. He's running out and getting some cough medicine because his kid's throwing up. It's Father's Day. The challenge of the U.S. Open, how tough it was. Then you had in the rain that came in. But just to sit there and sink that putt like he did when he didn't exactly have to sink that, but it would have set up a lot of pressure for the last one. But I enjoyed the U.S. Open. I thought it was great.
Yeah, we'll talk more about it later. I told you guys, I'm in the minority. I understand. I didn't really enjoy it. I don't enjoy watching the best in the world, like literally just have to go out there and try to survive just to break par. Just not my thing, and I know a lot of you guys enjoyed it. Didn't help that the names weren't all that big on the leaderboard. To me, it was the least entertaining major that we've had so far, by far, in 2025. If we're all like, yeah, but that final putt, that's the point. It took the final putt saved it from having 0 memorable moments of the entire weekend. So that's just my opinion on it. But elsewhere on What's Trending, the NBA Finals is tonight. Bink, we've got the Thunder and the Pacers. Drew, I know we'll talk more about that as well later on in the show, where the Thunder are 9.5-point favorites tonight. Updated series pricing for this one. The Thunder are minus 520 to win the NBA Finals. Feels like we might be in the middle of a 3-game run for the Thunder, including the one they already won. They just might win the final 3. So as in the one a couple nights ago, tonight, and then they just run right through it and wrap it up in 6.
I'm shocked Drew's not rocking some Indiana Pacers gear.
Yeah, what?
Like, I'm actually surprised.
He's waiting to see if they win tomorrow or tonight, and then maybe tomorrow he'll wear it, but he doesn't think they're winning tonight.
Oh, I didn't say that.
Yeah, he doesn't think they're winning tonight.
I think they've got a legit shot tonight because they're going to bounce back.
Not so sure you think that.
The way that it slipped through their hands, unfortunately, the other night, that was really unfortunate. I mean, they had it. They were up by 7 to start the quarter. Things were looking good, and then everything that could have gone wrong kind of did over the course of time.
Would this mean
SGA took
anything
over.
to you if they were to come back and win the series? Like, in the grand scheme of things, would this mean something to you at all?
Yeah.
Like, would you rather see the Pacers win 3, or would you rather see the Bengals just win 1?
Oh, I mean, come on.
Would I rather the Pacers win 3 NBA finals?
Or 50 of your college teams?
He's saying, would you rather see the Pacers win a national championship or Joe Burrow win a Super Bowl? That's what
I
he's
would
asking.
rather see the Bengals win a Super Bowl, I think. But in terms of like my fandom, I like the Pacers. It would mean the Colts have won in Indy. As much as that meant, it would mean double, if not more.
That meant something to you?
No, I'm saying for the city of Indianapolis. I think a Pacers finals win would mean double, triple what a Colts Super Bowl meant to that city because it's Indiana and it's basketball. It would mean a ridiculous amount.
I don't know, man. Manning was like a god in that state.
I know, but it's basketball, Bink. In 49 states, it's just basketball, but not Indiana,
gosh,
Bink.
sure.
Not Indiana.
Raphael Devers, by the way, I mentioned that we all know he was traded from Boston to Frisco. Didn't want to play first base. Got third base taken away from Bregman, so he was unhappy. But according to reports I've seen, he's okay with playing first base in Frisco. Obviously, I can play third because Matt Chapman's there, even though he's hurt. But he's willing to do what it takes to be a team guy, man. Easy changing right in front of us.
Hilarious. I hope he actually is truly going to do that now that he's not in Boston. I don't know what the heck the Red Sox are doing, I'll be honest. This isn't like the return. The Giants are taking a lot of the money, too. That's part of it, I believe. But I don't know, man. This isn't Mookie Betts trade bad, but it's a little weird. It's a little weird to me again. I don't get the decision by the Red Sox organization. Elsewhere in what's trending, we'll wrap it up with a couple things, including the KC Current picked up another win over the weekend. They have won 12 of their last 13 matches at CPKC Stadium, if you include some of the other competitions they do as well. And they're dominating, outscoring their opponents 34-6. Also,
Chief showed up and watched it.
Andy Reid was there. Yeah, look, the games are a ton of fun. They're back at home again, 2 in a row. This Friday night, I believe, as well. Sporting KC, unfortunately, they fell to FC Dallas 4-2.
I was there at the game this weekend.
Yeah, I saw on your Instagram. That was you're right next door. You might as well go to some matches.
Yeah, there are some very.
You and the wife go or what?
Me and my parents went.
That's right.
Actually.
Your parents were in town.
I'm sure this is the way in every city. There are some very foul-mouthed fans.
No.
Holy smokes. I'm just saying. And more than.
Did you text guest services during that?
No. I'm just saying more than NFL games, more than college football. I don't know what it was. The ref was particularly bad in moments, but it was pretty bad.
Really? You thought You thought there was more cursing at a Sporting KC game that you haven't been to Arrowhead yet? In fairness,
but I've been to a few NFL games where things have not gone well, but there was more derogatory comments I think made at. And I don't know if it's because it was hot and sticky and humid, and
it was Father's Day.
Everybody's on top of each
Saturday?
other essentially because there's a lot of people there and everything like that. If it was just irritating them, but there were some aggressive comments made from fans during the game.
Were you cussing?
No.
Why not?
I don't.
Be part of the group.
I wasn't going to join in.
No. And last but not least, you can't forget this. Joey Chestnut's officially going to be part of the Nathan's Hot Dog
I'm sorry.
Contest.
I ended the What's Trending music earlier.
No, you should. No, I'm just saying. Alex, we're ready to wrap it up and everything. This is actually one of the most important things. It's an icon
Joey Chestnut is
back.
back for your hot dog eating contest. I know you're excited.
Thinking of 4th of July, I think of Joey Jaws.
Have you ever gone up to Coney Island to watch it?
Never have. I've watched it, but I've never been to Coney Island.
We need to find a way to get Bink up
I've
to
had
Coney
George
Island.
Shea on the show before, the guy that does all the introductions.
He's actually great.
He does.
I'll give you that. The intros from that guy hyping up the competitors is pretty funny.
He didn't no script at all or anything. Just boom, he knows it from his head.
That is true. I'll give you that. All right, that is what's trending here on Cody and Gold. Don't forget, it is a Monday. I want to shout out our lunch partner over at 30 Hop. It is a great spot. any day of the week, but especially on Mondays because they have their $5.99 classic burgers throughout the day today. It's your new go-to, an American bar and kitchen with bold flavors, local taps, great patios, and an unbeatable happy hour. They're located out in Lee Summit and right down the street from us here in Merriam over at Merriam's Grand Station. That's the location I've gone to a couple of times as well. They're a proud lunch partner here on Cody and Gold. Stop in for some lunch. Stay for happy hour, 30hop.com. That's 30hop.com. Local beer, American Eats, big patio.
Had me at Local Beer.
There you go. That's right, Bink. Great spot, just down 100%. The street. Just down the street. All right, let's talk some Royals baseball. They finished the homestand, as we said, 0-6. Players-only meeting happens on Saturday. Yesterday was just another gut punch. Should have won that game. We've been saying that quite a bit. And they.
I wonder if there's cussing, Alex.
Don't. Drew's over there.
There was some booing.
Drew wasn't happy with the cursing at Kauffman Stadium either.
It wasn't even. It was. The ref was really bad, but they were
hard.
going
at
the
score, Drew.
Yeah,
I'm just saying they were going at him. They got to relax.
So for starters, we were already talking about kind of where the blame falls at this point in time. I'll say it again as we've said on Friday as well. Nothing changed over the weekend. In fact, it only got worse, and that is I just don't think even today on an off day. Today's the day where if you were going to make some sort of staff change, today's the day to do that. You cannot maintain status quo on a team that has the expectations that they have or had, however you want to phrase it, right? Based off of if you still believe that they
do it before they get on the charter to Texas.
And I'm talking,
like
I'm talking about the hitting staff.
I know.
Like the players, the players are ultimately the most responsible. We all agree on that. They've made the changes with the players. There's only so many of those you can make. And at some point, you say this team is what they are, but you should try to exercise every option possible to get this thing corrected. And other than going out and making a trade, and I will still, at this point, believe that there's not really big-time trades to be had yet. I understand Rafael Devers, as I said over and over. I think that's a very extreme circumstance, or extenuating circumstance, I should say, based off of his character and handling of things in Boston since the season started. And I was surprised to see that trade go down. So what is left? Well, it's something with your approach at the plate and how you're coaching and developing that, right? They're not making a managerial change, nor should they, by the way. But teams all the time, when you have a high bar and you're historically bad, franchise-wise, historically bad on offense, that's what they are right now. You can't just say, status quo. Alex Zumwalt, somebody has to be held responsible for a season that has gone the way it has offensively. They're fortunate because of pitching that this isn't a team that's 10 or 12 games under 500. They're not that level because the pitching is there. There is still, in my opinion, the question of, what they should be, buyers and sellers and all that. But Bink, I'm at the point now where, and I think most Royals fans are like, they want to see some sign of accountability at this point in time. You can hold a players-only meeting. Those just don't really do anything.
Relatively few things you can do. Obviously, the hitting coach, it's something that's the easiest thing you can do to make a difference. I think also the mentality, just the mental switch for these players, because you can see a certain aggressiveness when the Royals are in scoring position, just how they're pitched. Guys going inside, that they let them do it. They don't take out after them. I mean, again, I think a good mix-up for the Royals would be good. Hey, we're not going to take this crap anymore, and you go out and do it. That's why I was so disappointed that Noah Cameron didn't get another inning yesterday, just for the fact that this team is desperate to win. And here you got a guy that you pulled after 5 innings and 7 strikeouts, but they were desperate for that win. But yes, the hitting coach, it's about the only thing that you can do to spark anything, because you're not going to, switching the manager doesn't matter. Obviously, your players are your players. You've made all the decisions of, getting rid of Hunter Renfroes of the world. Those are minor decisions the team's made, but your core is your core. And it's going to be your core going forward. You just don't want to see this pitching staff being wasted. You don't want to see only 2 American League teams with better ERAs from starters, 3 American League teams with better ERAs from relievers. You don't want to waste that. And, that was going to be the question. How good is Chris Bubich going to be? Is he going to stay in the rotation? Well, he's been great, except for that one game against the Yankees. But it should have been different because the Jazz Chisholm thing was an extra out that they had. But, again, he calmed down and settled down and did his deal. And Noah Cameron, that's been a breath of fresh air, how good he's been that they weren't expecting. But you got to take advantage of these situations because you weren't hurt with injury. You've actually been helped going forward, and you don't want to waste that part of your team because that part of your team is elite.
Right, and I think they recognize, because of how good the pitching has been, that there's a sense of responsibility to make sure that you do everything possible to better the team, therefore better the offense. We had JJ Picollo on the show a couple weeks ago, and he acknowledged that they feel like an obligation to a certain extent because of how good the pitching has been. We're now starting to see the pitching come back down to earth slightly, not to a concerning level.
Statistically,
but offensively, they've been bad from opening day, and again, historically bad. It's as bad as it's been as a franchise. Hopefully tomorrow, by the way, we usually will have JJ Picollo on a Tuesday. Hopefully we'll have him join us tomorrow to talk more about where they're at. But someone was asking, this organization, do they make in-season changes? Not with the exact it would be with the exact regime. I mean, Terry Bradshaw was the hitting coach at one point in time in May of 2022. Yeah, May of 2022, they made that change, and so that was in season.
And you saw when Brett did it with a good baseball team.
So they have done it. I'm with you that I don't know if they're willing to make the move today. I think they should. I think you have to send a message, and I'm not like telling you that you get rid of your hitting coach and suddenly everything is fixed immediately. But again, it's the expectation, it's the accountability aspect of it, different voice. And I know there's like 3 voices involved. Everybody knows Alex Zumwalt's name, but there's other hitting coaches on the staff. You got to shake something up, whether it's moving roles around. Something has to give. You cannot just stay status quo. And the players, we all know they're being held accountable. Fans hold them accountable. The organization is demoted guys. All that's true. But at some point, when does it get to a coaching level? And that's, to me, what I think is necessary at this point in time.
Because something's not clicking with runners in scoring position. They're still hitting. I mean, they're still getting hits and getting on base and doing that kind of thing. But just when the runners are in scoring position, it's got to be a mentality switch from these players. Because, again, other teams are taking advantage of the Royals. They're throwing inside at them. They're hitting them. They're doing different things. And the Royals aren't doing anything about it. And the minute that you let teams just keep walking over you in certain situations, they're going to keep doing it. They're going to keep doing it in those dire situations, runners in scoring position, they got to score, and they start to fret about it. Just like last night when the Royals, had that drop ball and they get on base. Like that usually works. That's like getting a walk. I mean, it usually works out for a team when something like that happens and you essentially get a 4th out. Like that usually helps that team. That part needs to switch, all right, which take advantage of the situation like we've seen other Royals teams do it in the past. But I think there's becomes a mentality difference with this team with runners in scoring position and just how the other teams play them.
Yeah, someone says from 913-586-7965, by the way, the Jay Southland Tow Service text line. Someone says, hey, the coaches don't have them swinging up balls out of the zone, watching meatballs for strikes. No, players ultimately are the most accountable. We'll get back into this in the 1 o'clock hour, but we were divvying up the blame game, if you will, that everybody loves to play. And all 3 of us had the biggest chunk of the blame for this offense on the players. Because, that's exactly how this game is played and how it works. But you have to also have, I think, a decent chunk on the hitting staff and the hitting coaches on this team. I will also argue, though, while, yes, there's sometimes, the player in terms of executing, but swinging out of the zone and watching certain pitches, some of that is a coaching philosophy one way or the other, right? And then maybe now we're so far into this thing being a mess offensively.
It's so more advanced now where you can watch the video and everything during the game.
But I also think we're so far into the season of offensive failure now where there's guys that are pressing and there's frustration, and that's why the players-only meeting is happening.
That's why I thought it was so crucial to win that game yesterday. Find a way to win that game.
I agree. Well, you would have had some different vibes at least on an off day heading to Texas. Not that this homestand was disastrous already.
I'm curious when the charter leaves. Because they're going to leave this afternoon at some point. Because you're not going to bring your hitting coach with you on the charter flight to Texas. Mm-hmm. You're going to make the move before you do that. That's why expecting if something does happen, it happens soon. Because like I said, Devers, he was getting ready to board the charter flight to Seattle. And he took an Uber back to get his car because he'd been traded. So they wait, they waited basically until the last minute, but they still did it before he got on a charter. But he was on his way to get on the charter.
Yeah, he helped him just win a series against the Yankees.
So I doubt if everybody goes and it's status quo and everybody gets on the charter, that's the way it's going to be. It's who doesn't get on the charter. That's something to watch for because that's something really to keep a look at right now. And I don't know when they're flying out. Like typically, probably in the afternoon sometime. They'll leave sometime this afternoon and get
to Dallas.
Get down to Dallas. So I don't know. But if it's status quo and they're in Dallas, you're not going to see a change, in my opinion. Yeah, you're not going to have them there and then have them come back.
Yeah, I mean, I think this notion of the same offenses last year and things like that, that's kind of the point, though. Last year, they were an average offense. The year before, they were bad. This year, they're historically bad offensively.
You had a guy that was second MVP, and you thought that was going to carry you.
Yeah, and regression happens with guys. It's all happening at once. But also, that's from who have you seen that looks like in the last calendar year that has developed in a great way? Maikel Garcia and then Kyle Isbell. And as I told you, this is no no shot at Kyle Isbell, but congratulations, you developed a number 9 hitter and as your center fielder. Like, where's the adjustment in season with some of these guys that have been struggling? There's only one player I've seen in season make the adjustment. And that was Vinny Pasquantino. He's the only guy that had a bad April that has turned his season around, is playing
had a
well.
great season. I thought, seriously, when they were down 7-2 in St. Louis, came back and won that game. Like, those are usually the games they just lose. And I thought, okay, mentality switching. Things are changing. They showed the ability to come back in a game. When they, beyond 4 runs, what are we going to do? But they did. And they were able to win. I thought that would be the switch mentality for this team. It just wasn't.
We'll talk a little bit about the NBA here in about 10 minutes or so. NBA Finals tonight. Not just Paul Pierce's comments about the NBA in Kansas City, but let's talk Game 5. Pacers, Thunder, how it plays out. Plus, the random question of the day is 20 minutes away. We had another national pundit, though, talking about the Chiefs heading into the season, Bink. Sam Munson was on a podcast.
He's always great.
Yeah, no, great guy. And generally speaking, very, very knowledgeable.
Oh, yeah.
I disagree with this particular take of his. Here's what he had to say about the new top quarterback in the NFL.
I believe the best quarterback right now is Josh Allen. I think he's become the guy. For years, it was Patrick Mahomes. Obviously, Brady, that generation, once they went, Mahomes took over. The start of Mahomes' career was absolutely mind-blowing. The last couple of years, though, he's not been that guy, and really it's been Josh Allen. I think you can make a case for a couple of other people, but Allen's combination of freak show wow plays, like everything he can do with his arm, the cheat code that is his short yardage ability, like his athleticism, the fact that he basically does not take sacks. I mean, one of the lowest sack rates, pressure to sack rates you're going to find anywhere. Like utterly absurd analytics numbers behind him as well. I think Allen's the guy right now.
Josh Allen's number 2 in the league for me. I think he's amazing. He won MVP. He's the second best quarterback to me pretty clearly in the NFL at this point in time. But it's amazing how quickly the narrative has shifted. And by the way, I kind of love this for Mahomes. I really do. I think he's the type of player that is fueled by stuff like this happening. I really believe that. After the way the Super Bowl went and people now questioning him, questioning the team, I think that kind of stuff actually, if you're a Chiefs fan, you should love the more and more this stuff comes out, because I do buy into that, fueling his offseason and fueling him heading in to the start of the season and a chance the first couple weeks of the year to remind people who they are. What did you make of that? You can say Josh Allen's great, but we don't have to act like he's the best quarterback in football.
It's kind of the flavor of the week kind of mentality that the national man. I like Sam. I think he does a great job, but I just think people forget and need to be reminded. Mahomes has never not gone to the Super Bowl or the AFC title game. Like that's never been done in football. And I think people forget how tough it is to go to 7 straight AFC title games. So Josh Allen, you can say what you want. Yeah, he had a great year, and I'll give Josh Allen credit because he was winning without Stephon Diggs, and he won with other weapons on that team. They were scoring the most in the league by doing things like that by Josh Allen. But I keep hearing this, and then I look at reality. And Mahomes is 4-0 versus Josh Allen in the playoffs. Now, if Mahomes is 0-4 against Josh Allen in the playoffs, you have something to talk about. The Chiefs' offense hasn't always been the greatest, but they found a way to beat the Buffalo Bills, and they found a way to beat Josh Allen. Regular season, yeah, he's 3-1 against Mahomes. Good for Josh Allen. If he's 0-4 in the playoffs against Mahomes, again, from Missouri, show me you can beat him. They haven't. But I think Mahomes gets slighted. I think if Josh Allen went to 7 straight AFC title games and racked up 3 Super Bowl MVPs, everybody be talking about the greatness of Josh Allen, not like they're doing it now. Or Lamar Jackson, had Lamar Jackson gone, or Joe Burrow, or any of them gone to 7 straight AFC title games.
Bink.
You'd be putting roses at their damn feet. Mahomes does it every year, and people don't talk about it. I saw the Chiefs get a ton of crap for being in 3 Super Bowls. People are tired of them. I haven't heard one thing about the Panthers being in 3 straight Stanley Cups. They're the Chiefs on ice. Like, I have not heard one thing, and granted, more people watch the NFL than the NHL, but I haven't heard one thing about being tired of watching the Florida Panthers, even though that's the Chiefs. 3 straight Stanley Cups, 3 straight Super Bowls for the Chiefs.
I understand that, but I think in the same breath, you can say that just like for Allen, the same goes for Mahomes, in that winning doesn't tell the entire story, because if that was the case, then Brock Purdy's the second best quarterback in football. If it's just, I know he hasn't won anything,
but here's the one thing, Drew,
going to all of those.
Can you name one of the quarterbacks gone to 7 straight AFC title games? You can't.
I
can't
know,
even mention Brady.
But I'm telling you, Brock Purdy went to, what was it, 3 straight or 4 straight? I mean, Brock Purdy, because to me, I don't think
but
that
Mahomes has rings.
I know that, but I don't think Brock Purdy belongs in the top 10 conversation in terms of quarterbacks.
I agree.
So you can't the reason Josh Allen is not the best quarterback in the NFL is not because the reason why he's not number 2 or not number 1 is not because he hasn't won anything. You know, the reason why he's considered the best is not because he's won anything.
You take the number 1 and 2 receivers away from other teams and quarterbacks, they don't go to the Super Bowl.
I think the
Mahomes lost his 1 and 2. Yeah, Hollywood came back at 9 catches on the year. He lost his 1 and 2 for basically the season and still made it to the Super Bowl.
I agree with you, but I think because I think for your argument, if you took away the offensive line that Josh Allen has had and the defenses, he doesn't look nearly as good without the offensive line that he has.
That 13-second game came with the number 1 scoring defense in the NFL, where Mahomes went down in 13 seconds and tied it up. That was against the number 1 scoring defense in the NFL. Yeah, Chiefs have had some good defense with Mahomes lately, but never like that. That was elite. But I'm just saying, we keep hearing this with Allen and stuff, but we hear about these guys. He's 0-4 against Mahomes in the playoffs, but that doesn't seem to matter to anybody, Drew.
I know. Well, but that's because winning doesn't mean everything.
Evidently, it should, but winning doesn't seem to matter to anybody in the national media. It doesn't matter at all.
Generally, I don't subscribe to the QB win-loss stuff because it can be misleading, to Drew's point. I think the difference is we are comparing. This was our argument about other quarterbacks before as well. When you're having like a Brady and Mahomes debate, you are talking about very specific things because that it's a debate about being the best, not very good. Yeah. So Josh Allen, nobody's disputing. Josh Allen is awesome, and again, I think he's the second best quarterback in the league. So when we're comparing the two, when we're having a best conversation, to me, that's when the wins would matter more. Not in a historical conversation like somebody that we think is the 10th best quarterback compared to the 20th. That's a little bit different. We're talking about being the best in the league, and the one thing that can swing it when we're doing this, I do think, is the rings and the head-to-head. If we were just having a conversation in general, like if Trevor Lawrence would have found a way to win 12 games last year, but he overall hasn't won anything, and he threw 7 interceptions or something crazy. Like it's a different conversation. We're talking about Brady and Mahomes. The head-to-head stuff matters, and the wins matter. We're talking about Mahomes and Allen. I think the head-to-head stuff and the wins do matter because it's such a tight gap that exists. It's not a large one.
I can make an argument that Joe Burrow had a better season than Josh Allen last year.
Yeah, and Brock Purdy went to
Lamar Jackson had a better season
than
than
he did. 2 NFC title games.
Patrick Mahomes
Not
had
4, by the way.
I don't even know the numbers for Josh Allen. If you were box score watching, Josh Allen didn't have as good of a season as Jared Goff, as Joe Burrow, as Lamar Jackson. Like the fact that Josh Allen won the whatever you want to call it, MVP fatigue, whatever it is, the voting fatigue, voter fatigue, is the reason why Lamar Jackson did not win MVP this past season. Because you look at just the comps directly, whether it's completion percentage,
Lamar was better in every category.
Lamar was better in every single category.
Josh found a way to score almost 31 points a game with an offense. You're going, who? Who's on that team? You know what I'm saying? Like he found a way to still score a ton of points.
I think
talent.
It is fair to also say they played the Patriots, the Jets, and the Dolphins, who all did not make the playoffs.
And the Chiefs had 3 teams. Actually, I think Mahomes, you can make an argument this is the toughest year for the Chiefs to win the division.
So I think
when you have 3 teams make the playoffs.
I think we disagree. It sounds like Drew's trying to make the case that Josh Allen shouldn't be the one we're comparing him to anyway. I think he wants Lamar or Joe Burrow to be compared to him, not Josh Allen. It's kind of what I'm getting from that.
I think Lamar fits more into the conversation just based on what we've seen him do consecutively over time. I don't know if it's just... It seems like a lot of people regarding Josh Allen, they don't have the conversation with Lamar Jackson, where if we're having just those 3 in the conversation, people think that Josh Allen does more with less than anybody else does in the NFL. And I kind of disagree with that just from the standpoint of if you're going to make that case, then I think you have to include Lamar Jackson in the exact same conversation where he has more MVPs. He is playing in a tougher division, and he has never had a wide receiver like Stephon Diggs.
Yeah, but he had Derrick Henry in the backfield.
I know, but James Cook is a top 5 running back. I mean, we're talking about
You had Derrick Henry in the backfield.
I understand that, but I think you're comparing. We're talking about throwing the football.
I think Zay Flowers and Bateman are decent players.
We can get back to we're late for a break, guys.
We are
very
late. Sorry about that.
Up next,
Lamar should be in there though.
Let's get to the random question of the day. Let's talk more about the NBA Finals, Game 5 tonight, and Paul Pierce saying the NBA should be in KC.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, where we've successfully treated thousands of men for low testosterone and helped them feel like their old selves again. Please take a moment and listen to how we help this patient.
Hi, my name is John, and I've been on ED and testosterone treatment at Heartland Men's Health for the past 15 months. I could tell, I was starting to go downhill, and my wife kept telling me, well, you need to go to a clinic that'll specialize in that. And that's what eventually led me into the men's clinic here. Treatment, in my opinion, is a miracle. I was able to perform to an elevated position that, quite honestly, I never thought I'd see again. For my fellow men out there, if you're feeling that you're not up to par, I encourage you, contact Heartland Men's Health, and you will see a dramatic difference.
Thank you. It's true. Your initial appointment includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start on testosterone the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com.
One of my favorite things to do at Hy-Vee is saving money on gas. And this weekend, I'm in luck. This Saturday, June 21st and Sunday, June 22nd, earn a 30-cent per gallon fuel discount with every $60 grocery purchase at Hy-Vee. And Hy-Vee isn't just saving us money at the pump. They're lowering prices in every department. And on top of that, you can save on fuel as well. So this weekend, stock up for summer and stack up those fuel savings this weekend only at Hy-Vee.
Nothing tastes better than sweet summer corn or a juicy ripe watermelon. Indulge yourself in the fresh taste of summer this Thursday through Sunday at Hy-Vee. We're rolling back prices on your favorite produce like sweet corn, 4 for $1, avocados just 69 cents, seedless grapes 99 cents a pound, candy cantaloupe $1.99, and russet potato 5-pound bags just $1.48. Stock up on all the juicy deals during the mega produce sale this Thursday through Sunday only at Hy-Vee.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, it's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch every day from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
It all comes down to this. Get to the #1 sports bar, Twin Peaks, and catch every second of the Pro Basketball Finals. What team will take the championship trophy? Head on over and find out with us. Twin Peaks, eats, drinks, scenic views.
Introducing the new Dell AI PC powered by the Intel Core Ultra processor. It helps do your busy work for you, so you can fast forward through editing images, designing presentations, generating code, debugging code, summarizing meeting notes, finding files, managing a schedule, and responding to Jim's long emails. Leaving all the time in the world for the things you actually want to do. No offense, Jim. Get a new Dell AI PC at dell.com/AI-PC. How those ahead stay ahead.
At LendSeek, we know running a business takes heart, hustle, and sometimes a little help. That's why we stand with you with our exclusive AI lending platform, connecting you to over 100 funders. If you've been in business for at least 2 years with a minimum annual revenue of $500,000, you can get up to $1 million in funding in as fast as 24 hours. No collateral, no prepayment penalties, no red tape. Apply today with no cost or obligation at lendseek.com. That's LENDSEEK.com.
Get a $15 prepaid MasterCard after rebate when you buy 5 quarts of Mobil 1 full synthetic motor oil at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Some people just know they can save hundreds on home and auto insurance by checking Allstate first. Like to check your house sitter has the new code first before leaving for vacation.
System lockout.
But that's the code.
Contacting authority.
I'm out of here.
Oh, seriously, the car too?
Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a home and auto bundle that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Not available.
Available in every state. Potential savings vary. Allstate Vehicle and Property Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Find what you love and love what you find at Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you.
With the lowest prices for over 30 years, find what you love only at Total Wine and More. Drink responsibly, B21.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. Jane has 150,000 miles on her truck, and she's proud of that. Jane's secret? AutoZone, where friendly AutoZoners help her find the right parts. Jane's brother Josh only cares that his car starts and goes, but when it doesn't, he also goes to AutoZone, where friendly AutoZoners help with free services. No hassles, just help. Everything you need, nothing you don't. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Restrictions apply.
The technicians you can trust with your house keys. Anthony Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electric.
Stay comfortable year-round with expert HVAC installation done right the first time. Enjoy a new HVAC system starting at $150 a month. Schedule your consultation today at anthonyphce.com.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Back here on Cody and Gold, Alex Gold, Drew Nixon producing the show. Jay Binkley is in for Cody the next, 6-7 shows or so. Cody's playing Dance Dad. I shouldn't say playing. He is Dance Dad. He's down in Dallas. A little dance competition for the family.
I didn't know Cody danced.
I think he would if you gave him an opportunity.
So he sings and dances.
Yes.
He
As
might
the text
win.
line has pointed out over and
How's he
over,
look at
since
this
his
contest?
new song, the Royals are winless.
Did he do a dance?
No. Anything at this point would work. But the song did not. 0-7. I know he'll say the song was about Jack Caglione, but the team is 0-6 since the Caglione song. Just saying. And I thought it was a good song, too.
It did sound great.
We'll get to the random question of the day here in about 10 minutes or so. We'll also talk more Royals baseball at 1 o'clock. Bink, appreciate you filling in, man. You told us about your Father's Day weekend and everything as well. You were out at a local brewery, which was very typical Bink weekend, it sounded like, for the most part.
It was a Cody Gold garage sale weekend.
Yeah, it was from last year's garage sale. Listener, you guys got that
Zach
organized.
and John, great guys, man. Fun time. Talking a lot of sports.
How long were you there?
During the whole Royals game. I mean, it was a good couple hours.
You told us something that, if on video, they might be able to see. They might be able to see on video about the Mountain Dew bottle.
Not quite.
Oh, it's got a new label? This one doesn't.
No, not the label. But you said somebody was upset with you while you were out and about.
There was a couple of guys there that were having some spitting, and I guess some people were insulted by it.
So much so that
Were
you got asked
spitting
to,
everywhere?
No, it wasn't me.
You got asked to stop spitting by a customer somewhere.
I guess someone said something about it. I was like, it's legal.
So
have you ever been told to stop?
Dogs go in breweries, so I don't.
Have you ever been told to
dogs
stop?
can waz or whatever in those things.
Have you ever been told to stop spitting before?
Never been told that.
Never.
This is the first. Probably first for him too. So
did you stop?
Yeah.
Oh, you did. Oh, you did though.
We switched cups.
So you didn't stop. You just switched cups. Or they just gave you a
I
different
stopped
cup.
in that cup and went to a different one.
Okay.
It was but it was loud too because we were brought them by the facility.
This morning there was almost, real quick, and then we'll move on. There was almost a catastrophe before the show. Almost to the point where Bink wasn't going to be able to fill in. We got done with our show meeting.
Yep.
Got done with the show meeting.
But I was catching Drew before he went to quick trip.
In complete panic.
Just shuffling the bag around. You're
throwing stuff all over the place, trying to figure out where everything's at. Where's the chew? He's like, Drew, have you left for Quick Trip yet? And then you go, hold on.
I knew he was going to go get
you
his
couldn't
44
find
ounces.
your, what is it, winter green, long cut, fresh, whatever, something. I don't know what it's called.
I thought Drew was going to go pick me up can, like you had to do one day.
Drew offered again.
He did, but I found it.
I did offer this time.
But there was no need for it. Would that have been a first for you? Would that have been a first for you, Drew?
Getting chew at a gas station? Yes, that would have been a first.
Drew buys it all the time.
I was here his first time slamming a beer. I was the first time he shot a firework. This would have been another first.
What would you do without Bink, man? He's pushing the limits.
Young Drew.
Pushing the limits. Someone says, Chew is so cool, Bink.
It's for the mighty listeners.
All right. NBA Finals tonight, Game 5. FanDuel has the Thunder as 9.5-point favorites. We know this series overall has been more competitive than a lot of people would have thought, but it has the feeling of, all right, is now where the Thunder just kind of show more like what everybody thought the series would be. They took one there in Indianapolis, of course, which they needed. Otherwise, they would have been down 3-1, and we'd have a completely different conversation. It feels like
swing game.
It feels like that was the one that we're going to look back to many years from now and say, how close were the Pacers to winning an NBA title? And now the Thunder, to me, are going to rattle off a couple wins. Do you kind of agree with that?
I do, because once you steal that one, it's kind of like, okay, that was the hurdle. That was an emotional moment there for Oklahoma City.
I mean, if you even go back to watching how the game played, which is, I think, part of what makes this series so fascinating for people who only pay attention to like the stars and everything like that, you're missing out on a fantastic series, I think, in terms of strategy, role players. Alex Caruso had 20 points. And if you were to say, if Alex Caruso has 20 points, the Thunder should be killing it.
Or the last minute with the Pacers. It's a different team.
It's been Alex Caruso. It's been T.J. McConnell, who was outstanding, even though they lost the game. And in the series in general, he's been great. Ben Matherin's been really good in certain spots. Chet Holmgren had a great game. Like, amidst Shea doing what he does, role players figuring out a way how to basically make the difference, the ultimate difference in the game is kind of what this series has been all about. You can go game after game and really pinpoint 4 or 5 different players for each team, and that it felt like the Pacers losing that one was a bit of a gut punch. I'm interested to see how they come out tonight, because if you're the Thunder, obviously you need to come out hot and you're going to come out motivated. Let's go up 3-2. If you're the Pacers, I wonder what the mentality is going to be, how they're going to start after the way that they lost in Game 4, because obviously, as you mentioned, that might be their best chance, Gold. Where we look back and it's like, man, if they could have won that game, they go up 3-1. Even if they drop Game 5, they're still going back home with a chance to clinch it and end it. It is definitely a big difference, especially the way that the Pacers play. They play a lot better traditionally at home. The fans are loud, of course. They tend to play better at home.
I think their style, they're just faster, more confident at home, understandably so. We saw that in their games there in Indianapolis. I just don't know if even though they stole Game 1, as you were kind of saying, I mean, the way the games looked in Indianapolis were so different. And I don't know.
Pace of play was under control and everything.
And I don't know if they can do that tonight. It's
going to be a grind.
Against the Thunder.
I'm just still surprised where you said that if they win a title, it means more than when the Colts won with Manning. That's I know that Indiana's the basketball state and all that, but that really floored me.
I think if you asked 10 people, I bet you at least 7 or 8 out of 10 would say the Pacers title.
Let's ask 10 people.
Well, we're not in Indianapolis now, so we can't do that, unfortunately.
Well, you have family there.
The craziest part about this
family,
series...
you go ask them.
They're not all Pacers fans, are they?
They could ask this question.
We're all Pacers fans.
Okay.
But have your family ask the question.
I can do that.
Have them call 10 people.
The thing that I think that's fascinating about this series, really interesting, the Pacers, when they score 110 points or more, they're undefeated. They have not lost a game. If they haven't, they've lost every game. So if they score 110, that's like the mark, and that is the line. I find that one of the more interesting little facts for them, just the entire postseason. It's not just the series.
Drew, one thing I like about you, and the only thing, is the fact that how many sports you like. You like watching everything. I can talk NASCAR. We had Kyle Larson on right before the Kansas Speedway race. Things like this, Drew, and college football and everything else, because you're a fan of everything. But I haven't heard you talk much about the NHL.
I think the hockey play. I think this series is. Man, it's hard to say that. I don't like saying that I think it's as good as the NBA series for different reasons. Obviously, the NHL series being as good as it's been in terms of overtime games and thrilling comebacks and all that stuff. It's been an all-timer.
Could be over tomorrow night.
They're through 5 games or 4?
It's 3-2 Panthers, and it's their 3rd straight Stanley Cup. They've won. If they win this one, it'd be 2 in a row.
And cash out, bro. Ironically enough, is in worse position for he's in. I mean, he's just in bad shape, I guess, in general.
He's going to get nothing.
He
is the
needs
way
the
it's
Thunder
trending.
and then the Oilers to win. And the Oilers being down, I don't know what the odds are now for the Oilers to win it. But
Would you cash that?
Yeah, we talked about it. 123,000, 107,000 would have cashed it. It became very clear, though, he was never going to cash out, and he enjoys the ascension from it. And he's going to end up losing his shot at 270,000 or 123,000. Tomorrow night is Game 6. Oilers, Panthers. Panthers are favorites in that game. To win the Stanley Cup, the Panthers are minus 400. So the Oilers are 3-1. That's what he's
the furthest championship.
That is the only thing.
Teams, the furthest in distance.
It's in Florida. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. See, I mean,
they could wrap it up.
If you're the Panthers, I think you almost have to. Edmonton for Game 7 would just be that would be.
No, it wouldn't be that. If the Oilers win, it would go to 3-3.
No, he's
Game 7. Okay,
if you're the Panthers, you should end it tomorrow night.
Yeah, they have.
Otherwise,
to. Yeah.
I think Edmonton might actually pull it. Can you imagine if he actually? I don't know. I don't want to consider it luck, but I think there actually is some. There's obviously luck involved in this. How lucky is he if the Thunder win and the Oilers come back and win, backs up against the wall?
Oh,
and he wins and he bags $270,000 in the process. That man's going to be relentless.
Did you know the Oilers stop here to fuel their plane?
I did not.
They stopped in Kansas City.
Oh yeah,
because it's the biggest distance between any teams that have been in a championship. The distance between the Panthers and the Oilers, but the Oilers plane stops here to fuel up.
We know you've. Every time I think about the hockey, I watch the hockey Bink. I think about you because you get more
excited.
excited.
A lot of stupid stuff.
You don't like watching the basketball. Like I don't. Have you even watched a game of the NBA Finals?
Yeah,
okay.
I just like watching sports, man. I love seeing Indiana.
I know that you're all about the hockey
game and all that, but yeah, I try to watch them all. I mean, I watch baseball every freaking night.
No baseball tonight. It's an off day.
Well, I like MLB big inning where I can watch 4 one
Bink's
time.
watching Rockies White Sox.
Oh gosh,
I'm looking forward to that.
Are they playing each other right now?
Yeah, no, it'll be 4th of July series.
Yeah, we've looked ahead to this.
Yikes!
I'm looking forward to that series. And you know what? The White Sox are a much better team than the Rockies. They're not quite the
Random question.
All right, random question today for you, Bing, for you, Drew, and of course the text line 913-586-7965. I'll take it over today. Tomorrow we'll have you do a random question maybe, and then we'll work through it. You guys may saw the news. Tim Hortons, thinking of Canada. Tim Hortons is coming to Kansas City.
Yeah,
and I think Blue Springs, right? And I feel like at this point, other than
you're a hockey town when that happens.
Yeah, I feel like other than In-N-Out, we have about every chain I would personally want in the area. So I'm asking you the question: what's the one national or regional chain we now don't have that you want? We got Whataburger.
Yep.
We got Tim Hortons just showed up. We got Dunkin' Donuts.
Yep.
We've got any of these newer ones that have come in the area over the last decade or so.
Yep.
Is there one left? Text
Yes.
liner for you guys.
Yes, there is. Yes, I'd like to have an In-N-Out burger too, but that's not the answer. The answer is something that used to be here, but is not. And you have to go other places for it. And I believe in your hometown of Indianapolis, they have these White Castles. Like
we used to have White Castles.
We did. We don't anymore. What I'm saying is if we had one come back, it would be awesome. He said if they, could have come back or whatever. But yes, come back because now the grocery store is the only place to get them. But when I went to Cincinnati, the time for the Royals in the 15 All-Star game was about White Castles. I know some people hate them. Oh, they're great.
I'm in St. Louis. We almost stopped.
Columbia, they've got them too.
Almost stopped on the way back from St. Louis a couple weeks ago, but we did not when Cody and I were driving.
I would
back.
love to see a White Castle back in Kansas City. So
I think that's popular. In-N-Out is like the only last one, and I know some people might. Yeah, people are already texting in Bojangles. What about you, Drew?
In-N-Out's really only a Cali thing, isn't it? I mean, that's basically
it's in Dallas.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Yeah.
I think Bojangles, it doesn't come to mind exactly because I haven't thought of anything. Man, I really wish that was here because for the most part, I think everything is here. But I think Bojangles is a good pull. I would say Circle K or Speedway gas stations.
Oh, so you just want a gas? We already have. We got Buc-ee's coming already.
Yeah,
I don't need a
Buc-ee's
Circle
coming.
K when I got Buc-ee's and
The
Quick Trip
reason
and
why
True,
I think
you know?
Circle K is good is they're, for me in particular, for somebody who gets as much soda as they do.
Drew came in with a 44-ounce Code Red again today.
This at a Circle K, at least in Indy, which I would assume it's everywhere, for the most part. I know state taxes are different, but in Indy, that instead of costing like $1.80, it's like $1. Saves me 80 cents every time.
So it's In-N-Out for you.
That would be my
I'm
answer
go
at
with
this
Circle
point.
K gas station.
I like that too. So
Yeah, text line. Someone says Papa Do or Papa Dough. That they have that in Houston. They had a couple of those.
What is that? pizza place?
No, they have a couple. It's weird. There's Papacitos as well. Like they have like a Mexican restaurant. They have a seafood one. They have a steakhouse one. Like so, it's there's Papacitos. Yeah.
What about Hunt's Brothers Pizza, Drew?
I haven't had Hunt Brothers Pizza before.
I haven't either, but it's advertised everywhere. But I don't know where one is.
I think you'll appreciate this, Bink. There's somebody who took their wife to Colombia for a day to go to a White Castle.
Wow.
From the 913.
Someone says Taco Cabana. Have you ever had Taco Cabana? So those also, only place I've ever had that was in Houston. Not bad. Yeah, Taco Cabana is not bad. I actually like a Del Taco. You ever had Del Taco? It's usually out west. It's more of it's a fast food. It's like, it's same, type of pricing and stuff as a Taco Bell or something like that. I think it's way better.
St. Joe had a taco deal that we don't have in Kansas City, and they have one in St. Joe.
What?
It's that whole, potato in a pound or something like that, where you get a pound of the tater tots or something. I forgot what it was.
Taco John's? We have Taco John's.
No, but it was something we didn't have.
Okay, yeah, Taco John's. Drew, you've had Taco John's.
I not.
Really?
I think that was something that we talked about on the show. I've not had
Frito-Lays
Taco
or whatever.
Drew, there is a Hunt Brothers right by you.
Potato Lays, sorry.
Yeah, that's it. Fairfax Traffic Way, KCK is at a gas. Hunt Brothers is a gas station, so it's supposed to be great gas station pizza, but they have one at KCK, Drew.
Yeah, no, you're definitely talking about Taco John's. Thing. We have those.
Okay.
So. Del Taco. I actually like someone else. Here's a couple other names we haven't mentioned. Let's see. Someone says Brahms. Yeah, that's come up a lot. Like Emporia, I think, is the
Brahms
closest
are
one.
awesome.
Isn't Emporia the closest one?
And Pittsburgh's got them too.
Okay, Emporia, Pittsburgh. Someone else says Steak and Shake. Well, we've had those. They just closed some of the locations, so we've had those. Runza. So that's obviously a huge thing in Nebraska.
We used to have one right down the road.
Yeah, I've had it in Nebraska. Right over here. I don't know. I don't know. Like, I've had it. People love it up in Nebraska. I don't know. Maybe if we,
literally, there's one like 5. I don't know if it's still there. Is it still there?
Oh, I don't know.
There was a Runza like 5 minutes from here.
A lot of Bojangles on the text line.
Bojangles is really good. I like Bojangles. I'm not missing out, though, on it, but I think Bojangles is great.
Someone says Uncle D's, Bink. Uncle D's.
Yeah, it was a legend.
Yeah. Now I'm convinced people have just tuned in, and I'll read it, and they're just naming restaurants because people are naming places we already have. The question was just, now Tim Hortons is coming to Kansas City, so what, like, national chain or international chain do you wish we had in Kansas City?
Somebody said Cookout. I think Cookout, I've had it one time.
I don't even know what that is.
I don't even know what it is.
What is
either.
Cookout?
It's like a burger joint, essentially. It's another. I don't want
to. Where
to
are they based out of?
Compare it. I couldn't tell you.
It says fresh shakes, burgers, barbecue. Is it like a steak and shake type place?
Yeah, it's kind of like that. I think it's. I don't want to call it overrated because I've only had it one time enough to say that it's overrated. But it's fine. I don't think it's worth what the hype is about.
White Castle's the easy answer. At least Hy-Vee has them. I can get them frozen.
Oh, well, frozen, yeah. Yeah, the Cookout is in Alabama, Georgia, Kentucky, North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee, Mississippi.
I've had it in Tennessee. That's where I had it.
Menu, hamburgers, cheeseburgers, hot dogs, chicken sandwiches, nuggets, and quesadillas. They just threw in the quesadillas for the hell of it, I guess.
So, Bink, you like it in bubble guts. That's why you like White Castle.
I've never had it with that.
You've never, hold on a second. You've never had stomach issues.
Nope.
You've never had gas.
Nope. Not with White Castle.
There's no
Matter
way.
of fact, there's a lot of people
lying.
that say they hate Skyline Chili, and I actually like that.
I've never had Skyline.
Really?
I've never had
I actually
Skyline
did
chili.
like Skyline Chili.
That's crazy that you've never.
I'm more of a Burrow guy than you if you've never had Skyline Chili, Drew.
I don't know if he's had that before.
I'm sure he has.
Okay, somebody says Checkers or Rallies. Is there not a? I might be thinking of another place that I've lived. Is there not like a Rallies here?
No.
Or like a Checkers?
No.
Oh,
I'll say this. I'll say
that might
this,
be my answer, actually.
And this is why this is a damn shame. Do you know where White Castle was founded? Founded.
Here, right? In Kansas?
Nope. Kansas, yes. Wichita. Okay. And the fact there's not one here.
Yeah, Pizza Hut as well.
When it was founded in, the state that we're in. But I can't just go get one. That's a shame.
Wichita is a test market for some reason.
People don't like it, Bink. It doesn't matter whether it was
What
here
else
or
was
not.
Wichita? Was it Sonic?
Pizza Hut, I thought.
Was it Pizza Hut?
I thought it was Pizza Hut. Or am I off on that?
Or
I thought Wichita was
Tulsa
Pizza Hut.
Sonic?
Wichita is a test market for a lot of these places. I don't know why. A lot of people mentioning Spangles. I had that when I lived in Wichita. It is all over Kansas. They just don't have them up here, I don't think. But yeah.
Dick's Last Resort. That we
have
have
you ever went there?
those
That seems like such a Drew place. I really think it is.
I've never been there. My brother and sister have been. I've never been. There's one in downtown Indianapolis, actually.
Yeah,
I've never been.
Have you ever been to St. Elmo's in Indianapolis?
Of course he has, I'm sure. At least talked
had
about
the
it.
shrimp cocktail.
Oh, we've talked about it. I have never been there.
Oh, wow, Drew. Can you tell me one other fact about Indianapolis, your home city, that people wouldn't realize? There's something that stands out about Indianapolis that stands out above other cities in this country.
To you?
No, just anybody. It's the largest city in the Union to what?
I don't know.
To not have a navigable body of water. They have rivers and stuff there, but not navigable body of water.
Hold on.
To navigate on. It's the largest American city that you don't have that.
Technically, so the canal.
There's the White River and stuff like that there, but it's not.
They've got the canal.
But it doesn't count.
You could, theoretically.
Doesn't count.
Yeah, you don't get into the canal.
No.
Downtown Indy. You just
No,
don't
you don't.
do that.
Yeah. I'm saying it's a
beautiful
fact
area,
about Indianapolis that I'm surprised you didn't know.
How often do you go on the body of water in Kansas City, Missouri, Bink?
Yeah, how often are you jumping in the Missouri River?
I don't. But what I'm saying is we see boats going up and down all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That's what stands out about Indy.
That's the random question of the.
That was pretty random.
day.
That was.
Up next, 1 o'clock hour. Let's talk more about the Royals. Play a little blame game. It's something everybody's doing on social media, so we'll try to play along with you. And the U.S. Open, it was brutal, and you guys totally disagree with me, but I'll tell you why it was next.
What's up, Kansas City? This is Cole Reagans, and you're listening to Cody and Gold. Weekdays starting at 10 on 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Man, I get it. You just haven't been feeling your same. Maybe you were grilling this weekend, right? And you're like, oh, I am tired. I don't feel the same. I'm lacking motivation. Like maybe things aren't the same in the bedroom. Like all these things could be signs of low testosterone. So don't wait and find out. Go to the Low T Center, and it's easy to get your levels checked there. Simple test, on-site lab, and you get your results back right there. It's not your typical doctor's office. You go in there. Their physicians specialize in treating low T, so you know that they're working with the problems you have been experiencing. They work with it on testosterone replacement therapy, or TRT, for each individual patient with a plan optimized to help you, not some basic standard treatment, but a program for you. And at the Low T Center, you can also get your health evaluated for treatment with prescription GLP-1, weight loss medications as well. Get back to your best. Go to lowtcenter.com and book your appointment today. That's lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Going out to eat just got a serious upgrade, Kansas City. 30 Hop is your new go-to. An American bar and kitchen with bold flavors, local taps, expansive patios, and an unbeatable happy hour. Now open in Lee Summit and just opened at Miriam's Grand Station. As the proud lunch partner of the Cody and Gold Show, 30 Hop truly has something for everyone. Stop in for lunch, stay for happy hour. 30hop.com. That's 30hop.com. Local beer, American Eats, big patio.
98 years. That's how long Overhead Door Company of Kansas City has been repairing and replacing garage doors. Locally owned and operated since 1927. Headquartered in Olathe. Always look for the iconic red ribbon of the genuine, the original Overhead Door Company of Kansas City. For same-day repair service 24/7, call Overhead Door Company of Kansas City, 816-221-0072. Or schedule online at ohdkc.com.
And Doug. Here we have the Limu Emu in its natural habitat, helping people customize their car insurance and save hundreds with Liberty Mutual. Fascinating. It's accompanied by his natural ally, Doug.
Limu, is that guy with the binoculars watching us?
Cut the camera. They see us.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Savings vary. Underwritten by Liberty Mutual Insurance Company and affiliates. Excludes Massachusetts.
Hi, folks. Bob at Blue Springs Ford. Blayton, you look like you have something to say.
I do. It's our free lifetime powertrain warranty. That includes 24-hour, 7 days a week, every day of the year for 10 years, roadside assistance.
Well, that was a mouthful.
We're talking towing, fuel, oil, water delivery to you, lockout assistance, battery service, flat tire support, emergency assistance.
Folks, if you don't come see us today,
then you'll miss out on our free lifetime warranty.
I'm McCall with Lee Summit Subaru, and our hotline is open. Annie from Kansas City, what's on your mind?
I want a dealership that I can trust for a lifetime. Is that you?
We're Google's highest review-rated and only locally owned Subaru retailer in Kansas City. That's a good start.
I just want a great deal. That's all.
How about every vehicle comes with a lifetime powertrain warranty?
What about guarantees?
A lifetime warranty should handle that. Fall in love with driving again at Lee Summit Subaru.
John, what do you think about these tariffs? What do you think is going to happen? Well, I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. The prices on used cars have suddenly come up because the cost has gone up. And at GiveMeTheVin.com, we're paying more. Go to GiveMeTheVin.com, put in your license plate, and see for yourself. We're paying more today than we were yesterday. Remember, the tariffs have raised the car prices, and we are paying extra. GiveMeTheVin.com, America's best car buyer. Sell us your car.
Sell us your car. GiveMeTheVin.com. So easy you can do it in your underwear.
At CertaPro Painters, we know that a happy place comes in many colors, like ones that inspire a sense of wonder, or a new flavor that makes life just a little bit sweeter, or one to celebrate those moments that lift you to new heights. With thousands of 5-star reviews, you can trust us to bring happiness home. CertaPro Painters. That's painting happy. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Contractor license and registration information is available at CertaPro.com.
Craftsman Days are here at Lowe's with big savings on the tools you need. Save $100 on the Craftsman V20 6-tool Power Tool Combo Kit, now at $199. No matter what the project is, Craftsman's high-quality, high-performance products empower you to build on. Stop by your nearest Lowe's store and check out the full line of Craftsman tools today. Valid through 6/18 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
Well, good morning, kiddo. I love that you're home from college. I've missed you.
Still taking your Nature-Made vitamins?
Every day. A multivitamin and a probiotic. You better be taking yours.
Still looking out for me, Mom.
I'll never stop.
Made to care for you every day. Nature-Made, the #1 pharmacist-recommended vitamin and supplement brand. Find us in the vitamin aisle, based on a survey of pharmacists who recommend branded vitamins and supplements.
Get a $15 prepaid MasterCard after rebate when you buy 5 quarts of Mobil 1 full synthetic motor oil at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Some people just know they can save hundreds on home and auto insurance by checking Allstate first. Like you know to check your house sitter has the new code first, before leaving for vacation.
System lockout.
But that's the code!
Contacting authorities.
I'm out of here.
Oh, seriously, the car too?
Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a home and auto bundle that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Not available in every state. Potential savings vary. Allstate Vehicle and Property Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Find what you love and love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you.
With the lowest prices for over 30 years, find what you love only at Total Wine & More. Drink responsibly, B21. The Out of Options Podcast, with new episodes released every Tuesday on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts. 96.5 The Fan, KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
1 o'clock hour here on Cody and Gold. Alex Gold. Got Drew Nixon producing the show. Jay Binkley is filling in for Cody the next week or so.
Cody's dancing?
His daughter is dancing.
Cody
dance competition down in, I think officially it's Fort Worth.
Can you imagine if it was Cody dancing?
You told me Cody
was gone for a week and a half himself dancing.
You told me he was going down to Texas to dance.
For his daughter, yeah.
Oh, I thought Cody was.
No, he's there he's playing Dance Dad, as I said.
Oh, okay.
So he's going to be Dance Dad.
My bad. I thought Cody was dancing.
Mm-hmm. We'll get to the U.S. Open in just a bit. You guys totally disagree with me, and I think most of the text line disagree with me earlier, but I want to talk about the U.S. Open in a little bit. But one thing that is obviously on the mind of plenty in Kansas City is where this Royals organization is at, where this team is at, high expectations, and currently they find themselves at the lowest point of the season. I know they were once 6 games under 500, so by that metric, they aren't even at their lowest, but from a middle of the season, where the offense is at, winless homestand, 6 straight series losses. There's no doubt this is a low point of the season. The question is, does it go lower from here? And a lot of people will text into the show and tweet in, hey, do this move, fire Q, or it's his fault, or it's J.J. Piccolo's fault, or it's this player's fault. So let's play the blame game a little bit. 100% of the pie, how do you lay it out? The biggest chunk has to still be the players. This is Major League Baseball. We're talking about some guys making a very, very nice chunk of change. It starts with them and ultimately ends with them, right? But it doesn't mean in the in-between you don't consider other pieces that have to change and other blame. So for me, 55% was the players. And maybe it should be higher, but I went 55%. Hitting coaches, number 2 on this.
And by the way, I think 55% is fair. I have a different number, but I think
hitting coaches, 25%. That is all 3 of them, by the way, not just one. All 3 of the hitting coaches that are involved in this process, they have to take the second biggest chunk of this. This is an offense that is pacing to be the worst in franchise history. They get the next biggest. Then J.J. Piccolo, because, hey, these players, this roster was assembled by him. Some of the issues with the outfield, obviously, were based on moves they did or did not make in the offseason. So I would put 15% towards him. And then 5% the manager. And that is just because I don't think managers have nearly as big of an impact on a baseball game as some people tend to believe. So 5% him, and that is how I would break down the 100% of the pie there.
I would go hitters a little higher. I'd go 60% on the hitters. And I'd go, I just went for this. I went 10% Q, and then because of the Noah Camera thing, 5% JJ. And again, he's doing what he can do. I mean, he's got constraints on what he can and can't do. Hitting coaches, I went 25% on that because I agree with you that that's one thing that can change. But to me, it's on the hitter. And as far as managers, back in the day, there's different managers that make decisions. And like Bruce Bochy, no one's telling him what his lineup is. I'm telling you right now, like it's Bruce's lineup, and that's the way it is. But typically, Major League Baseball, it comes from the front office. It's analytics department that determines, say, this is the order. This is who's batting tonight, and they'll tell the manager. And I understand that sometimes the manager doesn't have the pull, especially in analytical organizations where they don't set the lineup. So I understand that can be a constraint. I do think that situations like Noah Cameron, things like that, can be different. I will say this, like Ned Yost, I think was at the cusp of that, where front offices were starting to make a lot of lineup stuff, and he didn't want to do that. Like, he wanted to do what he wanted to do. Hey, if he wants to bat at Alcides Escobar at the top, he'll be batting him at the top because that's what Ned wanted to do. And I believe that that's a dying breed now in Major League Baseball, and a lot of decisions do come from the front office.
I'll listen on the text line, 913-586-7965, a few people mentioning ownership. If you want to throw them as a separate name that goes to the chunk of the pie, or couple ownership with you can just call it front office / ownership instead of just Piccolo, that's fair. Maybe I should have had one other option in there. If you told me that I had to have a fourth, I'm splitting the pie up, I don't know. I mean, ownership to me, I feel like is in conjunction with J.J. Piccolo. If you think there are restraints, I would argue, though, I still actually don't think ownership restraints financially are the reason why they are at the spot they're at. Like in general, yes, if they could spend an endless amount of money, would they be a better offensive team? Well, yes, they would have gotten, probably Bellinger and one or two other players, and we're having a different conversation. But if we're being realistic, I actually think for where they're at as a market, I don't think the payroll is why they're sitting where they're sitting on June 16th from an offensive perspective. It is the players are not performing. Some decisions were made in the front office that obviously have not panned out. It's the reason why you're starting opening day left fielder and right fielder are not with the big league club right now.
And there were some things they tried in the offseason.
Yeah, and
it just didn't work out.
In season, though, where are the adjustments in philosophy from the coaching staff? And that's where I put it 25%, as I said, on the hitting coaches, and that's where today, and it sounds like it's not going to happen, but I would make a change today with how I work my coaching staff from a hitting perspective, whether that is actually removing someone from the organization, firing them, whether it's changing their role. Something has to change there, and today seems like the day I would do it on an off day, but I don't expect that to happen. I just think it's something that you cannot just be status quo. And
the top to the bottom, they do a great job, especially the pitching staff. I mean, that's been unbelievable how good this pitching staff has been. I mean, their tops in major, only 2 starting groups have a better ERA, only 3 in the American League have better relief pitching. And I also like the things like Rusty Kuntz, who travels around and works with guys like Jack when he's in the outfield. He had Rusty, he was up with the Omaha and came down to Kansas City. See, I like that as far as developing players doing that direction. But the hitting coach, something has to change. I don't think you're making that difference. With the manager. They're not going to do that, and they shouldn't do that. And as far as the ownership is concerned, I think he's doing about everything he can. I mean, he opened up the checkbook for Bobby Witt Jr. You know, he's done the things. If people want players are available, he'll go out and get them. I just think they're in a rut right now because the pitching staff's so damn good and the offense is so bad. But it's not getting hits because they're doing that. But the extra base hits and getting runners in scoring when they're in scoring position, they're not happening, and that's the frustrating part about it.
Yeah,
they're really stuck where they're at.
Someone in the text line says, hey, I think blaming the coaching staff for underachieving players is like a high school student failing a class and the parents blaming the teachers. I understand to a certain extent what you're saying. My pushback on that would just be, one, that if every single student was struggling she's a math teacher, this hypothetical. Let's say the teacher is a math teacher, and every single student in that class is really struggling and behind. They're not getting rid of the students. At some point, somebody's going to be to blame.
Yeah.
And it might be that teacher's not very effective in their role. So I get the analogy, but I would say the difference here, it's not one player that's not hitting. It is an entire offensive lineup, other than really Vinny right at this moment, that is not hitting. And it's also Major League Baseball, so it is like high school. Not saying that results don't matter towards college, but my point would be, in baseball, professional, results matter. And at some point, somebody, want to use the word scapegoat, I don't care. Somebody has to be held accountable, and they, to me, have already held the players that they can hold accountable. Like, they're not DFAing anybody. Salvador Perez, Vinny, Bobby, India, these are all pieces were core pieces for this year. Those guys are not getting demoted or anything or traded. That's not happening. So then you go and you look, okay, what might be something we can try differently? And it doesn't mean that anybody is suggesting that you change your hitting coach and everything's fixed. But you know what? It might help. Maybe there's a philosophy change that happens. And if it doesn't work, and we're sitting here 3 weeks from now and you've made a change and the offense is still where it's at, well, then you know you're clearly sellers at that point in time and you move in a different direction heading into 2026.
And here's the most frustrating part about it. They were the only team in Major League Baseball last year with 3 guys over 70 RBI. They were the only team in Major League Baseball with 3 guys over 80. They were the only team in baseball with 3 guys over 90 with Perez and Witt and Vinny. And they would have been the only team in Major League Baseball with 3 guys over 100 ribs, but Vinny got hurt when he had 97. Same group, same hitting coach, same everything. That's the part. That's why you got to put on the players. Because they did it last year. They've shown they can do it at this level because they just did it last year. That's the frustrating part about this whole thing.
But last year they were still average on offense. You know what I mean?
But again, Alex, they were the only team to have 3 guys over 90 ribs, and then we're going to be the only team to have over 3 with over 100, which is crazy.
But my point is, like, acting. It'd be one if you told me this hitting staff, this coaching staff on the hitting side of things, had a top tier offense last year, and then now it's historically bad. I'd say, okay, bad year. Blink happens, kind of thing. But go in the 4 years, they've been average, which was last year. Overall offensively. This year, they're historically bad franchise-wise. And then the first 2 years, you can blame it more on personnel if you want, but those were bad years too. So it's not like you've had a 4-year sample here saying, oh my gosh, this is just a bad luck season. Like I told you, when it comes to the metrics on quote-unquote bad luck from hitters, especially Salvador Perez, I'll listen to that in April. You can't feed me that in June. You are what you are at some point. They're not just the unluckiest team in baseball and offense and in franchise history. That this team isn't just, wow, they're the most unlucky offensive team the Royals have ever assembled. That's bull. You know what? That's crap.
It's frustrating when you think of how good this pitching staff is. This is a good enough pitching staff to win in the postseason. That's the frustrating thing about it.
I agree.
So frustrating.
And I mean, heck.
You don't want to waste this window. I'm a huge fan of the sports windows.
Totally. Bobby Witt Jr.
That's why I agree with you. Something has to change.
Yeah.
But right now, it would be the hitting coaches. That's what you do.
Do you think, and we'll talk more about the road trip and stuff tomorrow, but right this second, do you think they have to make a determination of where they are headed for the trade deadline? I'm still convinced the only thing if you're saying we're going to be aggressive as an organization, and we still think because of the pitching that you mentioned that should go and see if anybody is out there to acquire. That to me, you have to make that determination now and start really figuring out if you can go trade for a bat, even though I will argue I still don't think those bats are available. If you're thinking they should be sellers, They don't have to make that determination today. That's a determination that'll settle itself in about 3.5 weeks.
No, they don't. I think it's the whole quandary of the extra wild card, and everybody conceivably thinks they're in it. Again, the Arizona Diamondbacks, people are like, they're going to be sellers. There's 3.5 games back from wild card. It does change everything. In the Royals, do you want a rental player? Do you want long-term? Because that's the difference. Because you want to get rid of your prospects. I will say this, the Royals' number 2 and number 3 prospects in their system are both catchers.
Yeah, but Salvi's obviously, they're going to pick up his club option next year, and then that's probably it. So you're going to need a replacement in the next 2 years.
Because you got Blake Mitchell and Carter Jensen. I guarantee teams are interested in them.
Sure. One of them you'll want to move eventually.
But you're going to want to get rid of.
You also need one of them probably in 2027.
Well, actually,
2026.
He'll be the number 1 prospect here now that Jack's up here.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think Mitchell
Blake
was
Mitchell
number 2.
And Carter Jensen will be 2.
Wasn't Mitchell listed as number 2?
Blake Mitchell's 2 and Carter Jensen's 3.
No, if you want to trade pieces away that also bring back pieces that have control for a couple years, I think even if you were quote unquote sellers, you can do that, and nobody should be upset by that. You're bettering yourself for 2026 and 2027 at that point in time. Obviously, tomorrow we'll talk more about their Rangers in the start of the road trip, and also what we think the end of that road trip could look like. Would there be any changes? And not just talking about records and everything, but I want to talk about the U.S. Open briefly. I know you were locked in, Drew, to the U.S. Open. Bink, you said you were watching it yesterday as well. I know a lot of people disagree with me on this, and I never claimed to be a hardcore golf guy, but I definitely watch all the majors, and I enjoy them, and this is not an anti-golf thing. If I like it and I'm entertained, I'll tell you, and if I don't like it, I'll tell you that as well. I told you I love the Masters. The Rory angle was awesome this year at the Masters. It was incredible. The U.S. Open stunk. It absolutely stunk. It's not fun, I don't believe, to watch the best in the world sit out there and struggle because the U.S. Open intentionally made it a very, very difficult course, even more than their normal standard. One golfer was under par, and that was the winner. And everybody cites how crazy the putt it was. It took until that putt for us to have a headline moment the entire week of the U.S. Open. Congrats to J.J. Spaun. I bet you a lot of people don't know who the hell he is, unless you're somebody that is locked in most weeks. So it was not an entertaining major for me. It was the worst one we've had so far this season.
I disagree with that because it is an Open where anybody can, quote, get into it to qualify for it and get into it, but it's so tough. It's funny. It's like people go out and play golf with their foursomes or whatever, go out, and they struggle because golf is a game where you go out and struggle, and you're actually seeing the best of the best struggling, and that's what makes the U.S. Open so interesting. Who's going to be mentally tough enough to win this thing? Who's not going to melt down when they hit the ball in the rough? Or like Sam Burns, hit it in the rough, then hit it again in the rough. Who's going to melt down? Who can be mentally tough the whole way through? Because he scores, you may be 8 strokes back or 6 strokes back, and you're right back in it on Sunday. And I think that's what makes it compelling. And I thought the U.S. Open was fun. That was a lot of drama at the end. That provided a lot of drama to the end of the U.S. Open. That's all you want in the golf tournament. They had that great drama, not someone going wire to wire with the lead, but just seeing, J.J. Spaun bogey in 5 of the first 6 and then coming back, and still being able to be mentally tough enough to win the tournament. I just thought it was great drama, sports drama at the end of it.
Yeah, I don't need a tournament where everybody's 22 under. That's crazy too. I'm not suggesting that at all. And I can appreciate golf, but I don't think the casual golf fan wants to see, for the most part, a bunch of no-namers at 1 over, 2 under, 3 over on a Sunday afternoon. And that's all. That's just my opinion. I don't expect the hardcore golfers I know are completely upset right now. The text line's blowing up with it. But I was not entertained by it.
You're saying if it was Rory and Scotty and, I don't know, you throw in somebody else in there and that.
Yeah, Koepka, DeChambeau, whatever.
It was those 3 in the mix. Then even though the golfing was bad.
But Scheffler was in the mix.
Even though it was tough and there were some missed shots and everything, if it was those 3, you would feel like it meant more gold because it was those guys who was.
We talk all the time. I don't know why we're changing it just for this weekend. We talk all the time in golf, whether it was Tiger, any of the polarizing names to get the casual golf fan in. And I'm sorry, someone says J.J. Spaun, top 3 golfer this season. That's great. Good for him. That is, you cannot tell me that's a household name. I'm sorry. That's just a lie. It's not. He just won.
He went to extra holes against Rory in the Players' Championship. So he's a complete unknown.
This goes back to we have this debate all the time. And you guys argue this against me when we talk about football. I watch every Thursday night football game, and you guys are like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "It was a good game." You're like, "Just because it's close, it's not good." Someone texts in and says,
"That's Cody's big thing."
What do you mean that it was a 5-way tie for first on the back 9? That would be the argument of it was a close football game. It doesn't mean just because it's a close football game, it's a classic. People are acting like this was some classic U.S. Open finish. That, to me, is not what we saw.
I don't know if it was as much of a classic finish in terms of, you'll remember, I think, when J.J. Spaun won, hey, do you remember when it was, crazy and treacherous conditions in terms of the golf course played hard, the fairways were rolling 13 on the stint, and it was really tough. That's what we'll remember it for more than I think J.J. Spaun winning. But I think J.J. Spaun, of course, overcoming things the way that he did, it's a very, I think it should be celebrated in terms of what he was able to do in terms of pulling off the win. Now, again, in terms of thrilling finish, we didn't necessarily get that. But I think just the way that the whole round played out, the way the whole tournament, I think, played out, we knew what we were going to get on Tuesday. I think, honestly, the way from the pictures in the rough to the conditions to, hey, it's going to rain, we're going to have some changing conditions over the weekend, the weather delay, all of it, I think, added a little bit to the drama in terms of not necessarily who's going to be the one to make a big-time shot as much as it was who's going to be the one, Bink, to literally just not mess up. Who can hit the fairway, who can make the least amount of mistakes down the stretch. And I think for that reason, it was entertaining in a different way than we're used to seeing with these players who are obviously the best in the world.
Ben Griffin was in it. He's in the mix there.
Griffin was a hot
10.
name over the last couple of weeks. He's a guy that I think, in fairness, Bink, if he was in contention, nobody knew who he was like that.
Who the hell is Ben Griffin?
My guy was
honestly, you're I'm not.
He's
Ben
a good
Griffin?
Story. He won on the tour a couple weeks ago.
It's okay.
Again, hardcore golfers. If you were watching golf 2 weeks
100%.
ago, that's all I'm saying. If you were watching golf 2 weeks ago, I know you loved it. That's not what I'm disputing. Because if you were watching a random tournament 2 weeks ago, you're a hardcore golf fan. You just are. Casual golf fans watch the majors for the most part. That's about it. You weren't. What was the tournament 2 weeks ago?
He won the Charles Schwab.
Okay. I mean, come on. Go ahead. Sorry. Go
ahead.
ahead.
He finished second. What was the PGA Championships? What was in the PGA?
I know, Bink. You might be more you're as diehard, I think, in terms of watching golf coverage. You're as diehard as Dusty is, I think, in regards to you're watching every single tournament
run, man.
and you're locked in. To Gold's point, I can understand why Gold, even though the golfing wasn't good, I can understand why he would feel more enticed to feel like it was a big deal if it was Rory or Scotty involved, because those are the guys we hear from every week. I don't think them being involved in it takes anything away from what J.J. Spaun did, because, again, Rory played and didn't have it at all. Scotty played, wasn't good enough. Brooks played, wasn't good enough. Bryson didn't even make the cut, I don't think. I mean, he outplayed everybody, but I think the fact that he's not a big-time name doesn't take away from the fact that it was entertaining, but it was just entertaining in a different way. It's not like just because I think Cody Gold, to what you're saying, if a football game is 9-12, Cody doesn't think that's a good game. It could be one of the best games ever in terms of defenses, top tier, being as good as they ever could be.
Look,
and you could see that, and you can appreciate it for what it is. That doesn't mean that it's for everybody, though.
And look, congrats to J.J. Spaun. Look, if he's in contention at another major and he starts to be, we learn more and more about him, and he starts to be compelling, and he's in the mix again, then we could be sitting here a year from now and say, wow, J.J. Spawn's in the mix. That's exciting. I'm just saying, and you're right. You could argue, well, you got to start somewhere. Sure, but the point still remains, heading into Sunday, and if you're a diehard golf fan, you shouldn't care what the TV ratings are. If you enjoy the product, you enjoy the product. We say that all the time. You shouldn't care if the NBA final ratings stink.
Oh, totally.
If you enjoy the series, enjoy it. I'm not telling you that you shouldn't enjoy it. I'm just telling you,
it wasn't for you.
It was not for me. And if you're a casual golf fan, I thought everybody's kind of understood that if the names are not on the leaderboard on a Sunday, that automatically is a big hit to the sport. And you can't tell me that J.J. Spaun, if we went in right outside and now even after, I would even argue after he won yesterday, I could go outside and the first 100 people that I run into will not know who the hell he is.
But you know what? It was one of the few Americans there at the top that had a chance to win the U.S. Open. Because then you had McIntyre and Hovland there.
See, Hovland he was kind of in the mix. That's a name I know for sure.
John Rahm was in it. He's a big name. He finished seventh.
John Rahm was not in it.
John Rahm was the highest in the the best score in the clubhouse there. John Rahm was +4. I mean, he was still kind of in it.
I understand, but you realize
and Scheffler was right there behind him.
I know, but he was
tied with him. Scheffler was tied with him.
There was somebody who had an egregious comment over, I think it was Saturday. They said, Scotty's right there in it. Scotty was 7 shots back. And the guy was like, no, Scotty's hanging around. Correct. Scotty was not in it at 4 over. He was hanging around. Rahm posted a good number, but that quickly evaporated when Bobby McIntyre posted 1 over.
So it sounds like Gold probably prefers a run-scoring barrage baseball game over a great pitching duel. I prefer pitching duel. Yeah, different thing. Also, I would argue the way most Royals fans have talked about this season, I feel like 90% of you would say you would if the shoe was on the other foot and I told you that the Royals had the worst pitching staff in baseball, but they were the best offense in baseball. I think a lot of you right this second would take
if Jack
that.
was hitting home runs left
even
and
though,
right.
Even though organizationally I would rather have a great pitching staff still than an offense. I just would from it's cheaper to have pitching than if you already have it in house. I mean, it's more expensive, to go out and get pitching than it is to bring in hitting. But anyway. That's all.
Someone from the number 3 says U.S. Opens aren't for the casual golf fan. It's the hardest, toughest tournament all year.
That's a terrible strategy.
But it's like reality. You see how tough the course is. Like, man, you know what? I've been there too. I hit it in the rough all the time too.
I don't think that's the
these
U.S.
guys
Open
are doing
strategy.
Normal things.
That's not the U.S. Open saying we're trying to deflect the casual fans away by making it hard. Like they're making it hard because they've always done it, and it's been
a mentally tough thing, man.
But I think again. It's not that the tournament was difficult to play is what it sounds like you're saying, Gold. It's just the fact that if you had one big name in the mix that for you is a head turner, it would have made all of the difference. Where, again, a diehard fan like Bink, myself, Dusty, whoever, we're locked in regardless. We know most of the players anyways. I can understand why you feel the way that you do.
So if Scheffler would have lost the Spawn, like Spawn would have beat Scheffler with that.
That'd be a bigger story.
I bet you Gold will be more locked in. If it was Scotty if Scotty posted 1 over and JJ Spawn could win it and he beat Scotty who posted 1 instead of McIntyre, I think Gold's more locked in.
All right, up next, guys, let's get to what's trending, and then we'll talk more about what's going on in the NFL. It's not just Trey Hendrickson. It's also Micah Parsons. I don't get it at all. We'll explain what's going on between the two next.
Cody and Gold, brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com. Follow the station on Instagram for ticket giveaways and behind-the-scenes content from the show at The Fan 965.
Flooded bathroom? AC on the fritz? When things go wrong, you need reliable service fast. Call Hamilton Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Rooter and take $50 off any HVAC, plumbing, or electrical repair over $200. The pros at Hamilton are ready 7 days a week to fix the problem. Over 40 years experience, more than 8,000 5-star reviews, plus our exceptional service guarantee means you can trust Hamilton to bring comfort and calm back to your home. Visit callhamilton.com for detailed terms and conditions. License number 2025-11121.
Is your new go-to in American Bar and Kitchen with bold flavors, local taps, expansive patios, and an unbeatable happy hour. Now open in Lee's Summit and just opened at Miriam's Grand Station. As the proud lunch partner of the Cody and Gold Show, 30 Hop truly has something for everyone. Stop in for lunch, stay for happy hour. 30hop.com. That's 30hop.com. Local beer, American eats, big patio.
Men, the summer is here. Longer days, warmer nights, and romance in the air. Intimate dinners, walks on the beach, dancing in the moonlight. But if you have erectile dysfunction, you know it can ruin romance, both for you and the one you love. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health. And if you have ED, don't let another summer go by without getting treated. Because intimacy is one of the greatest things in life, and fear of not being able to perform should not be something you have to deal with. At Heartland Men's Health, we're ED experts. We've successfully treated tens of thousands of men. Our protocols work when others don't, and we have treatments that are effective in well over 90% of cases. You could even last up to an hour or more and perform like you haven't in years. So call us. Your initial appointment is only $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600. That's 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com.
Call Aspen Lawn and Pest Control. Our iconic blue trucks and expert team get it right the first time. Award-winning full-service lawn care and pest control since 1985. Call today for a free estimate. Visit aspenlawn.com.
You had a solid retirement dream. Sell your home in a few years, bank the equity, downsize, and travel. But with an unpredictable economy and the future feeling uncertain, you're wondering if that equity will still be there when you're ready. But what if you could bank that equity right now? With TrueHold, you could sell your home for its current value so you can access your equity today. You can bank the cash now and stay in the home you love with an easy standard lease. TrueHold even covers property taxes, insurance, and repairs. And since TrueHold hands over your equity in cash now, it's yours to do whatever you'd like. Don't let a shifting economy put your hard-earned equity at risk. Visit TrueHold.com and receive their competitive offer on your home in just 48 hours based on its best current value, not what's coming. Call 1-855-300-9393 or visit TrueHold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without moving. That's TrueHold.com.
Right now, get a $15 gift card after rebate with the purchase of select AC Pro refrigerant products at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts. Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Annie's first oil change wasn't as hard as she thought because she went to AutoZone, where a friendly AutoZoner helped her find the right oil and save on an oil filter. He explained the job and showed her free how-tos on AutoZone.com. When she was done, AutoZone recycled her old oil for free. No hassles, just help. Everything you need, nothing you don't.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
When you think home insurance, you think boring and complex, right? Wrong. Allstate is now changing the game with our new and improved home insurance. And it all starts with a simplified shopping experience. Our latest online quoting tool gives you confidence in not only knowing you have the right protection, but our lowest price too. So check Allstate first for home insurance that's better than ever. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Savings and prices vary. Coverage subject to terms, qualifications, and availability. Allstate North American Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small, loud or quiet. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love, guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Uber Eats has deals all summer long. Get Burger King, Subway, Popeyes, and hundreds more local favorites and savor every last bite. That sounds like a good summer. Order now on Uber Eats. Terms apply. Product availability varies by region. See app for details.
Your life, your goals, your legacy. With a dedicated Fidelity advisor, it's all part of a comprehensive plan to help grow and protect your wealth. Visit fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC. Member NYSE, SIPC.
Royals coverage sponsored by Metal by the Foot, your metal project superstore.
At Metal by the Foot, we pride ourselves on delivering the highest quality metal to meet your exact needs. Located in Casey and Topeka, online at metalbythefoot.com. When you need a piece of metal, remember, metal doesn't have to cost an arm or a leg, just the foot.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. What's trending?
What's Trending is presented by Baker University, where graduates earn higher salaries and land jobs faster than any other university in Kansas. Apply today at bakeru.edu. We were talking plenty about the Royals. They, of course, are off today, but a winless homestand, 0-6 against the Yankees and the A's. They get set to take on the Rangers tomorrow. Of course, you can hear the game right here, 96.5 The Fan.
Yeah, these 6 straight losing series at home gets me too. I think that's a little more than the 6-game losing streak. I know that's bad, but losing 6 straight series at home, you got to go back to the White Sox.
Well, and the Reds are involved in that 6 series. Like some of them have been good quality teams, but like the A's who don't even have a home really.
3, and the Red Sox are not the same team as we've seen before.
Yeah, if you missed any of our earlier conversations, you can check out the Odyssey app. We've been talking plenty about what they should do at this point in time, who deserves the blame, obviously. But that is first on what's trending.
Also, what's trending, obviously we talked about the U.S. Open quite a bit with J.J. Spawn, but how about Rafael Devers? You talk about trades in baseball. Well, we just saw a major one because Rafael Devers wasn't going to play first base. He's a third baseman. Bregman changed that when he got there, so Rafael's like, I'll just be your DH. He's going to San Francisco. Right before the charter, they told me he's traded, so he takes an Uber back, gets his car, and he says, I'm willing to do anything, man. I'm willing to play for, obviously he's not going to play third base with Matt Chapman there, but he's like, I'll be willing to play first base. I'm willing to do anything. But the Giants are, a team that just can't score either. It's a good team, but that's the problem.
Elsewhere on what's trending, NBA Finals tonight, the Thunder 9.5-point favorites over the Pacers. Gets going at 7:30. The Thunder are also minus 520 to win this series. And it sure feels like Thunder might just win the next 2, at least to me. So tonight, looking forward to the game. That's been a great series.
I think so. It'll be fun for Drew. Like seeing Drew's reaction the next day. I think that's.
Do you want to get a show bet going now? Are you feeling confident at all?
I think they can win, but we're not doing a show bet.
Okay.
I'm so confident that they can get it done, but we're not
that confident though.
We are not doing a show bet.
not confident enough to do a show bet though.
No.
Text line says Joey Chestnut's coming back. Did you tell Bink yet? Yes, I know that. I knew that this morning, but yeah, I'm fired up. 16-time mustard belt champion.
Mustard belt.
Taking all those mustard belts into Coney Island. It just is missing. 58 hot dogs was eaten for the win last year for the men's group. Dude ate 73 once with the record of Nathan's. He ate 83 against Kobayashi in that Netflix thriller. Kobayashi only had like 66 or something. He
left for a plant-based hot dog, and now he's back.
Money's not just flowing for these dudes. He's part of Major League Eating and all this, but the money's just not flowing. But just hot dogs.
You can't be the king of eating glizzies and then tell me that you're going to eat plant-based glizzies. It's not a glizzy anymore.
He ate 110 Twinkies in 10 minutes as well.
Yeah, he does other foods, but he's not. He's still. You're the face of Nathan's hot dog eating contest, and then you're out there talking about plant-based.
Got to get the money where that was his endorsement. Mm-hmm. He took the endorsement.
As soon as you start referencing, he has 17 mustard belts or whatever. It's always funny when 16. You do that.
They're hard to get, man. They're hard to get.
Yeah,
it's very hard to get. That's good competition.
Mm-hmm.
Competition across the country.
You're saying Joey Chestnut is the Tiger Woods of.
He's no J.J. Spawn, that's for sure.
16 championships is 16 championships. See where you want to slice it.
Yeah. By the way, don't forget our great lunch partner on Mondays over at 30 Hop. $5.99 classic burgers every Monday. That's right, $5.99 classic burgers today. 30 Hop, your new go-to, an American bar kitchen with bold flavors, local taps, expansive patios, and an unbeatable happy hour. They're a proud lunch partner of the show. They have something for everybody on the menu. Huge menu. We've tried some of their food in studio. I was just out there a couple weeks ago at their location down the street in Merriam, right there, Grand Station. The new apartments are right there, and you'll see the beautiful 30 Hop location. Also, a location out in Lee Summit. Just go to 30hop.com. That's 30hop.com. Stop in for lunch, stay for some happy hour, maybe get some dinner there tonight. Local beer, American Eats, big patio.
I don't know if Carrington told this to you guys. Were you here? Did you see this tweet from earlier today about
from him?
Yeah, about if you go to a Royals game, or during a Royals game while at the stadium, if you open the Chick-fil-A app, you get a code for a free sandwich.
Sorry, say that again.
If you're at the K and you open up the Chick-fil-A app, you get a code for a free sandwich.
I had no clue.
That's given back to the people.
No clue. They have the Chick-fil-A thing on the foul pole.
Yeah, according to Carrington,
you're telling me when I was out there on Tuesday, I could have just opened the Chick-fil-A app. You have to open the app while you're at the K.
According to CDOT, that's what it says. If you open the app,
is that a real? Is that a? Is that a real promotion or just somebody, it glitched out and somebody got a free sandwich one day? I don't want to be promoting it like it's some fact.
Did you know you could bring your own food to the K? Did you know you could bring your own food to the K?
Yeah, I've heard that.
He said it's a promotion worth sharing, so I would assume
that's not. So here's what I just looked it up.
Okay,
it has to be.
lying.
No, I don't want to say. No. I'm not calling him. No. I'm not saying he's lying.
Okay.
But I think there's confusion. It's a glitch in the system. You're only supposed to get it when they get a double play in the second or hit the foul pole. But I guess maybe it glitched and people were getting it for other things.
A double play in the second inning or it hits the foul pole? I mean, right.
That makes way more sense.
I want them to, the same way that NBA teams root for like double missed free throws and they go nuts. If somebody's on first base and it's a second inning, I need Royals fans to get loud and just start cheering for some Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, if a Royals player hits a home run off the foul pole or if the team turns a double play in the second inning, a QR code appears on Crown Vision. So what Carrington's saying is not true. You don't just get one for opening the Chick-fil-A app. If someone got one just for opening the Chick-fil-A app, props to you. That's a glitch, but that's not. I'm about to quote tweet Carrington. That's not true.
Wow.
After some investigating.
Yeah. Well, I just don't want to tell people that they expect that. It's not a real thing.
Yeah.
I remember the donut promotion. That was a good one.
Did people go nuts over that?
The Baker's Dozen or the Krispy Kreme. Yep. We want donuts chants were a real thing.
Someone text line says it's actually true, Alex.
Well, yeah, that is glitching, but I'm just saying,
so
it's a glitch. That's not the original. Yeah, it's supposed to be. Well, now it's about to get closed. They're about to fix it.
Yeah, now that we're talking about it. Sorry about that.
Yeah, something I used to have after homestands. I'm not saying it didn't happen, but there's a different. This is the difference of like something might be happening. It doesn't mean it's something you should be actively promoting.
The person said they have 5 or 6 sandwiches stacked up. I say that's great. Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you. I'd be taking advantage of that. I'd already have you. I'd plan out my whole week.
Anyway,
lunch, dinner. Yep, I'd figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
They used to score 5 runs or more promotion.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying it's not happening, but that's not an active promotion.
We might have just ruined it for everybody, Gold. I apologize for bringing it up.
He told everybody.
Yeah, something.
You're supposed to get a free beer too when you go to the Capital One cafes at different ballparks.
Is that actually a thing, or are you just saying that?
They do. They're like the sponsor of baseball. Get a free drink, I think. I don't know what it is, but
if you go to a Capital One,
yeah, one of their cafes.
I don't think they have one here, do they?
I don't know.
I would.
I don't know what the drink is. It might be a pop or something. I don't know.
All right. Let's talk about Drew's Bengals for a second.
They just ruined it for everybody. Probably, Alex. Nice job.
No, I was just answering a text from somebody. Trey Hendrickson is talking with the Bengals again.
Let's go.
Micah Parsons still unsigned. Nothing progressing for the Dallas Cowboys. None of this makes any sense, specifically the Dallas Cowboys. I know we give Drew a hard time about Cincinnati's handling of Trey Hendrickson. But none of this makes any sense because the Cowboys have done this for 3 out of the last 5 off seasons. They waited on CeeDee Lamb till a week or so before. They pay him big money anyway. Costs them more money because they wait. Last year, I think it was, Dak Prescott, they signed him like Sunday morning of week 1.
The day of week 1, yeah.
And they waited and cost them more money. They're waiting and waiting now for Micah Parsons. And spoiler, they're going to eventually sign him, and it's going to happen during camp or right before the season. What's their end game here? It's not like you can use one of these other ones to help another player cave. If I'm Micah Parsons, I know they're signing me eventually. Why would I sign now? And he's going to get signed after maybe Trey and after TJ Watt. So it's costing you more money. I just do not get it.
If you know you're going to do it, just go ahead and do it. Same thing with your Bengals, Drew. Shamar Stewart, can you imagine if they don't sign him, which is a possibility? He goes back into the draft next year.
Go ahead and ruin your career. Go ahead and ruin your career.
He goes back into the draft next year. So first rounder they spend on defense because they need defense, and they're arguing with their biggest defensive star, and they might lose their first round pick.
That would be the single worst thing that Shamar Stewart would do for his career because you guarantee.
I never thought he was that great anyway.
I guarantee you he's not. He's losing money by going back into the draft because he ain't going to be no first-round pick.
Hey, lose
He
all the
probably
money he
not
would've made
even
this
be a
year.
second-round pick. He might end up being like a third or a fourth-round pick. And then you're talking about money. And the thing that's crazy about this, too, is apparently I'm starting to side more with the Bengals, actually, on this. Walter Nolan got a very similar type of deal to what the Bengals are offering Shamar Stewart right now. The thing that's different about this is that this is the first time the Bengals are putting this language into their contract, but the rest of the league does it and has done it. That's where the difference is. The Bengals haven't done it yet, but the rest of the league does the same language that they're trying to put in Shamar Stewart's contract. So, I mean, I appreciate him for taking the, grabbing the torch and being that guy of, I want to stand up for myself and everything like that. I get it, and I think it's great, good for him. But at the same time, he's not doing himself any favors. Like, forget the team. If he looks at himself internally, he's not doing any favors. The Trey Hendrickson thing, they're gonna get it done. I'm confident that they'll get it done.
Really, you confident?
Yeah, I've said from the jump that I think all three are signing. I haven't wavered from that. It's just embarrassing. It's embarrassing
because he was unhappy last year.
Right. Yeah. It turns out there's a lot of people who tend to get unhappy when negotiating
well, when you're in
contracts
Cincinnati,
with the Bengals.
you get unhappy a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot of people
I
who
think he's
are,
mad about crossing the street with cars going to practice.
I just don't for the life of me. I know Micah Parsons has not said anything like this, but if you had if you knew if there was any debate in anything that the Chiefs were considering paying, I don't know, pick a random player. Let's say Rashee Rice. There's a real debate, and they're hemming and hawing, and there is a similar situation. But Rashee Rice is pounding the table. I love it in Kansas City. My family is here. They love it here. I want to be here. And they still were dragging their feet. It would really bother you, I think. And that's what's happening with the Bengals. Like, he's on record saying, my family loves to be here. I love living in the city. And the man's leading the league in sacks. Probably should pay him the money.
Well, if they do end up getting the Hendrickson deal done, do we have to look at the Bengals differently as far as
no,
think about contending teams?
No, because it's the same conversation. If they have Trey Hendrickson, they can be a contender. If they don't have Trey Hendrickson, they cannot be a contender.
And they lose Pratt,
the conversation is still the exact same thing where they drafted defense. We're going to have to see how the rookies do. But the team setup is very similar to that of which they had last year. It's just a matter of can they actually get off to a better start to the season?
Right.
And do they execute better on defense?
What's you guys' thoughts just on the Cowboys, though, for a second?
A complete disaster.
Because Micah Parsons, the contract stuff makes no sense. They'll operate this way as long as Jerry Jones is in charge and Stephen Jones are in charge. So that's not changing. The Cowboys, I don't think they're going to be a disaster. It sounds like you think they're like a 6-win team.
I'm saying the situation is a disaster.
Okay.
Team-wise, I think they're still talented.
Yeah, team-wise, they have too much talent to be 6 or 7 wins. I think they can be a 9 to 11 win football team this upcoming season. But I'm convinced a month and a half into the season, Brian Schottenheimer is not going to be able to control the George Pickens situation. Eventually, George Pickens will beat George Pickens, and he will be upset that he's not getting the football. And he'll throw a helmet. And how are they going to handle that? And in Dallas, the difference is Jerry Jones will be asked about it after the game, and he'll keep fueling the flames versus shutting it down. That's the difference. In Pittsburgh, Mike Tomlin just acts like, oh, we're fine. We're not worried about it. He's fine, kind of thing. Whereas at Dallas, Jerry Jones will make it into a much bigger problem.
I agree with you on Dallas. Hey, Dallas, I'm with you on that. Why do you wait for the last minute? That's why when that Dak news came out this year, I remember we were doing a Sunday morning show before the game or whatever. That news came out. I'm like, why did they wait all this time if you knew you were going to sign him anyway? What good does that do having a guy complaining about his contract, everybody listening to him, and you don't do it till the last second?
You want some conversation this morning? You're getting it.
Well, they did.
I think, you know what? Actually, after hearing him say this, I think he does it. I think he does it on purpose. I think he waits on purpose because there's nothing else to talk about with the Cowboys.
It's costing him millions of dollars. I mean,
I'll get somebody else to ask these questions, man. I'm not kidding you. I'm not kidding you.
I think he does it on purpose, actually, because he has enough money to blow. It doesn't affect him. He has so much money. It really doesn't impact him by throwing a few extra million. I think he does. I think he does.
You think I'm an idiot? Do you?
I think some people do, Jerry. I think that he does this.
Brain of a 40-year-old.
I think he does it on purpose because he knows there's nothing else to talk about with this team. Let's bring the Cowboys back into the regular discussion about
You
Dak.
have got to be smoking something over there this morning.
Dak, CD, now Micah. I want somebody to talk about the Cowboys a little bit more. So I'm going to wait. I'm going to delay it, and then I'm just going to throw you a bag.
Idiot things can turn into good decisions.
That's what he's hoping this has.
You wait until you play the Chiefs on Thanksgiving. It'll be the highest rated game.
Of course
ever,
it's going
ever.
to be. Of course it's going to be.
And Jerry's going to be up there in the box, and he's going to watch him get smoked.
Yeah.
And
smiles and glory holes.
Yes.
Right, Bink?
Yes.
That's your philosophy, too.
Yeah. Good old Jerry. Is he paying Arkansas any Neal money?
I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure.
I bet he is.
I'm absolutely sure he's donated
He
millions
lets them
and
use-
millions and millions of
He
dollars
lets
to
them
that
use
university.
his facility once a year.
Yeah, that's right. They do play that. Yeah, that's very true.
They play A&M traditionally there at Jerry
Maybe
World.
that's his contribution.
Now, I'm not talking to these yahoos on the end of this phone. I'm talking to you, the fans that are listening this morning.
I think a lot of the fans feel the same way those people do who are talking to you, Jerry. Did they even do anything this offseason other than like the draft?
No, they had a disastrous offseason.
I
think hiring
new coach,
firing Mike McCarthy to only bring in Brian Schottenheimer is one of the dumbest things any team did this offseason. It just is, and that's not like it's just. Brian Schottenheimer's been a career assistant. Congratulations to him, obviously becoming a head coach, but he's been a career assistant, and everybody was upset about Mike McCarthy. Say what you will about him. This is what happens a lot of times in sports. You get to a point where, this is kind of already happened with Mike Tomlin as well a little bit in Pittsburgh, where it's like you don't realize, because he hasn't won a ring in said place that you're at. By the way, Mike Tomlin has, but when someone hasn't won a ring, like Mike McCarthy had a ring in Green Bay but didn't win one in Dallas, so then people think he sucks. And then you go and you get rid of him because you didn't think winning 12 or 13 games was good enough for you. Then you go and hire Brian Schottenheimer. And really, this is your plan? Look at Nebraska. Yeah, wasn't good enough. So then you go and hire somebody that's way more of a disaster. It happens all the time in sports. It's always the dumb stuff.
It's just crazy. Bring back Zeke like they did last year. Everybody thought, okay, they're going to go out and draft a running back. Then this year, they're big running back.
They had tons of talent on offense. I like their running back. I like their backfield this year. I really do.
You like Blue?
Yeah, I do. I think they're going to be much better running the ball.
It's just well, and one, can they stay healthy? I guess is the main question in that whole thing. Obviously with Dak and how much, and then
I think Dak, when he's healthy and his pieces around him are healthy, I totally think he's the top 10 quarterback in the league. I know people. This is the same thing, just like Mike McCarthy, because Dak hasn't been to a Super Bowl by now. Everybody thinks he stinks, and we overcorrect. I don't think Dak is in the conversation by any means, of course, of the great quarterbacks in the league. But is he 9 to 10? Absolutely.
The only thing that might have made it more embarrassing, but at least before settling on Brian Schottenheimer, at least they didn't go around calling the rest of the league saying, "Hey, can we interview this coach? Can we interview like they did? Like they pulled a New York Knicks. Like, hey, can we interview Mike Tomlin?" They called up the Chiefs. Hey, can we interview Andy Reid? For the coaching position. I'm sure he'd love to come to Dallas.
I'll give him credit. He always hangs on the coaches about 1 or 2 years too long. That's the one thing about him is he's patient on that.
But he should have. To Gold's point, he should have hung up. What is Brian Schottenheimer going to do that's any different than what Mike McCarthy did?
Probably.
Or is it
really do.
Mm-hmm.
He should have held on to him again.
Mm-hmm.
It really do.
Or at least gotten somebody else different.
Says Husker fans just got astray. What did we do to deserve this? It was needed for an example to explain the point that it could always be worse on a coaching hire. You all of a sudden, you're not happy with 12-win seasons, 11-win seasons, and then you fire a guy, then you hire someone that's winning 9, and then...
Unfortunately, that is the perfect example.
That's, it really is. Sorry, Nebraska. Just kind of where it's at. Someone says, name one team bet you can in regards to... Bink, are you going back and forth with somebody, Drew, on the text line? Yeah,
I'm
that's
not.
Drew. Drew's going back and forth with somebody on the text line.
The rest of the league. Who did Walter Nolan get picked by? The Arizona Cardinals? The Arizona Cardinals deal for Walter Nolan is the exact same as what the Bengals are trying to offer. Very similar.
Yeah, but the Bengals have a first-round pick that's not showing up.
I know that, but I think that's the difference, and that's why everybody's mad, is Walter Nolan had the same problem, had the same negotiations and everything like that, but he's actually practicing. That's where the equation changes a little bit.
But at least Shamar's going, right? At least he's going to the practices.
Like you were saying, Gold, Omar Norman lied. The same thing was happening, or maybe still is, with him. But he's at practice, and he is doing drills and taking reps.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Shamar's going to the practices.
Not anymore.
Well,
He didn't go to the last day of minicamp. He left.
But he's been going.
He's been going and just
Is
standing.
he going to go? Is he going to be there this week? Do we know? Has he showed up?
Mandatory will probably be there.
He's been there.
He's not mandatory. He's not an employee of the team.
He's been there, just hasn't been.
Can't be mandatory if he. How's it mandatory for
No, I'm
Shamar
saying,
Stewart?
I think he'd show up for this if he showed up.
But
for
it's not
OTAs.
mandatory for him. He's not under contract.
Either with the OTAs.
He can't be fined for not showing up to minicamp. He doesn't have a contract.
I think you guys can agree with me that he would be very smart, very wise to eventually sign, even if he doesn't get what he wants, to sign that contract and not re-enter
That's
the
what
draft.
Cincinnati's the ownership is in front office is banking on.
And I mean, eventually, I think it's going to come to that point for
How funny would
Shamar
it be?
Stewart.
He's not gonna put his name back in the draft, but it would be
very
big. You know how hilarious that'd be if the Bengals lost their first round pick over this
When they needed defense because they lose
that would
Jermaine
be
Pratt, who's now a Raider, and now
incredible.
Hendrickson's still, and you need defense, and you spend a first-round pick on it, and you don't
In fairness,
get it.
maybe they use that money to just sign somebody. And
True,
be like,
it was a
we're
first-round
just-
pick,
No,
man.
I know that. I'm saying if you lose somebody that you were banking on having, obviously it sucks, but you have to do something about it. You can't just sit on your hands and say, well, we have who we have.